Let's go watch the Crucible while we wait. Booyah! What up, bro? First.
And he always will be.
I mean, it doesn't. Why would you have people on whose sole goal of being on is going to be to talk about all the reasons someone decided not to show up? You're literally just saying, hey, let's throw this party, and then let's put the camera on people who are just here to talk about how much this party sucks.
But Jeb, what's the reason that they're doing it? Ratings, you've already said, right? That's that's the main reason they're doing this. What would be the other utilitarian?
That's not what I said.
The other reason would be, right, the other reason, it's not a game necessarily. We're not treating this like, you know, well, if your star player didn't show up, he's not allowed to show up in the second half. It's not like that shit, right? So the argument would be, well, we're just trying to inform the people about the issues. Given that me, you, everyone on this panel, and Fox knows that Trump is likely to be the nominee, it's stupid to not have someone on there that's an official representative of them, even if Trump didn't care. Who gives a fuck about fairness? That's stupid. It's not a game.
Here's what happened.
The issue is, right, is it's not like an official representative of Trump. Trump, if he wanted an official representative of Trump, Trump could show up and not debate. There's nothing barring him from entering the building.
Well, he
doesn't.
But he has nothing to lose.
So we're taking bets
by going to this clown show. What does
taking
he care?
bets.
Why does he care?
That's what I'm saying.
What are the odds Larry Elder pulls
why
up?
Invite surrogates to do nothing but detract from the conversation happening on stage, which is the point of your broadcast.
Fourth. Let's see this. Go back. Rewind.
On Sunday, Donald Trump announced that he will not participate in tonight's Republican candidates debate, hosted by Fox News in Milwaukee. Whatever you think of Trump, he is, as of tonight, the indisputable far and away frontrunner in the Republican race. We think voters have an interest in hearing what he thinks. So when Trump approached us about having a conversation for a far larger audience than he'd receive on cable news, we happily accepted.
Bacon burgers.
That interview will air tonight in this space at 8:55. We hope you'll watch.
With some chopped up jalapeno from the garden. Ooh, kicking.
On Sunday, Donald Trump announced that he will not participate in tonight's Republican candidates debate, hosted by Fox News in Milwaukee. Whatever you think of Trump, he is, as of tonight, the indisputable far and away frontrunner in the Republican race. We think voters have an interest in hearing what he thinks. So when Trump approached us about having a conversation for a far larger audience than he'd receive on cable news, we happily accepted. That interview will air tonight in this space at 8:55. We hope you'll watch.
8:55. That means they're starting at 5 minutes before the debate starts. Bro, so base. Tucker giving a big FU to Fox. Trump giving a big FU to the debates. I was sad at first that he wasn't going to debate, but this might be even better. Plus, he really don't need to debate because every time he gets indicted, he goes up in the polls and it riles up the people even more. So he doesn't even need to debate. He just needs to go to jail and get a mugshot. We'll have t-shirts made. You know, make jail great again shirts. I can see it now. Well, guess just me and Rome hanging out. Just me and Rome. Let's see what Crucible Andrew's on a panel. Let's see what his panel's talking about.
more ratings. And second, if there's any other utility, it's that because you want people to know, well, what if Trump said, seeing as how he is overwhelmingly likely to be the nominee. So why wouldn't you have a surrogate on afterwards to say, well, this wouldn't jive with Trump's worldview because of X? It has nothing to do with fairness.
When y'all say that Trump,
I got another little window ready to go. Boom, like that. To do live fact check.
No, not banned. They're just
that we have. We can Google it.
The after debate spin.
Oh, Miss Matt's here.
Right, where people get to talk about it and things. Usually, campaigns have surrogates on to kind of spin things in their way. And say, well, actually, my candidate did the best because of X, Y, and Z. Trump is not allowed to have surrogates.
We'll have to take a
it's
poll.
Not banned from Fox. It's just banned from the specific.
Yeah, because the point of the surrogates are to represent a spin for people who fucking debate it.
They ain't talking about nothing. We'll have to take a poll. Do we watch Trump and Tucker first, then go back and watch the debates? Do we watch the debates live, then go back and watch the Tucker and Trump thing? I think I want to do it that way. Because the debates might, I don't know. I don't think it'll get taken down. I just don't want to watch the debates afterwards and see some edited debates. I know X and Tucker ain't going to change the Trump debate. So we can go back and watch it afterwards. It'll be the same. But once the live ends on Fox, they're likely to cut that and re-upload it, afterwards, after they snip and pick a few things out here and there. Pause on taking a poll. Dang. We can't say anything without being gay. Can't even talk anymore. Bacon burger. This is the stuff that I scrape off the pan. And it's just like salt, bacon fat, burnt bacon fat, some cheese, turned into these little pop rocks. That's where it's at. Little salty, meaty pop rocks. You got 26 wings tonight? What the? Dang. They had to kill 13 baby chickens for that. Best parts of the bacon burger? Oh, yeah. But you don't get that in an air fryer. Like the air fryer, well, I don't know if you can cook burgers in an air fryer. I've never tried that. But when I cook stuff in the air fryer, you don't get that build up as much. I also feel like I'm losing a lot of the fat when I cook chicken in there. What? All words are gay all the time. They were already dead. Oh, the chickens. Then they got up and scrambled. They got up, burned an X on their heads. You can cook a burger anywhere. How about in my belly button? Can I cook a burger in my belly button? Real Mr. Mad? That'd be a tiny burger. I don't have like a abnormally large belly button. Boom, pow.
Overall picture of the accurate landscape of what the debate meant for the landscape going to the future.
But as you guys said, the only thing they would be there to say is this debate means nothing to the landscape because Trump is just going to be the winner because he didn't show up at the debate.
Okay. Let me interject here because we are coming up in about less than 20 minutes now. The actual debate's going to start. So I know all of you are talky, all of you are super long-winded, and you don't know when to shut up. And so I'm going to give you a lot of time to have a closing statement, closing thoughts on this, and then most of you
not even
a
real debate.
Off, and we're going to keep.
They don't have a rep. They don't have a judge there judging. They just got the people.
And we're going to have a watch party. So for those of you who are watching this on YouTube or on Twitch, get those Kick accounts ready because we're going to be transferring to Kick soon. I'll let you know when. We'll spam those links in chat.
I'm going to know Kick.
But for now, that's what's going to go on. That's what we're going to have. So we're going to start with Tom. We're going to work our way around. Final thoughts on what you're looking for.
It'll probably come out rare and full of bacteria. Nothing wrong with a little bacteria.
You might think.
That's how you get strong.
I'm looking for.
What were our options again? Watch the debate or what else?
To see kind of where Republicans.
The options are
if they're really moving towards populism.
The options are watch the debate, then watch Truck and Tumper. I just said Truck and Tumper. Tuck and Trumper. Tucker and Trump. Or watch Tucker and Trump, then watch the debate. I think we're gonna do the debate first. Because Tuck and Trumper, I'm gonna be stuck saying that now. I'm not gonna be able to stop saying it. Damn, Truck and Tumper. I already think I know what it's gonna be like. You know? Like, I love Trump, but most of his interviews are pretty similar. Truck and Tunker. Trumpet Tumper. Trumpet Tumper. Well, for now, we're watching this panel.
If it's more of just like what people think is like the Trump cultist, where he just
Trump
says
cultist
polling after these. So yeah.
Trump cultist now.
Victor, what do you got?
I'm just excited for the
we're a basket of deplorables. Let's go.
All the memes that come out.
Shout out all my deplorables.
The Republican parties in such like
Tuck and Trunker
right now.
Tuck and Tuck and Trucker.
And they seem to be chasing gays.
A Tuck and Trucker is not good. You do not want.
Kids are going to be
I mean,
by proselytization.
If the trucker is tucking,
so I think that it's only.
I don't know. Pretending to be a lot lizard at night, creeping around, trying to get to the other non-tucking truckers.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That's not good.
Rezi, go ahead.
That's a drag queen. That's a drag queen trucker.
Largely first.
A tucking trucker.
Interested in seeing what some of the candidates are because I do want to look at the post-Trump Republican Party. Twitch Resver on all platforms. And I have one last question. Victor, where was the jewel, by the way?
There's never going to be a post-Trump Republican Party.
Where your jewel was.
Because after Trump's done, Don Jr. stepping up.
They're always somewhere.
Dang, Barron going to roll up in there and be the last president.
Yeah, there you go.
I am the gay
Republican Party. What are you talking about?
Of course. Thanks for your contributions. Always a pleasure, my friend. Rob, we're going to skip you because you're going to stay. Right? You're not going anywhere. Stardust, what you got?
Hey, I'm Stardust. Thanks for
might even get Ivanka
me.
as the first woman president.
I did an interview with Trump first before Tucker Carlson did, so you can check that out. It's on Twitter. I'm probably gonna watch.
You didn't do an interview with Trump.
Stardust. So if you're into that, come check me out. Twitch.tv/Stardust or YouTube.com.
I didn't do no interview with Trump. Shut up.
And yeah, I know I've been gone for a while. I had a family emergency, so I'm back now. So,
liar. Must be like a parody video.
So, see you guys.
I hope things worked out with that. I hope it's all good, and welcome back. Thanks for being
lying
here.
Like a
Shaved SDA. Go ahead.
Hello, I'm Shaved Dog's Ass, also commonly known as SDA, because nobody wants to say that long-ass name. I typically describe myself as of current an anarcho-absurdist. I typically oppose centralized governments. From this debate, mainly looking for entertainment. I think that
mainly looking for attention.
We've already said it all.
Calling yourself an anarcho of service,
Japanese Navy about to torpedo Donald Trump's Black Fleet, or is going to attempt to, if they have the same outcome or not. I think that Ron DeSantis is just going to repeat a bunch of practice lines attacking Vivek. Vivek, if he can survive this, is going to be the second runner, I guess,
shaved.
Trump.
Who said shaved? What are you talking about?
I think if anybody is going to have a surprisingly good night, it's going to be Pence or Haley, just for reasons of, like, they don't have a lot to be attacked on, and they're not super up in the front, so nobody's focusing on them. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at DogsShaved. Everything else is
Dogs Shaved. Oh, that's what you were talking about.
You'll be able to
the heck kind of name of that?
Having me on, Wick and Son. I'll be here in the after show as well.
Okay, we'll see you later, buddy. Bye-bye.
He might be a groomer.
Okay.
I mean, like a dog groomer.
I mean, as like a liberal or whatever.
Dude talking in the video you're playing. Yeah, I didn't hear him the first time he said his name.
I'm curious about whether or not we'll see any stolen elections.
Somebody said he a dog shaver.
And also to see everyone jump on Vivek for his dog shit foreign policy takes, and like whether DeSantis is probably going to crash and burn. This is largely pointless, so I think Trump is probably going to win unless something happens that we're not anticipating. I mean, I think it'll be very entertaining, but probably not much else. I don't know if this will actually impact or have any meaningful impact on anything. Maybe it might hurt DeSantis more, right. But I guess like we'll see what happens. And y'all can find me. I am Kalinda, KALIINDA,
Kalinda,
like on Kick, Twitch, and YouTube. I do not have, or I'm on Twitter, but it's like spicy. Different. But it's the Twitter is linked there, and yeah.
All right, done eating.
Sometimes I stream infrequently. I might start more frequently. I like to talk about history, and like political stuff. So yeah, and I'll be in the after show as well. Have a good night, guys.
Have a great night. Thank you again for coming. Really appreciate you. Well, Trace, what you got?
Let's be real. Trump only loses if he pulls out. And it's not likely, but if there was one lesson to take from the last Republican primary, it's that anything can happen. The reality is that tonight,
this guy read a novel.
Is DeSantis going to stem the bleeding? He's been on a horrible downward spiral for months now.
Script.
Ideally for him, this is gonna be back in sort of his wheelhouse. Aggressive back and forths in short form over and over again. If he can do that and he can smack down Vivek, he can maintain his status as the obvious number 2 pick, then maybe Trump pulls out, Trump is forced out, and he becomes the default nominee. That's the only thing of consequence to watch tonight, and it's going to be focusing all my attention on.
Money from Soros.
Well, Trace, always a pleasure. Thank you.
You too,
and we will see you later. Bye-bye, buddy.
Much love.
Yep, Tim.
Yeah, so I don't understand where all these.
Ramaswamy was already a millionaire when he accepted
it's a phenomenon. The
money
DeSantis
from George
is
Soros.
Going to get crushed. This is the end of his campaign bullshit. There's nothing for these other candidates to stick him on. They've done nothing. Any attack they would have on DeSantis, he can simply retort with, "What have you done about that?" He could even do that to Trump, and I think that's why it was really a good idea for Trump not to debate here, because I don't think something people are noticing
money from
is,
Soros.
like PPF said, I want someone who's going to go after
from
the gays
like a
and
scholarship award
Trump
program.
Did 0 things to do that.
Even though he made $2.2 million
that year, he's done more in the past year to go after those degenerates, as you say, than Trump did in his entire presidential campaign. And there's no reason to say that once he needed it in order to pay for law school, he'd be able to do the same thing. Or he wouldn't be able to do the same thing.
But he was already a millionaire.
So. DeSantis has the easiest road here, but he also does have the most to lose. He could fumble the bag. Don't think.
Curious to see how little Vivek does. Judas the Sanctimonious, sloppy Chris Christie. Chris Christie, that chunky bald guy that I didn't know who he was. I think. Oh snap! Be wise in the house. What up, Broski Bear? Curious to see how little conservative chat GPT does. I think he's AI. I think he's a conservative AI program. Facts. Built with Chinese robots. He's a op. No, I don't know that. But he did receive money from George Soros to pay for college when he had $2.2 million net value. Ramaswamy said that after graduating from Harvard, he didn't have the money to afford Yale. Shut. Dang. First world problems there. He defended himself last month for accepting $90,000 award from Paul and Daisy Soros Fellowship for New Americans, which was founded by Daisy and Paul Soros. Was it? Big surprise there. The late older brother of liberal billionaire financier George Soros. The late older brother. Well, he died? He did. He did. They didn't have him hooked up with the they didn't have him hooked up to that life force tank. Not much. I got here late though, I think. You only got here like 5 minutes late. Pumping gas. Be right back. What'd you miss? Nothing yet. It hasn't started. Starts in 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Some Shady Iran. And we're just watching a little bit of the Crucible. Who else is reacting to this right now? Is Nick? Crowder's going. Dang. Let's go. They're probably playing a drinking game. I don't want to watch that because then I'll wish I had a beer. I'm going to play a drinking game with water. Young Don is not reacting. Let's see. Republican debate reaction. We'll check out Crowder's stream for a minute. See, there's probably tons of people reacting to this and watching this, watch parties and live streams and stuff. But YouTube won't put any of them on the front page. They want you watching it from AP, NBC, CBS, BBC, NPR, NBC, CNN, CBS, ABC. Even though it's on Fox, but if you go up top, the first one should be Fox, right? The first one should be Fox, but I think Fox is actually not. They've opted out of doing it on YouTube for doing it on Rumble. But then when you go to Rumble, you see Crowder. Well, I had Crowder at the top of my feed because YouTube knows I watch him a lot. Crowder did a Wolf of Wall Street intro. Nice. Vivek was a wannabe rapper in college. I saw a clip of him doing Eminem. Who's this? We Are Change. 1 day ago. I don't even know if Fox is doing it on YouTube. Blaze is doing it. Okay, we got Blaze up there. That's Conservative Inc. for you. But then Pac-Man. I don't know who Brian Taylor Cohen is. Is he a liberal? You'd think for the Republican debates, they'd put the conservative or the Republican channels at the top. Damn, I just stepped outside for a few minutes to go murder more yellow jackets, and it's still 100 degrees Fahrenheit out. Why do you hate the wasps? The wasps. Psst, psst. He actually admitted he was a rapper in the Sean Ryan show. Yeah. I mean, who wasn't? Every white guy I know was a rapper, wannabe rapper, at least. I don't say wannabe rapper because all you got to do to be a rapper is rap. Like if I draw a picture, that doesn't mean I'm a wannabe artist. You don't have to make money in it to be an artist, do you? Am I wrong about that? If you rap, you're a rapper. I was a bike rider. Doesn't mean I could beat Lance Armstrong in a race, but I knew how to ride a bike and I enjoyed it. So I was a bike rider. But everybody I know was a rapper. It's Eminem's fault. Blame Eminem. Mr. Mad, dang! Did you at least get the little nasties? Vivek isn't white. I'm talking about Vivek. Yeah, but he's like he's white adjacent. He's white adjacent. Not just the white guys either. Indian guys in America, or whatever he is, I see it. I can see it. And I didn't just mean every white guy. Every black guy, every white guy. I know a Colombian guy who was a rapper. I know brown guys. What is that? What is that rap group called? I can't stand them. South Park Mexican or something like that. Who is that? South Park Mexican? Who am I talking about? I brought their numbers down by at least 30 in a couple days. The Waspis? He's Hindu. He's not white. Come on, just shredding. Shredding. Like Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Is this about to start? Let's go. 46 minutes. It started. It's already on.
Mr. President, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you shouldn't do them, but you see the polls have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points. And, you know, some of them are 1 and 0 and 2. And I'm saying, do I sit there for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president? Should I be doing that? And a network
South Park Mexican. So yeah, SPM.
Frankly.
Yeah.
You know, they
went to jail for what?
Around to sanctimonious like crazy, and now they've given up on him. I mean, it's a lost cause. It reminded me very much of 2016. You know, in 2016, I went through the same stuff and had to fight them all the way, and then they became very friendly after I won, just about when I was winning. But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it. If you're leading by 50, 60, I have one poll, I'm leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it?
His hair has lost some of its gold shimmer.
8 people, 10 people, whoever
it's
made
looking
the
more
debate,
white
I don't know
now.
how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass, as you probably noticed.
Well, I did. I'm grateful that you did. It's interesting, though, because you...
All right. We'll come back to this after the debates. PBD made a good point. He said it's like the championship team, the top team gets a bye week in the playoffs, something like that. And we're like, that makes sense. That makes a little sense. Ba-da-da-da-ba. He old. Yeah, Trump getting old. That don't mean nothing, though. Age just a number. Stress will do that. And age, yeah. Yeah, he's probably got more stress than anybody.
Some call it the heartland.
The heartland.
Others flyover country.
It's Republican primary debate night!
For the 2024 presidential hopefuls, the Midwest is the place to land. Here, there is one battleground that may be harder to win than ever. Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, Milwaukee.
A state known for its beer and cheese, gridiron and grit, and also
for its cheese.
Its razor-thin elections. In 2016, Republicans narrowly flipped the Badger State red for the first time since Ronald Reagan. But it was back to blue by 2020.
Yeah, of course. Surprising.
Unprecedented year.
Shocker.
The country was rife with tension.
George Floyd, the boy.
In the suburbs of Milwaukee, the division seemed deeper than ever.
Where's Kenosha? Was Kenosha in with Kenosha, Wisconsin? Not. Is it Kenosha, Wisconsin? Where did Kyle Rittenhouse happen? Heck no, we don't need Roe. Was it Kenosha, Wisconsin?
Democrats to the polls this year.
Why shouldn't he debate Biden if Biden ain't debating? Why should he debate if Biden ain't debating? The incumbent president doesn't debate. That's not typical.
Candidates will face off at the home
amazing solo Rome. What's up, Lord Spike? DeSantis, Vivek, Pence, and Christie, all short, girly men. Come on, Rumble. Step it up, Rumble. Listen, I ain't going to be doing this glitchy crap, Rumble. Are we breaking the internet right now? Let's see how many viewers. 27 followers on this channel. Currently 94,000 people watching. That's not... If it was on YouTube, it would be much more. Come on, Rumble! Are you serious? I'm not going to put up with this.
On our debate stage tonight, they are here to lay out their vision for America.
Oh, it sounds like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Can we watch it on...
Good evening, everybody.
On Fox?
And I'm Brett Baer. This
Her name is Becky Edwards.
Becky Edwards.
The Republican choice for president will accept.
I'm not going to watch this glitchy Rumble crap.
Contenders are positioned by the order they sit in the polls.
Capital Traders owned ATM. Capital Traders are owned at the moment. Kanye West live. Hey, that's not his name. His name is Ye. Rapping Ronnie with his witch wife and devil worshipping son. Ugh. Kenosha, Wisconsin. Okay. She mildly attractive, I guess. It's not even showing it on Fox. So we have to watch on Rumble, I think. Everybody booed Asa. Yeah, boo. And who's Doug Bergda? Who the hell is Doug Bergda?
And then candidates get 1 minute to answer. If someone is singled out, you get 30 seconds.
I'm 11 seconds behind.
Big opportunity to break out of the pack and to explain
Doug
why
Bergda.
they are best prepared to
Pence
be
a
the Republican
corpse.
choice for
Vivek
president.
only gives
At a
you
time when the likely
2
Democrat
tomato
nominee,
slices on
President
your Subway
Joe Biden,
sandwich.
is working
And I
to
don't know
convince
anything
the
about Chris
country
Christie. What is going on?
that with Bidenomics, things are looking up.
Bidenomics, things look like garbage.
My plan, Bidenomics.
Oh my God.
I'm
This
not
guy.
sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way.
The Orange Trader is next. Oh man. I thought Kanye West live might be cool for a second. For a second, then I woke up.
More than 65% of Americans say the country is headed
Come on, channel. This is Rumble's fault. This is not my internet.
in the wrong direction.
Don't even
And
say
here's
it's
the
my
reality
internet.
For some voters
Oh my God. Oh my
we talked to here in Wisconsin this
freaking.
week.
Come on, Rumble.
We have noticed a dramatic increase in prices
Who's
at the
this
grocery
guy?
store just across the
I don't want to
board.
watch
Gas
this
is
guy's
high,
channel.
And food is high. A lot of people's out here homeless because they can't buy food.
It's tough when you got mortgage rates at 7-8% versus 2 to 3. It's just you can't afford the house anymore.
Inflation is ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
It's killing us out here.
Is that who's that?
We
said
sit
that?
here tonight.
Inflation is ridiculous.
The number one song on the Billboard chart.
Oh, I remember
is
that
called
black guy.
Rich Men North of Richmond.
To be honest, I think that's a socialist song. I think it's a damn. It's a cool song for Americans, but they're like, oh, it's a conservative Republican song. But really, it kind of got a commie vibe to it, you know? Eat the rich, an eat the rich type of vibe. That's a communist idea.
North of Richmond.
Your goal should be. It's copyright music, Fox. Chill out. I've made it this long without playing or reacting to this stupid song. It's not a stupid. It's an okay song. I'm not. What's up, Cherry Cola? What's up, Ghost Man? Very Cherry Cola. What's up, Lord Spike? I'm on a job in DTLA.
Is this song
Cali
striking
Ocean.
such a nerve in this country right now?
Because
What do
people
you
are tired of
think
being
it
broke.
means?
Our country is in decline. This decline is not inevitable. It's a choice. We need to send Joe
Come on,
Biden back to
DeSantis.
his basement
Come on, Rumble.
and
Let's not
reverse
glitch.
American decline. And it starts with understanding we must reverse Bidenomics so that middle-class families have a chance to succeed again.
So we're just
We
going to spend
cannot
4 years
succeed as a
fixing
country
everything Biden
if
did
you are
for the last
working
4
hard and
years.
you can't afford groceries, a car, or a new home, while Hunter Biden
Trump
can
just
make
keeps ducking the
hundreds of
debate.
thousands of dollars
Trump's
on
probably got
lousy
more
payments.
ratings than the
That
debates
is
right
wrong.
now at this very moment.
We also cannot
Bet.
succeed when the
Bet
Congress
that.
spends trillions and trillions of dollars.
They got 94
Those
viewers on
rich men
Rumble
north
last
of
year.
Richmond have put us in this situation. And finally, we need to lower your gas
This has
prices.
been
We're
watched
gonna
10.7 million, 21.5 million. Wow, it's just skyrocketed.
I showed it could be done in the state of Florida. I pledge to you as your president, we will get the job done, and I will not let you
Howdy, Joff.
Governor DeSantis, thank you. Governor Christie, do you agree with Governor DeSantis just said there? And why would you be better?
Orange Trader. Last time I heard that anecdote, I fell off I laughed so hard I fell off my dinosaur.
With what Governor DeSantis just laid out. And I think that if you asked every one of us up here, that we would agree predominantly with what he just
Answer
laid out.
no
Here's
hints.
the
You must
difference.
wear a mask
The
on
difference
site.
is
I don't
that
comply.
We're gonna have to work
We will
and
see
make
what happens.
sure that we sell
Are you
these
Vaseline?
ideas. And we
Who's
able
Chris
to be able
Christie?
to put
No, I'm kidding. I know
ourselves
who he
in
is.
a position where we get a
I don't know who
majority
the
of
Tom
vote, not only
Bergelong
by
or
winning
whatever
the
that
Congress
dude's name is.
and the Senate in 24, but also by having someone who's had the experience of doing it.
I'm gonna need your autograph, Rome.
Was elected as a conservative
Come on, Rumble.
Republican in a blue state.
Come on, Rumble.
1% of the vote with a
This is some
the entire
nonsense.
time.
Who made
And
this
we
call?
Still, through hard,
You know, I bet you Trump and Tucker aren't glitching like this, like Rumble is. Who made this call? Fox? Oh, you fire your number one guy, and now you're going to Rumble?
brought them around to
JS
our
equals
point
just
of view.
shredded.
We cut taxes
Nice.
in New Jersey. We cut debt in New Jersey. We made sure that
Come on.
each and every time
is
we were
gonna-
confronted
this is
with
gonna
bad
irritate me.
democratic ideas, we stood
already
and
is.
stopped them. And when there were good ideas, we brought people together to make progress going forward.
Oh my God, Rumble! Are you freaking
Truth
kidding
and
me? Rumble,
accountability
164,000
are the things we need to
watching.
do to
Rumble
fight
is
waste.
crashing. Rumble
And I
can't
think
handle
the last
this.
thing is this, Brett. We cannot sit by any longer and allow the kind of.
I almost
spending
just
that's
want to
going
watch
in
Crowder
Washington,
on
'cause every
YouTube.
dollar they spend is a dollar that these
But he'll be
people
talking
are
over
not
it.
allowed to spend on their children and their grandchildren. It's robbing our country and it's wrong.
Well, Governor, let me just follow up very quickly.
My chair's
New
broke.
Jersey, when
I
you
have
were
to
governor,
weld.
had the second lowest
I
credit
have to
rating in
weld
the
these
nation
two
after
metal pieces
Illinois.
together, but I
It
gotta
was
take it all
downgraded
apart.
11 times.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what happens when you inherit a blue state.
Christie has a
that
huge
done
bladder.
that. But when
He
you
pulls his
look at
pants
what we
over and
did
uses
on
his
debt,
belt to
Brett,
keep his
in that
fat
state,
tucked in.
we cut
Jeez
debt
Louise.
in that state, debt that had been left to us by 3 Democratic gubernatorial predecessors of mine who ran up that debt tremendously. And what you
The
also
debt.
saw us do
I don't care
was to
about the
cut
debt.
unemployment rate in
I know
half.
that's like a
It was over 10%
conservative
when I
talking
became
point,
governor
but I
in
don't really care about it.
2010.
It's fake
What we
imaginary
also did
money.
was cut pension payments to public employees.
Rumble trying to make my shares
sure
go
that
down.
taxpayers were not being
Use
soaked
JB Weld.
by a
Ooh,
public
I could do that.
employee union system
Ding,
that
ding, ding.
was
Time's up,
killing
Chris.
the taxpayer.
Thank you, Governor.
Nah,
Scott, I mean, Tim
he ain't
Scott,
got it.
Senator
He ain't
Scott,
got that.
excuse me. The song also goes after welfare programs. As a senator, now
Let's
President
go.
Biden argued for freezing federal spending. This was back in the 80s.
This guy's
and
trying to
dealing with
split votes.
sacred
Boo,
cows.
Chrissy.
He does not talk about that anymore. You have been a senator.
You got
for
Rumble
10
shares?
years. So what have
I got
you done
Facebook share,
to
Meta
rein
shares,
in the increasing size of
and I got
Well, thank you for the question. Over the last several years, I've had an opportunity to
Virgin
vote against
Galactic,
spending package
which actually
after
launched
spending
their first
package after
commercial
spending
space
package.
flight.
What we
It's just a
also
parabolic
need to
flight
understand
with
is
2
that
black
Joe
girls on it.
Biden's
They won a
Bidenomics
contest.
has
A
led
black
to the
mom
loss
and her
of
daughter went on the first
$10,000
parabolic
of spending
consumer
power
flight
for the
from
average
Virgin
family.
Galactic,
When
which
you
is
see
Richard Branson's.
16%
Sorry, Tim, I'm
inflation,
talking over you.
gas
I'm talking over Tim. Calm down, Tim. Virgin Galactic finally, bro, they were supposed to do this 2 years ago and beat Elon Musk and Bezos. So their stock went from like $1 up to $60. When it was at $15, I was like, it's going up. I'm buying a bunch of it now before it gets too high. And then it got to 60, and I could have sold it then and made a buku bucks, made like a nice chunk of money if I sold it at 60. Instead, I thought, no, it's going to keep going because they're going to win the commercial space race. And so I bought more at 60, and that was my fatal flaw because it's plummeted because the launch day that they had set, they pulled it back. And they said, no, we got to set it back farther. Ended up taking a whole extra like year and a half. Meanwhile, Bezos and Elon complete their space missions, their little consumer space missions, and Virgin Galactic just did their first one the other day, and there was a scientist who paid $300K, I think, or $250,000 to go on this flight. And then there was a black mom and her daughter. I only say that she's black because it's a descriptor, and they weren't. And I just thought that was interesting that, you know, I think it was more for the optics because they made sure they had the little girl looking out the window as she's floating around. They had the camera like right in her face. I think it was for the optics. I think that the winner of that contest. When did they even have that contest? I don't believe it. Anyway, but the Virgin Galactic stock is slowly starting to go back up. So if they make it more normal, hopefully I can recover my losses.
Your food is up 20%. Your electricity is up 20%. We can stop that by turning the spigot off at Washington, sending the money.
Look, I'm behind. I paused, and I thought maybe it would let it build up and get ahead, and this shouldn't happen. But it's still happening.
I helped write the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act in 2017.
Come on.
2017. We cut taxes for a single mom like the one.
No Trump, no watch. Me no care for who's going to be VP.
By 60%,
We're going to watch Trump and Tucker after this.
$4,000. If you don't send it to Washington, we can't spend it. That's good news.
But I want to see who we might be looking at in 2028 as well.
You approved 4.4 trillion, 4.1 trillion, 1.7 trillion over the course of that administration. That's a lot of money.
There's no doubt that during the Trump administration,
oh, you know he know how to spend money.
We spent more money, but here's what happened at the end of our time in the majority. We had low.
Head looking like a milk dud.
3.5% for the majority of the population. 70-year low for women.
So yeah, he did say a racial slur.
Asians had a
maybe you could
all-time low.
Adjust your speech to not include racial slurs, Tim.
2% under Joe Biden.
Black and brown. Black and brown.
We've seen inflation explode, which led to 12 Federal Reserve increases. That's
I wonder if he's going
devastating
to tell us about being black
today.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
bro, we just had the two first black women in space on a commercial space flight. Just so you know,
Mr. Ramaswamy,
racism. That tells me racism doesn't exist.
Voters choose you over more experienced politicians on this stage. You're basically, a blank slate for people. You're
don't talk about sweets.
You've said
Stop it.
That you only voted in 2 presidential elections.
My mouth is watering now. I'm thinking about eating Tim Scott's head. Pause.
So first, let me just address a question that is on everybody's mind at home tonight.
Listen to Vivek getting a little clappy clap.
Name and what the heck is he doing in the middle of this debate stage? I'll tell you, I'm not a politician, Brett. You're right about that. I'm an entrepreneur. My parents came to this country with no money 40 years ago.
And then I was a millionaire.
To found multi-billion-dollar companies.
And then I got money from George Soros Foundation.
Our 2 sons, following our faith in God.
Racism, schmacism.
The American dream.
And India landed on the moon today. I heard that too.
Dream will not exist for our 2 sons and their generation unless we do something about it.
Super pause on
that.
that.
But it's going to take an outsider. Because for a long time, we have professional politicians in the Republican Party who have been running from something. Now is our moment to start.
They're not even going in order. Oh, I guess their order is based off of
what it means to be
something.
An American today.
Hey, let's go, conservative chat GTT.
Vivek
is the best one on the stage, in my opinion.
That's why I'm in this race.
I like him. I don't know. Something about him. Something about him, I don't know if I can trust him.
These voters talking about tonight. Then Mr. Ramaswamy,
she kind of pretty.
Successful entrepreneur.
Nikki Haley kind of pretty.
He's beating you in the polls. Well, I don't care about polls.
I don't want to see a Nikki Haley VP though.
No one is telling the American people the truth. The truth
her face
is
looking kind of.
Biden didn't do this to us. Our Republicans did this to us too. When they passed that $2.2 trillion COVID stimulus bill, they left us with 90 million people on Medicaid, 42 million people on food stamps. No one has told you how to fix it. I'll tell you how to fix it.
Ballsy move, Nikki.
Stop the spending. They
I
need
think
to
Nikki
stop
knows
the
she ain't
borrowing.
gonna win.
They need to eliminate the earmarks that the Republicans
So
brought
she's
back
got a
in.
message to get out there.
They need to make sure they understand these are taxpayer dollars.
Ballsy
it's
move.
Not their dollars. And while they're all saying this,
or she's just more liberal-minded than the rest of them because she's a woman.
You've got Mike Pence. They all voted to raise the debt, and Donald Trump.
I can't vote for someone who's as I could whoop.
And our kids are never going to forgive us for this. And so at the end of the day, you look at the 2024 budget, Republicans asked
all
for
5'7", 140 pounds. He's using Trump's original running formula verbatim.
Billion. So you tell me who are the big spenders. I think it's time for an accountant in the White House.
Vice President Pence.
An accountant in the White House.
You were mentioned there.
Be a treasurer.
54% of voters say the cost of groceries is a, quote, major problem for them.
Right.
You blamed the Biden administration
and building
spending
materials
for that increase. But as vice president, your administration spent more than any
plywood's
prior,
back up to 22 a
$7.8
sheet.
added to the national debt.
It got back down to regular for a little bit. It got down to like 12, 13 a sheet, but it was up to $44 a sheet of plywood. Now it's back. Now it's like 22.
Reference to our
shut up, Mike.
Record. I'm incredibly proud of the record of the Trump-Pence administration. I mean, in
are you aware of your own administration?
Our military. We revived our economy. We unleashed American energy, and we appointed 3 conservatives to the Supreme Court.
He better not say anything about January 6th or Trump. He better keep Trump's dang name out of his mouth.
You asked earlier who's the most best prepared.
He's tiny. He's Hindu. He's clever. He's a wannabe rapper. Tough to trust.
To all of my friends on the stage, and even to one that's probably looking
Judas
on.
the Penguin.
Tommy, unquestionably, I am the best prepared, the most tested, the most qualified and proven conservative in this race. I was a leader in the Congress of the United States. I led Indiana where we balanced budgets and had a triple.
Tommy, say hi to the stream.
When I was governor. And as vice president of the United States,
hold on, I can't hear you.
We spent funding to backfill on the military cuts of the Obama administration, and then we were there in the worst pandemic in 100 years. All that being said, I was the first person in this race to say that we've got to deal with the long-term national debt issues. You got people on this stage that won't even talk about issues like Social Security and Medicare. I mean, Vivek, you recently said a president can't do everything. Well, I got news for you, Vivek. I've been in the hallway. I've been in the West Wing. A president of the United States has to confront every crisis facing America. I will put our nation back on the path to growth and prosperity and restore.
Tommy trying to promote his artwork on my stream. You trying to sell your artwork on my stream? Oh, look at that.
When I was vice president.
All right, I'll let you shoot your shot. Hold on.
You were named earlier. I'm going to get Vivek first.
We'll get to both of them. Yeah, this isn't that complicated, guys.
That's Joe Biden? Oh, it's like Joker.
Burn coal, embrace nuclear.
It's like Joker Joe Biden. All right.
Paying them more to stay at home. Reform the U.S. Fed, stabilize the U.S. dollar, and go to war. The only war that I will declare as U.S. president will be the war on the federal administrative state that is the source of those toxic regulations, acting like a wet blanket
All right,
of the economy. So
put the link in the Facebook chat. But I gotta go. I'm watching the debate.
For me, it's pretty simple. That's something a U.S. president can do with focus, and I'll deliver on it.
Let me explain it to you.
The debates are happening right now, and the Trunk and Tumper interview.
I sometimes struggle with the reading comprehension.
Look, I was a House conservative leader before it was cool. I actually pushed a deficit reduction act. That was the last time we actually reduced the national debt in the United States when I was the leader of House conservatives. I balanced budgets and cut taxes when I was governor. I mean, look, Joe Biden has weakened this country
much are you charging
at
for
home
it?
and abroad. Now is not the time for on-the-job training.
$25.
We don't need to bring in a rookie.
Oh, look at Pence calling out Vivek. Look, Vivek laughing at Pence right now. Hold up. Hold on, guys. Hold on.
So here's the thing. Why are we in this mess? Part of it, and a major reason, is because how this
DeSantis trying to throw his hat in the ring.
By locking down this economy.
What are you yelling at, DeSantis? You weren't even involved in this conversation. Tommy, I'm streaming. Look, the debates are on.
We kept our state free and open. And I can
$25, guys. If you want to buy Tommy's drawing of Joe Biden, let me know. I'll get you the information. You can buy it. All right, I gotta go, Tommy.
Fauci in, you sit him down.
Yeah, it's actually a really good drawing.
You are fired.
You gotta. Hey, you got to go to the library and make copies of it, photocopies. You can sell the original for like $100. You can sell the copies for like $5 a piece.
Their memorized, pre-prepared slogans out
He doesn't listen to people. I got to go, Tommy.
The reality and the fact of the matter is...
Was that one of yours?
Not really, Mike, actually. We're just going to have
Tommy
some fun
doesn't
tonight.
listen. Just keep
and
talking.
the reality is, you have a bunch of people, professional politicians,
Who the heck is Tommy?
super PAC puppets,
He's just a
following
guy.
slogans handed over to them by their 400-page super PACs last week. The real choice we face in this primary is
Tommy
this.
Salami.
Do you want a super PAC puppet, or do you want a patriot who speaks the truth?
Patriot.
Do you want incremental reform, which is what
You're the
hearing
least
about,
American
or
on
do you
the
want
stage.
revolution? Okay. And I stand on the side of the American revolution.
Revolution.
We're going to take control back here.
They got some Vivek puppets in the audience screaming for him.
There are two people who have not. We're going to get back to that. We are.
We don't care about COVID anymore. Don't talk about it. Who cares?
And then from Governor
Let's
Hutchinson
move on.
The economy, sir.
Well, great. Thank you, Martha. And
who's this
I'm
guy?
in a town of 300 people. It's a big deal to make it on this stage with all these folks. But
Doug Burgum. Doug Burgum got a little fan base.
But when they were all wishing me well, and I think I took them a little too literally when they said go to Milwaukee and break a leg.
That wasn't funny.
But I do want to say on this,
Tommy Salami.
We can't just talk
Tommy
about
had a birthday yesterday. Tommy had a birthday the same day as Stubborn Ones.
Of course, we're paying
I sang
too
him
much for energy
Monday.
in our-
I sang
in
him
our
happy
state
birthday
in
on
our
Monday.
country right now. But part of the reason why is because of the Biden policies on energy. We've got a plan right now, the $1.2 trillion of Green New Deal spending.
He knows how
in the
YouTube works.
Inflation Creation Act.
He knows
is
how
something
Discord
that
works.
is just subsidizing
But I'm not in the
China.
Discord right now
If we're
because
going to stop buying
I want to watch
oil
this.
from the Middle East and start buying batteries from China, we're just trading OPEC for Sinopec.
He always
And then
calls as soon as I
belatedly-
start streaming, but he never comes into the stream.
The Biden administration says
Burgum,
no, we're
I
gonna
barely
put
know
sanctions
him.
on Russian oil. Well, we put sanctions on Russian oil. Well, then it's 20% off. Who's buying it? China. So if you buy a
China.
battery in this country, you buy a solar panel, it's being
Produced in China, rare earth, your electric
in a
cars.
in a plant in China powered by coal, or it's being powered by oil and gas at 20% off. And every farmer
Based.
in this country would like to buy diesel at 20% off, just like
Based Doug Burgum.
buying it in China.
Doug looks like a host in a bad restaurant. Yeah, he kind of looks like Two-Face in one of the Batman movies before the incident.
Tonight, and let me
Come on, Rumble.
just tell you that I'm a pro-life governor.
Oh, get
from
out of here,
a
Asa Hutchinson.
Conservative state that have a conservative record.
Oh, you're pro-life.
in which I
Well,
lowered
shocker.
Taxes in Arkansas as governor.
He's got an Israel pin on his shirt.
I created a $2 billion surplus that I passed over to
He's
my
got an Israel
successor,
flag and American
and
flag
I
on his
made
shirt.
sure that we shrunk the size of government. We have 14% fewer state employees in Arkansas after I left government than when I took over as governor 8 years ago. I tell that because that's what
Dang,
we
Zio
need in
Shield.
Washington, D.C.
Zio Shield,
We need somebody
neocon.
who
I'm
can
pro-life,
actually
though.
constrain the growth of
Everybody and their
government,
mama's
that
pro-life.
can actually reduce the
Actually,
size, and
80%
I
of women
pledge
are
to
not
reduce by
pro-life,
10%
even on both
our
sides.
federal
So,
non-defense
they
workforce.
mama might not be
That's
pro-life.
a
but
specific pledge to make that attacks the administrative state. And let me applaud
What did
some
I
of
just
the
say?
business
80%
partners
of
that
women are
here
pro-choice.
that have had success in business.
That's what I meant.
But let me tell you, I've been a
The
federal
majority of
prosecutor.
women are pro-choice.
I've served
Even-
our country
even the ones
in
who
terms of being
call
head of the
themselves,
DEA, in Homeland
conservative or
Security, in
Republican.
times of
They
crisis.
secretly are
And
pro-choice.
while I think that that's experience
Not all,
that
but
is
most. Not my
important for the
audience.
future of our country to be the president
He's
of the United
Io
States
Shield.
that can lead with positive solutions and be held
Dude's
accountable.
creepy looking.
Thank you. We have a lot of topics to get to, and I promise we're
Yep.
going to get to everyone.
I think half of them are robots.
Okay, next topic.
Remember
More than
those
1,000
robots
people
that I
are
showed
still
from China
unaccounted for in Maui
the other night?
after the
I think these
deadliest
guys
U.S.
are.
wildfire in more than a century. Hawaii's governor and White House officials said that climate change
Oh, my.
amplified the cost of human error.
And a tropical storm hit California for the first time in 84 years. The ocean hit 101 degrees
Why do you-
off the coast of Florida.
Why do you use a scapegoat? Why wouldn't? Okay, so why wouldn't you just say there was a hurricane with wind, and then a fire happened? Hurricane, not really a hurricane, tropical storm, wind, fire, it made a fire. Why would you need a scapegoat unless it was to divert the attention from the fact that there was actually a guilty party? Like, you don't need a scapegoat. You don't need to say, well, climate change did it. It was climate change's fault. You just say what it was. You just say it was wind and fire. But they say climate change to take everybody's attention off the fact that there's a lot of weird stuff involved in the Hawaii issue and make people not, and then they'll call those people conspiracy theorists.
And in the last month, the
climate change people are the biggest conspiracy artists.
50 years old.
So Alexander Diaz from
That's
Young
it,
America's
JS.
Foundation
Robots.
has a question for you.
Yes.
Polls consistently show that young
Just
people's
shredding your
number one
mic is
issue
too
is
loud?
climate change.
My bad.
How will you, as both President of the United States and leader of the Republican Party,
I'm kind of yelling because I'm like drowned out by air conditioning unit and a fan. Plus, I got the video playing, and I don't want to pause a whole lot. So I probably just talk less loud, or I could turn it down a little bit. Let's turn it down a little bit. My bad. It's hard to keep the audio settings the right way with these things blowing because it changes everything. But I'm not turning the air.
calm their fears that the Republican Party doesn't care about climate change?
I'd like to buy a vowel.
So we want to start on this with
We need
a show
primate
of hands.
change.
Do you
Some
believe
people have got goop.
in human behavior
got
is
goop.
causing climate change? Raise your hand if you do.
Look, we're not school children. Let's have the debate. I mean, I'm happy to take it to start. Alexander?
So do you want to raise your hand or not?
I don't think that's the way to do. So let me just say to Alexander
Look at
this.
Ronnie
First
being
of all,
slit.
one
I
of the
like
reasons
Ron.
our
I'm gonna be
country's
honest. I
decline
like
is because of
Ron.
the way the corporate
I just
media
don't like.
treats Republicans versus Democrats. Biden was on the beach while those people were suffering. He was asked about it. He said no comment. Are you kidding me? As somebody that's handled disasters in Florida,
Look
you
at
got to be
Pence looking at
activated.
Ron
You
like,
got
I'm
to
not
be
trying to
there.
go
You
to
got
bat
to be present.
against
You got to
Ron.
be helping people who are doing this. And here's the deal.
Stop filibustering and let's answer the question, please.
Is that a hand
Is that
raise?
Vivek?
You do
Vivek
not-
said.
I think it was a hand raise for him, and it's my hands are in my pockets.
No,
because
no,
the
I
climate
didn't
change
raise-
agenda
I
is
didn't
a
raise a
hoax.
hand.
Let us be honest as Republicans.
He said climate change is a
I'm the only person on
hoax.
the stage who isn't bought and paid for, so I can say this. The climate change agenda is a
That's
hoax.
just ridiculous.
The climate
Yeah,
change
he did
agenda
get
is
money
a
from
hoax.
Soros
And we
for
have
college.
to declare independence for it. And the reality is, the anti-carbon agenda is the wet blanket on our economy.
That's
and
true.
so the reality is,
That's
more
true.
people are
What he's
dying of
saying
bad
is
climate
true,
change
but
policies than they are of actual
the odd not
climate
bought
change.
and paid for thing,
Haley, are you
that's
bought
not
and paid
true.
for?
I don't know if that's true.
Listen.
No,
Wait, hold on.
But he is.
I've had enough.
Shut
already
up, Chris.
tonight of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT.
He said it. He said conservative chat GPT. Let's go.
The last
He
person
is.
in one of these debates, Brett, who stood
He
in
got
the
that
middle of
from
the stage
Anomaly.
and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?" was Barack
Damn,
Obama.
that's
And
racist.
I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur standing.
Oh, Chris coming in.
Give me a hug just like you did to Obama.
Same type of amateur.
And you'll help elect
Oh,
me
this
just
guy was
like you
hugging
did to
Obama?
Give me that
The
bear
same
hug, brother.
type of amateur.
Chris Christie hugging Obama? Hold on.
Governor
Let's
Haley,
fact check
would you
this.
like to respond?
Vivek.
Are you
So,
bought
Brett,
and
what
paid
I
for?
would like to say is the fact that
Is
I
it-
think
is it,
this is
is it
exactly
AI?
why Margaret Thatcher said, if you want
Chris.
something said, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
Shut up. Chris Christie hugging Obama.
First of all, we do care about clean air,
Six
clean
ways
water.
Chris
We
Christie
wanna
has
see
talked
that
about his
taken care
Obama
of.
hug.
But there's a right way to do it. And the right way to do it is, first of all, yes, is climate change
Vivek
real?
got
Yes,
him.
it is. But if you want to go and really change the environment,
Shut
then
up.
we need to start telling China and India that they have to lower their emissions. That's where our problem is. And these green subsidies
That's a
that Biden
conservative
has put
talking
in,
point that is
all
kind of
he's done is help China.
like they
Because
are
he
on the
doesn't
Paris
understand
Climate
all these
Accord. I
electric
didn't know that. I
vehicles
was
that he's
proven wrong
done.
about that.
What
By Freddie.
that does- half of the batteries for electric vehicles are made in China.
I can't
And
remember
so
who corrected
that's
me
not
on
helping
that.
the
They-
environment.
they're like,
You're
no,
putting
they're on
money
the
in
thing.
China's pocket, and Biden did that. So first of all, I think we need to acknowledge the truth, which is these subsidies are not working. We also need to take on the international
Bell, that's
world
wrong.
and say, okay, India and China, you've got to stop polluting.
He said
and
the
that's
Barack
when we'll
Obama
start to
hug
deal
never
with
happened.
climate
Scott, are you
change.
bought and paid for?
Absolutely.
Are you bought and paid for?
I'm sorry.
Are you bought and paid
Absolutely
He
not.
said it.
Here's what the American people deserve is a
Did you see the
debate about
face he
the
made?
issues that affect their lives. Going back and forth, being childish is
Oh,
not
I'm
helpful
sweaty.
to the American people to decide on the next leader.
All right,
of our
Dad.
country. Number one.
All right, Dad.
Number two,
Ruining the fun.
as
Hit the
a
light
kid who
line,
grew up in a
guys.
single-parent household mired in poverty, I wondered, was the American dream real for kids
fake got
who were
roasted.
devastated by
did get a little
poverty,
roasty
devastated
toasted.
by the challenges of life? I came to the conclusion that
Is there a
America
T?
can do
Can
for
I get a T?
anyone
What are we spelling?
what she's done for me.
Pause?
If We focus on restoring hope, creating opportunities, and
What up,
protecting
name?
America. If we want the environment to be better,
Yo,
and we all
Christy,
do,
my favorite
the best thing to do
crackhead
is to
aside
bring
from
our
Hunter.
jobs home from China. If we create 10 million new jobs in my Made in America plan, we will have
I don't
a
know
better
that.
economy and
No,
a better
Dudhead.
environment. Let me tell you why I say that, Brett.
Oh, he's making me my sweet
America,
tooth.
Do it quickly.
America has cut.
Pause.
I'm a Southern boy. I talk slow. So America.
Don't ring the bell on
That
the
was
black
quick.
man.
America has cut our carbon footprint in half in the last 25 years.
His
The places
ears are
where
almost
they
non-existent.
Are continuing to increase.
His
Africa,
ears are like
950
inside of
million
his
people.
head.
India over 1 billion. China over 1 billion. Why would we put ourselves
It's
at a
funny to look at.
disadvantage? Devastating our own economy.
I know. I couldn't believe that question, Freddie. He said, "Are you wanting paid
We
for?"
have a lot of different
Every time that bell rings, I
We
want to
do.
solve the
Thank you
puzzle.
all.
That's
Thank you,
right.
Senator
That's what.
Scott.
Yep.
So coming up next, the candidates will weigh in on what could be a defining issue in the 2024 campaign. The first Republican debate continues.
Y'all are airing
moments away.
on the dang rumple. You have commercials. Don't make me watch a dang commercial. I am avidly against commercials. Oh, we got fast forward action because I've been pausing.
We've got to be a lot smarter in how we talk about women and how we show them that we care.
We're going to stand up for the unborn in Washington, D.C.
Says who?
And if you cannot do that, you should not be the nominee
Love
for
is
the
in the
Republican
air.
Party. This is a defining
Everywhere I look around.
Do
Turn the
you
lights
trust
on,
our
it's not-
government and where the
No.
economy is heading? Does the
No.
thought of losing your hard-earned retirement savings to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you?
No.
Well, you're
What's
not alone.
retirement savings?
Smart Americans are taking action while they still can by reaching out
I'm
to
smart.
Birch Gold Group. For
Birch
over 20
Gold.
years, Birch Gold has helped
Gold
concerned
shields.
Americans protect their futures
Gotta have a
by
gold
moving part
shield.
of an existing
Conservatives
IRA or
love
401k into a physical gold
I
IRA.
love
Because
gold.
when things are a mess, like right now,
And
Americans
who has all
turn to
gold?
gold.
The
With an A+
Goldbergs.
rating, with a Better Business Bureau, and thousands of happy customers, Birch Gold is the trusted leader in gold.
How do I
They're
fast
busier
forward?
than ever. Okay.
Allegiance to the flag of the
look at
United
kids.
States.
We understand that.
Indivisible.
We got a military commercial. This is just American. Black Rifle.
Rumble has to be a
Black
place
Rifle
that welcomes
Coffee Company's a joke.
fundamentally. We
Don't
can
support
do this
Black Rifle.
together without
Who's this
top-down
liberal?
authority, that we can regulate
Who's
democratically
this socialist
our own
hippie?
community. You can be you, I can be
Who's
me.
this British
without
socialist
judgment,
hippie?
Beyond acceptance.
98, 98, 98 for 401.
More gold. Gotta get your gold. The Goldensteinbergs. You bet not be smelling no luck on Wednesday.
Issue for Republicans
I
since
don't
the
know
Dobbs
what
decision.
language that is.
In 6 state referendums, all have upheld abortion rights in this country. And even in red states, there are more swing
Get in
state
where it is.
referendums
Smoking
that are coming up
smoking
as
a
we head into
pancake,
the
a
elections
cigarette and a waffle,
as well
a bong
on
and a bit,
this.
spice and a crit.
So, Governor Haley, what do you say to your party and to your state, which today confirmed a 6-week abortion law as well,
Get him to the
especially
Greek?
the impact on women,
smoke a
suburban voters
Jeffrey?
across this country?
Thank you, Martha. I am unapologetically pro-life, not because the Republican Party tells me to be, but because my husband was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children, so I'm surrounded by blessings. Having said that, we need to stop demonizing this issue. This is talking
is
about the fact that
demonic.
unelected justices didn't need to decide something this personal, because it's personal for every woman and man. Now
Agree.
it's been put in the hands of the people. That's great. When it comes to a federal ban, let's be honest with the American people and say it will take 60 Senate votes. It will take a majority of the House. So in order to
So
do
you're
that,
saying
let's find
it's too hard?
consensus. Can't we all agree that we should ban late-term abortions?
Yes.
Can't we all agree that we should encourage adoptions? Can't we all agree that doctors and nurses who don't believe in abortion
This is
shouldn't
like a
have to
cop-out.
perform them?
This is what the
Can't we all agree
pro-choicers
that
will say to a
contraception should be
pro-lifer.
available? And
You only
can't we
care
all
about
agree that we are not going to
the
put
life
women
before
in
it's
jail or
born.
give
You
her
don't
the
care
death
about the life
penalty
after it's born.
if she gets an abortion.
Christians make the
Let's
most
treat
adoptions.
this like
Do the most
a
adoptions.
respectful issue that it is and humanize the situation
talks
and
crazy
stop
'cause his
demonizing
pants
the
are too tight.
situation.
Brett,
Rub the furry wall?
You're not mentioned, Vice President Pence. Governor DeSantis, you
to get him
signed
to
a
the Greek?
6-week
Yeah,
abortion
yeah.
ban in Florida. One of your biggest financial backers said that you need to, quote, shift to get moderates or you will lose. What do you say to him and others who say
you don't
politically,
have to shift. You just have
that
to
is a
speak more
tough
moderate.
thing to sell nationally.
You don't actually have to.
Well, I would say we
change
sold
your
the
ideas.
biggest
You just
election
need to
landslide
change your
victory in the
marketing,
history of the Republican Party in the state of Florida in 2022. That's what I did. We can win. But second of
Not
all,
fight for
look,
things that are
you
as
got to do what you
extreme.
think is right. I believe in a culture of life. I was proud to sign the heartbeat bill. I remember one of the most impactful moments of my life was when I
Culture of
heard
life.
the
It just
heartbeat
sounds-
of my oldest daughter in my wife's womb, and then saw the sonograms of all three of my kids. What the Democrats are trying to do
Just say
on
killing
this
babies
issue
is bad.
is wrong, to allow abortion all the way up to the moment of birth. I know a lady in Florida named Penny. She survived multiple abortion attempts. She was left discarded in a pan. Fortunately, her grandmother saved her and brought her to a different hospital. We're better than what the Democrats are selling. We are not going to allow abortion all the way up till birth.
The interview wasn't
and we will
aired
hold
like
them
live. It was
accountable
just
for their
uploaded. The whole thing is
extremism.
up already.
Just to be clear, Governor, would you sign a 6-week ban federally?
So we're watching this because it's happening live.
I'm going to stand
Something
on the
we'll watch
side of
after
life.
because
Look, I
it was just a
understand
video that was
Wisconsin
uploaded.
is going to do it different than Texas. I understand Iowa and New Hampshire are going to do
pre-recorded.
different. But I will support the cause of life as governor and as president.
Vice President Pence, you're shaking your head. Hold on, Senator. Vice President Pence, you're shaking your head.
Well, look, I'm not new to this cause. After I gave my life to Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, I opened up the book and I read, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you."
Base. See,
I set
Pence is
before you
base.
life
He's
and
just a
death,
warmonger.
blessings and curses. Now choose life.
Pence is really the most Christian
dude
dude up there. I would.
And I've
I
been a
would venture
champion
to
for
say.
life in the Congress, a champion for life
Pence
as
is
governor
pro-war.
and as vice president.
He's got a little of that
to be
Old
honest with you,
Testament
Nikki, you're my friend, but
mentality.
consensus is the opposite of leadership. When the Supreme Court returned this question to the American people, they didn't just
I don't
send
hate
it to
Pence.
the states
Well, I don't
only.
hate any of them, but I don't.
It's not a states-only issue.
I think
It's a
Pence is
moral
all right. He
issue.
just turned on
And I
Trump. He didn't
promise
get
you,
the
as
job
president of
done.
the United States, the
And
American
he's a
people
warmonger.
will have a champion
And I'm
for
kinda
life
tired of
in the
warmongers.
Oval Office. Can't we have a minimum standard in every state in the nation that says when a baby is capable of feeling pain, an abortion cannot be allowed? A 15-week ban is an
measure
idea
that?
whose time has come. It's supported by 70% of the American people, but it's going to take
Everybody's agreed with that,
unapologetic
Mike.
leadership that stands on principle
What are you
and
shaking your head
expresses
no for?
compassion
Everybody's
for
agreed.
women in crisis
hold on.
pregnancies. I'll do that as president of the United
He
States.
called my name, so I want to respond to that.
30 seconds.
So first of all, I will say it is in the
Pence
hands
is
of
in
the
the
people,
Allen's
and that's
robot
where it
suit
should
from
be.
Men in
But
Black.
when you're talking about a federal
Yeah,
ban,
he's got a little
be
thing in
honest
his
with
head.
the American people.
Little man in
We
his head.
haven't had 45 pro-life senators in over 100 years, so no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president can ban all those state laws. Don't make women feel like
All
they
right,
have to
it's
decide on this issue
bet.
when you know we don't have 60 Senate votes in the House.
70% of the American people support legislation to ban
WWW.
abortion after a baby
I'm
is
back.
capable of
He's back,
experiencing pain.
y'all. He's back.
It's just going to take leadership.
Hold on.
70% of the Senate
Pence is
does
not trustworthy,
You have to be
though.
honest with the American
Really, are
people.
any of them?
All right,
I don't think
let's
so.
get Governor
Yeah.
Bergman for one
I mean,
minute
yeah,
here.
probably right. That's
so-
probably right.
But the Supreme Court did overturn Roe v. Wade. And the result of that decision was that it went back to the states.
Yeah, that's what.
So that's where it is right now.
Thanks
as
for
I
giving us
understand
a-
it, you are not in favor of a federal ban. What do you say about the states? There's about 5 of them, including New Jersey, I think a few others, that allow abortion up until the time of birth, though. If you were president, would you
Light them on
be
fire
able to
with your
abide that?
lasers.
Well, first of all, I'm a pro-life governor of a very pro-life state.
That's why I don't like
this
the term
issue is, of
pro-life.
course, very important. But I am on
Because
the
I think
record,
baby
and I
killers
stand
should
behind
be lit on.
that we should
up
not
with
have a federal
lasers.
abortion ban. We should not. And the reason
I'm
why we
not
shouldn't is
pro-life.
very simple. It's the 10th Amendment in the Constitution. In the Constitution,
I'm
which the
anti-killing
states created the
babies.
federal government, not the other way around. It says that there were certain duties allowed to the federal government delegated
book
to
in
them
his hand?
by
You're
the
not supposed
states.
to
The
speak
rest
props,
are
bro.
left to the states, comma, or importantly, or to the people. We need to get back to freedom and liberty for the
Doug.
people in this country.
Oh, Doug.
And we can't have. We
Hit the
can't
like
have
button if you're a troll.
Republicans
Just do it.
who
Do we
fight
got
for
trolls in
50
here?
years for this great cause to return it back to the states.
Thomas
and then the next
Sowell.
day they turn
Thomas
around and go, no,
Selly.
the feds should
Thomas
do that
Selly
because the
too.
feds are stepping into people's
I don't know how
lives,
this
they're
stream
stepping
even
into
came up
people's
on my list of
businesses.
videos to watch,
Over
but
and
you're
over,
doing a
if
great
we
job.
say that the
Great
feds
work.
should be in
You've
on
got a
this
new
one, where do
YouTube
we stop?
subscriber out
I
of me
say
also. Let's
that we follow the
go.
Constitution, and this was returned to the states. This is where it should
Tommy,
be.
stop calling me.
You signed a 6-week ban. Governor Burgum, you signed a 6-week ban. So you're saying federally,
I already
it's
reached
all
the
going to go
number
to the
of
states.
YouTube channels I
Yes,
can
and
subscribe to
what
today.
is going to work in New York will never work in North Dakota, and vice versa. That's
What?
why 50 states. That's why 50 states.
This is too important of an issue that I have to address.
Well, hit the like button.
First of all, the Supreme Court gave it back to the
And hit the
elected
bell.
representatives,
And
whether
that
it's
way,
the states
next time,
or
even if you
whether
forget
it's the United
tomorrow,
States Congress.
next
So there
time I
is
stream, it'll
authority,
pop up on
and
your
that's
feed and
why
you get an
President
alert.
Biden is pushing for a
But I had no
Democrat
idea
proposal, which is in
there's a
essence
limit to how
abortion
many
on
YouTube
demand
channels you
through
can
the term.
subscribe to
So
per
they
day?
have their
What
extreme
did you just
position
discover,
at a
YouTube?
national level.
How many
It's most
YouTube
likely
channels
going
do
to
you
be
subscribe
addressed
to
in the
every day?
states, but it's
That's
certainly
cool.
fine for it to
I
be
just didn't
addressed
know
at
that
the
was a thing.
national level as well. Arkansas has the record of being the most pro-life state in the nation. I signed 30 pro-life pieces of legislation
know.
while I was governor.
Have they banned it?
And every
Utah
state
has.
can determine a different outcome
Banned
here.
in-
And it
banned
is the
in
most
Utah
important
currently.
issue for women and for the unborn child.
Even
and
Jalen
for our
subscribed.
country that we get this right.
Shout out,
It's going to be
Jalen.
a continued debate. Let's talk about it in terms of compassion, in terms of protecting the life, and also understanding how we have to enhance adoption services, how we have to enhance maternal care. Those things we've done in Arkansas and are important for our
You
nation's
can't make it too
future.
easy
There are a
because
lot
then
of
you got
issues that are
a
very
bunch of people
important.
shouldn't be having kids.
Senator, I'll let you
Thank you.
weigh in.
Having kids.
We cannot let states like California
And also,
New
when they
York,
increase
and
these
Illinois have
these adoption
abortions
things,
on
they're gonna
demand
they're
up
gonna be
until
more,
the
and they're
day
increasing
of
the
birth. That is
LGBTQ stuff, and
immoral,
those
it
people
is
can't have
unethical,
kids.
it is
So they're gonna
wrong.
be
We must
clogging up the
have
adoption
a
systems, and
president
that's
of
a
the
problem.
United States who will advocate and fight for at the minimum a 15-week limit. I am 100% pro-life conservative. I have 100% pro-life record. I got to tell you, though, we must fight for life. Our Declaration of Independence says our Creator gave us inalienable rights that include life. That is a list. That is an issue we must solve. We
think
can't
the word
leave
is
it to
endowed,
Illinois. We can't
which
leave
means
it to
more than
Minnesota.
just
We
gave.
can't leave it to Illinois. We must
place
solve
the
that issue with
responsibility
a
on it.
15-week limit at a minimum.
Thank you,
Brett, I
Senator.
think we're all pro-life, but
Thank
what
you.
I would love
Right,
is
I think
for
everybody
someone to
agrees
ask
on that.
Biden and Kamala Harris, are they for 38 weeks? Are they for 39 weeks? Are they for 40 weeks? Because that's what the media needs to be asking.
All right, another issue is America.
Biden's
and
been
the
on
crime
vacation
crisis,
for
the
38
homelessness
weeks. He's
crisis.
gonna be like, is that how long I've been on
American
vacation?
cities are in decline. People are moving out as homelessness,
Serranos
drugs,
are greater than
crime move
jalapenos.
in.
I like Serranos.
There are problems
I do like Serranos,
accelerated.
but I don't know if I
they
think
did
they're better than
accelerate during the
jalapenos.
pandemic and are still rising, actually.
I do like
Murders
them.
in Los Angeles, New York,
I
Chicago,
won't forget to
all
subscribe to your
up
YouTube page because
30%
this will be
between
my
2019
watch
and
history,
2022.
so it'll be easier
Homelessness
for me
is
to
up
remember.
11%,
I already hit the like button
the
for this video
largest jump
too.
in
Let's
recorded
go.
history. Vice President Pence, a lot of this
Tomaselli.
began
Tomaselli too.
in the COVID era. How much of what we're seeing happening around this country is a result of those COVID lockdowns, and is your administration in part to blame for how we got here?
Well, I think what's in part to blame is the Democrats have been talking about defunding the police for the last 5 years. And we ought to be funding law enforcement, particularly in our major cities, at unprecedented levels. I mean, it's extraordinary to think about the violence that's claiming innocent lives literally every week in every major city in this country. And yet Democrats and liberal prosecutors in major metropolitan areas continue to work out their fanciful agendas, to do bail reform and go easy. What we need is strong commitment to law enforcement. We need leadership in Washington,
he's totally
D.C.
dodged the
that will
question.
marshal the resources.
She's asking
of the
about
states,
his
marshal the
responsibility
resources of the
during the
American
COVID.
people. But let me also say it's about opportunity.
Some of the lockdowns.
I mean, a lot of people don't know that
the stimulus,
those Trump-Pence tax cuts that we
not all the stimulus, but some of the stimulus came from under
at the
Trump
end of
and Pence.
2025 if we don't have a
And
Republican
that
president
was detrimental on
and
our
a
economy.
Republican House and
The
a
lockdown
Republican
started
Senate.
under them.
When I'm president of the United States, we're actually going to cut taxes further.
If
we're
I
gonna
was
extend
Pence,
those
the way
tax
I would have
cuts,
answered this would be to
and we're gonna
focus on the
close
vaccine
Federal Department of Education, block grant
even though,
all that
well,
funding
Republicans
back
don't.
to the
A
states
lot of Republicans
with a
don't
growing
like that.
economy and
but
educational choice and law enforcement. We will bring our cities back.
Governor Christie,
but I would say we brought it to you quick and we gave you the option, but we did not mandate it on you. And then when Biden came in and mandated it, people started losing their jobs. That's how I would
add that to the big increase in school shootings around the country. Democrats blame this crisis on easy access to guns. They also blame Republicans for blocking gun control legislation. What would
I wanted the
President
reunion
Christie
between Trump and Pence. That ain't happening.
You know, I'm proud of the fact, Brett, that I'm the only
Plan B
person
is
along with
next
Governor
day.
Hutchinson up on this stage who's actually running
still-
United States Attorney's Office. I ran the 5th largest
They'll
office
be
in
here on the
America in a state where there is significant
Still
urban
baby
crime.
murder.
And the problem is not going to be solved
Trump
by
elder?
more money.
Yeah,
the
that'd be
problem
cool. I wanna see
is
Trump
that these
Tucker.
prosecutors
Tucker
in these
Trump. Trump
localities
and
in the
Tucker.
states are refusing to do their job
Trump and
and
Tucker.
to arrest violent criminals. So what a President
Tuck and
Christie would
Trumper.
do is appoint an attorney general who would instruct each of the 93 U.S. attorneys that they are to take over the prosecution of violent crime in every one of those cities.
I know. Speaking of Larry Elder, I wonder if he's pulled up in an Escalade out front. He's trying to get in right now. They're saying, "No, Larry, you can't get in." He's going to be suing the people that put on this debate, the GOP, I guess, because he met all the criteria to get in, and they didn't let him in. They didn't let our boy Larry in. They don't like Larry because Larry's based.
Cities that are failing to do
Andy
so.
Blatt.
We have plenty of room in the federal prisons to lock up these violent criminals and clean up what's going on all across this country in these individual cities. Secondly, what we need to make sure that each and every one of these criminals understand is that the laws apply to everybody. And when Hunter Biden fills out a fake application, a false application for a gun permit, and then is facing a 10-year mandatory minimum, which was mandated by legislation sponsored by his father. And then you have a Justice Department
sleeps
that
with
walks away from
Taiwanese
those
hookers,
charges. We're
lady
telling
boys.
people that the law doesn't apply to everybody. In a Christie administration, he would go to jail for 10 years.
What about a President
Face
Ramaswamy?
Christie.
What does a President Ramaswamy do about guns?
So the reality is
I
we have a
can't believe
crime
we
wave in
called
this
Vivid
country, and we know how to
conservative
fix it.
chat
The question
GPT.
is, do we actually have the spine to do it? More
Might have to
cops in the
clip that.
streets who
Might
are
have to
on the
clip
streets
that.
able to do their jobs without looking over their shoulder for getting sued. And we also have a mental health epidemic in this country. Just over the same period that we have closed mental health institutions, we have seen a spike in violent crime. Do we have the spine to bring them back? I think we should. As president, I will. But it's not just drugging up people in those psychiatric institutions with Zoloft and Seroquel. It's a deeper issue. I think faith-based approaches can play a role here, too. We're in the middle of a national identity crisis.
What faith?
And
You're
I
Hindu,
say this
bro.
as a member of my generation. The problem in our country right now, the reason we have that mental health epidemic, is that people are
Clean
so
up.
hungry for purpose
Elder campaign
and
hitting me
meaning
up for a
at a
donos.
time when
Not
family,
gonna
faith,
happen. Trump.
patriotism, hard work have all disappeared. What
Larry
we really
Elder
need
is
is a
dark
tonal
white. He's not
reset
black.
from the top, saying that this is what it means to be an American. Yes, we will stand for
Elder
the rule
got
of law.
24
Yes, we will
spinners.
close the southern
Sticker
border
still
where criminals
on
are coming in
him. Oh, yeah, he's
every
out
day.
front.
And yes, we will back
He
law
pulled up.
enforcement
Pulled
because
up.
we remember who we really are.
He's
And that's
bumping
also how we
DMX,
address
Rough Riders
that mental
anthem
health
in
epidemic
his
in the
Escalade
next
out
generation
front,
that is directly
trying to
leading
drown
to
out
violent
debate.
crime
Can I
across
speak
this
on behalf
country.
of
Governor
the American
DeSantis,
people
really
here?
quickly. Governor DeSantis.
We don't have an identity crisis.
Clean up. We have apps
We're
that
not
tell you
looking for
where
a new
Hunter
national
poo,
identity. The
human
American
poo
people
is.
are the most faith-filled, freedom-loving,
We're gonna need a deep clean.
idealistic, hard-working people the world has ever known. We just need government as good as our people.
Well, Mike, I think the difference is you
No
might
such
have,
thing.
some others like you may have on the
People aren't
stage,
good
it's
and
Morning
the
in
government.
America speech. It is not Morning in America. We live in
DeSantis
a
running on
dark
Soros'
moment,
back.
and we have to confront the fact
Vivek
that
got
we're
money
in an
from
internal,
Soros
sort
to
of
go to
cold
college.
cultural civil
Yale
war,
after
and
he
we have
already
to
went to Harvard.
recognize that.
And he had millions of
failed
dollars.
government in Washington, D.C. We just need government as good as our people again.
So, let me just finish addressing that slogan because I don't know
People
what that
get the
slogan
government
means.
they
I want to
deserve.
shut down the administrative
Governor
state.
DeSantis,
That's actually how we translate it.
Crime has been on the rise in Florida, Governor DeSantis. How do you stop?
See how they
Well,
like?
actually, crime's at a 50-year low
They
in
are-
Florida.
Not in Miami.
We're happy with that. Well, the statewide, it's a 50-year low. And so here's the thing. these hollowed out cities, this is a symptom of America's decline. And one of the biggest reasons is because you have George Soros funding these radical left-wing district attorneys. They get into office and they say they're not going to prosecute crimes they disagree with. The inmates start running the asylum. There's one guy in this entire country that's ever done anything about that.
Donald Trump.
When we had 2 of these district attorneys in Florida elected with Soros funding who said they wouldn't do their job, I removed them from their posts. They are gone.
Don't look at me, Ronnie. Don't look at Vivek, Ronnie.
As president, we are going to go after all of these people because they are hurting the quality of life and they are victimizing innocent people in every corner of this country, and it will stop when I get into office.
Okay, one more here before the break, Governor Gorgon.
Brett and Martha, I just thought it was interesting. You asked your question about the problems we're having in big cities.
Yeah,
no
all
one ever
the
asked
cities,
the question
really.
of what about the crime wave in small towns? Because in a small town, neighbors help neighbors. People understand each other. If a farmer gets sick, everybody comes together and helps him get the crop off. There's accountability. There's transparency. One thing that I think this country could use is somebody in the White House that understands small town values, because that's our road back to get this country on track again.
in a small town.
Governor
See how
Hutchinson?
far get to down the
As former
road.
head of the DEA, I understand the drug crisis in America.
God, Asa, you're
and
freaking
right
me
now,
out,
whenever
dude.
you look at the challenges in our inner city,
like damn Joker.
there's 3 simple words that would be helpful. 1, enforce the law when it comes to crime. Secondly, let's deal with the challenge of fentanyl. And it's both about
That's a lot more
stopping
words.
the fentanyl coming from Mexico, but it's also about education of our young people, making sure that we have the
through
tools
Mexico
that are needed
from
for
China.
addiction counseling. That's what we expanded in Arkansas as well. Whenever you look at the underlying challenge of America, though, no one likes to
These are
see
all
an America
rhinos.
with smash and grab in our inner cities. As President of the United States, that will stop. It starts at the top with the respect for our justice system that a former president who's under indictment has undermined by attacking judges, by attacking prosecutors, by attacking the system, and saying he's a great.
Asa, I knew Asa was the worst.
We have to have respect
Just
for
get
our
off the
justice
stage,
system
bro.
and the rule of law, and it starts at the top
With your
the
Israel
President
pen
of
and
the
your
United
Trump
States.
hate.
Thank you.
We're
Hold
going to
on.
take a break.
Get out of here.
So, speaking of that, right now you are looking live at
Asa,
Fulton
more
County
like
Jail,
Gaysa.
where former President Donald Trump will be processed tomorrow.
Oh, no.
So next, the candidates will
Fulton
have an
County?
opportunity
I've been to Fulton.
to talk about the coming trials of Donald Trump.
No, I haven't been. I've been to Bibb County Jail, but I've never been to no Atlanta jail.
Do you trust our government and where the economy is heading?
No, we've
Does
already
the thought of
established
losing
this
your hard-earned retirement
Goldenstein
savings
bird.
to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you? Protect their futures by moving part of an existing to better from the government.
Well, you do this.
Oh my God, it's the same commercials every time.
Purevote.com to sign up and commit to voting early.
That's how we're going to beat the Democrats at their own game.
Go to bankyourvote.com.
And please take the pledge to bank your vote to beat Biden.
Apparently, Trump made a campaign ad that was all clips of all the times. It was all these clips of all the times that DeSantis said good things about Trump before he turned on Trump, back when Trump was president and stuff. So all these times DeSantis was complimenting and cheering on Trump. And then at the end, Trump comes in and he says, "My name is Donald Trump and I have approved this message." I haven't seen it yet, but I heard about it. Sounds awesome. Shut up, Black Rifle Coffee. Nobody wants your crap, dude. You kicked off Elijah from Slightly Offensive. You disbanded him. You left him out in the cold because of what? Because of Kenosha? Because of Rittenhouse? Because he had Rittenhouse's back and you didn't? Black Rifle Coffee didn't have Kyle Rittenhouse's back? Get out of here.
This is about peace of mind.
That didn't work. That backfired. That Black Rifle blackfired. Backfired.
Hello, I'm Rumble. And I'm YouTube. YouTube, why are you dressed like that? Well, I've been
Steve
seeing a
will
lot
do
of
it.
violations in the community lately, so I'm enforcing that. You mean like people not
Let's
following
go.
your
Steve
policy?
will do it.
Strike one! What if someone tells the truth, but it's labeled as misinformation? Wow. What if I want to ask questions and have different opinions on things?
Strike 3! You're out of here!
Nice. That's a cool commercial. Steve
Does
will
the
do
thought
it.
of losing
If
your
his
hard-earned
face is even
retirement
in your
savings to
video
DC's
on
reckless spending
YouTube,
scare the heck out of you?
well,
Smart
he just
Americans are
was.
taking
I mean, this
action
might
by
get banned just
texting the word
because I said
now
his
to
name and he was just on the screen.
9898 for a free info kit on gold from
Dang, I didn't even think about that. How you gonna put a Steve Will Do It commercial on when people are on YouTube watching this
Gold
debate?
Group. For 20 years, Birch Gold has helped Go Gold IRA.
Go gold,
Text
go
now
gold,
to
go gold.
989898 now.
Damn,
for
Steve
a
Will Do It
free
is still
info
alive
kit.
somehow. That man drank. That man dranking. The hidden agenda is now under this cover. Fentanyl as 15-minute cities are created. Yep. I figured he died of alcohol poisoning. I know, it's crazy. Yo, what's going on, Rumble? What's up? What's up?
Retirement savings to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you? Smart Americans are taking
It's not
action
live
by texting the word now to 989898 for a free info kit on gold from Birch Gold Group. For 20 years, Birch
I don't care about Birch Gold, bruh. Oh, it was just
We have a
long
lot to get
pause
to in this
on
second
that.
hour of this GOP primary debate. Policy discussions the Americans want to hear.
300,000
you all
watching
on.
this right now.
China, Ukraine, immigration, education. But we are going to take a brief moment and talk about the elephant.
Tucker video
in
has
the room.
75.2 million views already.
Former President Trump has been indicted in
75.2 million
on
views
91
already.
counts. He will be processed
In
tomorrow
an hour.
Georgia at the Fulton County Jail
That's
for
insane.
charges relating to the 2020 election loss.
You all signed a pledge to
75
support the
million
eventual
views
Republican
in an
nominee.
hour.
If former President Trump is convicted in a court of law, would you still support him as your party's choice? Please raise your hand if you would.
Let's go over that. All right, Ron, begrudgingly. Pencil gave a little flippity flip. Chris Christie, get your ass off there. Asa,
Governor Christie,
get the heck out of here.
No, I'm doing this. Look,
Chris
I'm doing
Christie and
this.
Asa, y'all two get off the stage. Mike had a little flip up. DeSantis
Look,
begrudgingly.
Here's the bottom line.
Vivek was the
Someone's
first
got
one.
to stop normalizing this conduct. Okay?
Shut up.
And now whether or not you believe that the criminal charges are right or wrong, the conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States.
Who invited this guy? Where did this guy come from?
And, you know,
This guy didn't get
this is
interviewed
the
by
great thing
Tucker
about
on
this
The
country.
Blaze.
Booing is allowed, but it doesn't change the truth.
Trump not debating because he ain't
It
playing with
doesn't
rhinos.
change the truth.
But see, this is what I knew was going to happen. Imagine if he was on the stage right now. I knew there was going to be
Let's
something
just speak
about
the truth, okay?
Trump.
President Trump, I believe, was the best president of the 21st century.
Yo, we might be seeing Vivek on that VP ticket.
Honest to God,
And I
your
might be
claim
with
that
it.
Donald Trump
I
is
don't know.
motivated by vengeance and
We gotta-
grievance would be a lot more credible.
need to see more.
If your entire campaign were not based on vengeance and grievance against one man.
Oh, but one hand? No, two hands. Chris Christie and Asa Hutchins. Chris Christie did like this. He said, nah.
An iota of vision for this country. They could just change the channel
Chris
to
Christie and
MSNBC
Asa Hutchins
right now.
didn't raise their
But
hand.
I'm not running for
Pence
president of MSNBC.
flipped his flipper up
I am
like a
running
little
for
dolphin.
president of the United States. We're skating on thin ice, and we cannot
DeSantis
set a precedent
was the
where the party in
second to
power
last
uses
to raise
police
his hand.
force
He kinda-
to indict its political opponents. It is wrong. We have to end the weaponization of justice in this country.
30 seconds, Governor DeSantis.
Look, you know, let me tell you
No, I'm sorry. 30 seconds, Governor
You
Christie.
make me
Sausage
laugh
garage.
because
Shut up, Chris.
You sit here in an answer.
He's been going at Vivek the whole time because he knows Vivek might be the top dog here. Chris Christie actually pulled ahead of DeSantis in Iowa polls, I believe.
Go ahead, Governor Christie.
If Chris Christie pulled ahead of you, you might as well
So
just
listen,
hang it up.
The more time we spend doing this, the less time they can talk about issues you want to talk about. So let's just get through this section. Governor Christie.
You sit here talking about how you want to stand up for the rule of law.
Yes.
and law and order.
If it's not apparent who the people are
that it can't be selective.
cheering
In your
for
book,
there,
you had much
it's
different
Trump.
things to say about Donald Trump than
They're
you're
only
saying
cheering
here
for
tonight.
Vivek because
No, it is very true.
That is not
It's
true.
very true. I read it.
Because
and I
Vivek
know
is
it's
all
moving
about
bad
Trump.
Behavior and illegal
By the way,
behavior, Chris, and you as a
by the way,
prosecutor should know better.
You know what? I know a lot
There's
better.
a difference between
when asked about who he
I know
might
a lot
pick as
better than you do.
VP
You've
after
never
the
done
Blaze
it like
Summit,
You've never done anything to try to advance
the only
interests
name
of
he
this
meant, he
government
said there's a lot of
except to
good-looking
put
people up
yourself
there.
forward
But the only
as a
name he
candidate
mentioned was
tonight.
Vivek.
And here's the thing. We've stood up for law and order. I did it as U.S. attorney. I did it as governor. And I am not going to bow to anyone when we have a president of the United States who disrespects
I think you'd
the
be bowing to
Constitution.
people regularly,
He said-
Chris.
He said,
Get your MSNBC contributor.
he said,
Okay, hold on.
now-
The fact is these are politicized indictments, and we have to call out the truth.
Martha, it's important to say that the
DeSantis
president
kind of
said,
just kicking back.
Donald Trump said,
Kicking back,
it's okay to
being
suspend
booed.
the Constitution. Now, the oath you take is to preserve, protect, and defend, not suspend. I will always stand up for our Constitution, regardless of the political pressure.
We have another question for you. We're going to get everyone in on this issue, but I have another question. I have another question. Hold on, you will. All right. So President Trump's former vice president is on this stage tonight. He has faced hecklers on the campaign trail over his actions on January the 6th.
Did I
On that day, the vice president moved forward with the certification of the election. So do you believe that Mike Pence did the right thing, Senator Scott? Do you believe he did the right thing?
Absolutely. He did the right thing. Number one. Number two, we should be asking ourselves a bigger question about the weaponization of the Department of Justice. When I'm president, the first thing I'll do is fire Merrick Garland. Second thing I'll do, fire Christopher Wray, because we need Lady Justice to wear a blindfold. Without that, no one has confidence in our justice system. 17% of Republicans have confidence in our Department of Justice. Here's why. We keep seeing not only the weaponization of the Department of Justice
Who the heck
against
is Martha?
political
What up,
opponents,
Jeff Hewitt?
but also against parents who show up at school board meetings. They're called, under this DOJ, they're called domestic terrorists.
Firing Christopher Wray will not do it. We have to shut down the FBI. Actually have the courage to get it right.
Mr. Ramaswamy, let me finish my comments.
Yes.
Not only that, in addition to that, we see the SWAT team show up at pro-life activist homes with guns drawn because this DOJ uses their power, uses their authority, not just against political opponents, but against conservatives and conservative causes. It is time for a change in America, and I will bring that change to the greatest nation on God's green earth.
Elementary schools where little girls are being essayed.
On January 6th.
So here's what we need to do. We need to
And then they moved the kid to a different school, and it happened again, and then they hid it, they buried it. And when parents brought it up at the school board meeting, they were going to call them domestic terrorists.
January 6th of 2021. It's about January 20th of 2025 when the next president is going to take office. I know what the Democrats would like to do. They want to talk about
I was about
all
to
these
get hot
other
with
issues, but we've
DeSantis
got to
here.
focus on your future. We've got to focus
Mentioning,
on reversing the decline of our country.
Right.
I learned in the military, I was assigned with U.S. Navy SEALs in Iraq, that you focus on the mission above all else. You can't get distracted. So
Talking about
Republicans,
J6, but
we've got to look forward, and we've got to make sure
Scott
that
disavows.
we're bringing the message that can win in November
Did not
2021.
answer the question. Did not answer the question.
Vice President Pence, what do you think, Vice President?
Is to support and defend
DeSantis
the
dodged the
Constitution of the
question.
United States. I think,
Pence dodged
I
questions,
think the American people deserve to know whether everyone on this stage agrees that I kept my oath to the Constitution that day. There's no more important duty. So answer the question.
I've answered this before.
So yes.
Why are we? Mike did his duty. I got no beef with him. But here's the thing: is this what we're going to be focusing on
I'm relieved.
going forward? The rehashing of this? I'll tell you,
Governor
the
DeSantis,
Democrats would love that, and they will win if we let them get away with it. I'm not letting Biden hang out in the basement this time.
But then y'all need to stand up for Trump.
This country, and we're going to hold him accountable.
Let me just say, Governor DeSantis, we spent an hour talking about policy. Former President Trump is beating you by 30, 40 points in many polls. So it is a factor in the GOP
Got him.
primary. Governor
Where's
Hutchinson,
Dane the Balloon
you did not
Man?
raise your hand.
I did not raise my hand because there's an important issue we as a party have to face. And over a year ago, I said that Donald Trump was morally disqualified from being president again.
Shut up.
As a result of what happened on January 6th.
Get out of here.
More people are understanding the importance of that, including conservative
Nobody
legal
got time for
scholars
that.
who says he may be
Asa.
disqualified under the 14th Amendment from being president again as a result of the insurrection. This is something that could disqualify him under our rules and under the Constitution. And so, obviously, I'm not going to support somebody who's been convicted of a serious felony or who is disqualified under our Constitution, and that's consistent with RNC rules. And I hope everybody would agree with me.
We're going to get to a lot more time. We're going to move on. No, we're going to.
Martha, can I answer the question?
Can I get in on
okay.
14th Amendment.
I'd like to answer.
I've already been in on
First time
Vice
the word
President
male
Pence.
was
I'd like to
added
answer the
to
question you asked and not give a pre-canned speech. Mike
14th
Pence
Amendment. What does this have to do with Trump?
for the Constitution, and he deserves not grudging credit. He deserves our thanks as Americans for
What does this have to
putting
do with Trump?
his
14th
oath of
Amendment,
office
no state shall make
and the
or enforce a
Constitution
law which
of the
shall
United
breach the
States
privileges or immunities
before
of citizens
personal,
of the United
political,
States,
and
nor shall any
unfair
deprive-
pressure. And the argument that we need to have in this party before we can move on to the issues that Ron talked about
Formerly
is we
enslaved
have
people.
to dispense
Yeah, it ended
with the
slavery,
person
but it
who said
made,
that we need to
prisoners into
suspend
slaves.
the Constitution to put forward
the heck does
his
that have to do
political
with
career.
Trump?
Mike Pence said no, and he
Get
deserves
Asa off
credit
the
for
stage.
it.
He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Governor Haley, we haven't heard from you on this. Do you agree?
Lies.
Do you
Oh,
agree
lies.
Vice President Pence did the right thing that day or not?
I do think that Vice President Pence did the right thing, and I do think that we need to give him credit for that. But what I will also tell you is, look, I mean, when it comes to whether President Trump should serve or not, I
Trying to
trust the
overthrow a
American
government?
people. Let them vote. Let them
It's not in the
decide.
14th Amendment.
But what they will tell
what I
you
s-
is that it is time for a new generational
Amendment was about
conservative
slavery
leader. We have to look at the fact
and
that
imprisonment.
3/4 of Americans don't want a rematch between Trump and Biden. And we have to face the fact that Trump is the most disliked politician in America. We can't win a general
Important
election that
concepts.
way.
Due process, equal protection.
Happy to answer the question. Mike Pence did the right thing on January 6th. But I would say you started off the top of this hour saying we're going to talk about China, Ukraine, education. We are. China is the number one threat
Section
to our country.
3 forbids
and every
anyone who
minute that
participates
these
in
8
insurrection
candidates
or
spend talking
rebellion
about the past
against
instead
the
about
United
the
States
future is
from
time
federal
that is
office.
just
Okay.
you know who loves it? Biden loves it,
all right.
but China loves it when we're
Section
talking
3.
about the past.
Okay, as promised, we were going to spend a few questions on it, let people say what they wanted to say, and now, indeed, we are moving on to the subject
The
of
U.S. has committed nearly
Although nobody was
77
charged
on
with
this issue,
insurrection.
I was
You
kind of
did
involved.
you answer.
It wasn't an
You
insurrection.
You did
say
answer.
something.
Yeah.
I thought we thought you were done, but you
No, I
please.
wasn't done.
Well, Mike, why don't you say this? Join me
Yeah.
in making a commitment that on
Where's
day one
Mike's
you would
pet
pardon
fly?
Donald Trump. I'm the only candidate on the stage who had the courage to actually say it. That is how we move our nation forward.
Vivek knows what he's doing. Vivek's buying to that
Right.
VP
Be
spot.
convicted of these crimes.
You should be able to make a commitment. The same justice system that was this
Vivek, here's
corrupt.
the difference between you and me.
Yeah, I'm not a
I've
professional
actually-
politician. That's the
I've
difference. Who can
actually,
answer a question?
I've actually given pardons.
That's
when I
true.
was governor of the state of Indiana.
He said, "I'm not a
Usually
professional
follows a finding
politician
of
like
guilt
you, and I can answer
contrition
questions."
by the individual that's been convicted.
Mike hasn't
So,
Mike hasn't
look,
answered
well,
one
if I'm
question
president
the
of
whole
United
damn
States,
time.
We'll give fair consideration to any pardon request. But if I may, you know, it's not about looking back at January 2021.
Yeah, that's in section 3.
It's about
of the
January
14th
20th,
Amendment.
2017. I put my left hand on Ronald Reagan's Bible. I raised my right hand.
But that's assuming that it was an
And I took an
insurrection,
oath.
which it wasn't.
To support and defend the Constitution of the United States. And it ended with a prayer, so help me God. It was a promise that I made to the American people.
He's always trying
but
to
I
pull
also
the
made
Christian's heartstrings. He's
made it
always
to
got
my
to
Heavenly
mention
Father.
his prayer. And his
Every day for 4 years, I sought to keep that oath.
He's trying to get the Christian
And
vote.
everyone on this stage needs to make it clear whether or not they'll do the same if they earn this job and the confidence of the American people. Now, look, I've made it clear. I had hoped that the issues surrounding the 2020 election and the controversies around January 6th had not come to this, had not come to criminal proceedings. I would rather they had been resolved by the American people and the
Well,
American
we tried
people
to
alone.
resolve
But
it,
no
and then
one's
you
above
called
the
it an
law.
insurrection and started
And
shooting
President
people.
Trump is entitled to the presumption of innocence that every American is entitled to, and we will make sure and extend that to him. But the American people
You had
deserve
the
to
chance
know
to
that the president
fix it. You should have
asked
listened to our
me
voice. We tried to
in his request that I
handle this.
reject or return votes unilaterally, power that no vice president in American history had ever exercised.
We didn't
or
go hard
taken.
enough.
He asked me to put him over the Constitution. And I chose the
Christian?
Constitution, and I always will. I had no right to
think
overturn
that it's
the
all like
election,
kind of like an
and
act
Kamala
to
Harris will
get
have
the
no
Christian
right
vote,
to overturn the election when
or
we
like to
beat
get
them
the
in
Christians to
2024.
be on his side.
Thank you, Vice President
You might be
Pence.
right. I can't truly
Now, we
judge
are
that
moving on
without
to other issues.
knowing his heart.
The U.S. has
He
committed
might be a
nearly
real
$77
Christian, just be a
billion in
scumbag.
aid to the Ukraine war.
There could be
The administration is
scummy
now
Christians.
asking Congress for
They're not the
$24
best
billion
Christians, but-
more. Regardless of that, the
it Ukraine?
specifics of that plan, is there anyone on stage who would not support the increase of more funding to Ukraine?
We would not support it.
Europe
Would
needs
not
to step
support.
up. I mean, I would have Europe step up and do their job.
So raise your hand, DeSantis. Either raise your hand or don't, DeSantis.
But you're saying you would not too, Governor DeSantis?
I will have Europe pull their weight.
But you
Right
would-
now, they're not
That's not the
doing
question.
it, and I think we need to do. And I think our support should be contingent on them doing it.
So you
And I
are,
would
you
have
do want to
support
send
in
them more money
China,
as long as
to be
Europe's
able to
also
take,
sending them
to
more
be able to
money.
take China,
So they need more money
do what
from
we need to
Europe
do with
and
China.
America.
Mr. Ramaswamy, you would not support an increase of funding to
Yo,
Ukraine?
Vivek,
I would not.
listen.
And I think that this is
He's a
disastrous.
cute little Indian guy. He looks like a troll doll.
Invasion across somebody else's
I
border
kinda like
when
him.
we should use those same military resources to prevent across the invasion of our own southern border here in the United States of America.
Rap,
We are
Vivek.
driving Russia further into China's
He could
hand.
freestyle.
The Russia-China alliance is the single greatest threat we face, and I find it offensive that we have professional politicians on the stage that will make a pilgrimage to Kyiv, to their Pope, Zelensky, without doing the same thing for people in Maui or the south side of Chicago or Kensington. I think that we have to put the interests of Americans first. Secure our own border instead of somebody else's.
He was referring.
And the reality is, this is also how we project strength.
Vivek
by
kind of
making
running the
Americans
show
strong
tonight.
at home.
I'll be honest.
You heard the names. Governor Christie first.
All right, look, I did go to Ukraine.
Ignoring
And I went
their
to
history,
Ukraine
blah,
because
blah, blah.
I wanted to see for myself.
Based simply
what
off of
Vladimir
this
Putin's
debate,
army
performance
was
in this
doing
debate,
to the free
Vivek
Ukrainian
body
people.
and everybody.
And let me tell you, I want you all to look around this
I
arena
think
tonight.
he is riding
and
Trump's
imagine
tail.
that every
Boo,
one
this
of
guy.
these seats was filled. And if every one of them
He
was
is
filled,
riding Trump's
there would
tail
still
for
be
sure, but-
2,500 more children outside to make over 20,000 who have been abducted, stolen, ripped
What is on
from their
his
mothers
tie? It
and
looks like he
fathers
has little
and brought
Indians
back to
on his
Russia
tie.
to be programmed to fight their own families. They have gouged out people's eyes, cut off their ears, and shot people in the back of the head, men, and then gone into those homes and raped the daughters and the wives who were left as widows and orphans. This is
He's
this
pulling on our
is
heartstrings.
the
We gotta be
Vladimir
sad for
Putin-
Ukraine.
This is the Vladimir Putin who Donald Trump called brilliant.
We got people in Chicago
and a
shooting
genius.
people in the
If we
back
don't
of the
stand
heads
up
and
against
raping
this
people
type
already.
of
That's what Vivek
autocratic
just said.
Killing in the world.
We got our own
we
problems
will
here.
be next.
People are struggling. Let's stop sending Ukraine all our money.
You were mentioned.
Governor Haley, we'll come back.
Vice President Pence was mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
Yeah, well, let me be clear. Anybody that thinks that we can't solve the problems here in the United States and be the leader of the free world has a pretty small view of the greatest nation on earth.
That is incorrect.
We can do both, Vivek. We've done both. We've been
That's
the
what
leader of the
I'm
free
hearing
world,
that.
the arsenal
That's
of
not what I'm
democracy
seeing,
for years.
Mike.
The Reagan Doctrine years ago made it clear. We said, if you're willing to fight the communists on your soil, we'll give you the means to fight them there so our troops don't have to fight them. Vivek, if we do the giveaway that you want to give to Putin to give him his land,
Mike,
it's
when
not gonna be too
Tucker
long
asked
before he
you about
rolls
Ukraine, you
across
said,
a NATO
that's not
border,
my problem,
and
or something
frankly,
like that.
our
What'd he
men
say?
and women of our armed forces are going to have to go and fight him.
Shout outs
I
to
wanna
the
let
south side of
Ukrainians
Chicago.
fight and drive Putin and the Russians back out into Russia.
I want to just briefly address Pence, Vice President Pence. I have a newsflash. The USSR does
Newsflash.
not exist anymore. It fell back in 1990.
Did I say
the real
USSR?
threat, you talked about the communists, and the real communists that we have to address right now
are in America.
Idea what Vladimir Putin's aims
you
are?
already spoke. Now
China.
I actually have something to say.
Vladimir Putin has been saying he wants to reestablish the old Soviet sphere
You've made
of
your point,
influence.
Vice President.
Now, if you think I'm sorry if I insulted him by calling him a communist. He is a dictator and a murderer, and the United States of America needs to stand against authoritarianism.
Mr. Ramaswamy, 30 seconds.
Respond. The real threat we face today is communist China, and we are driving Russia further into China's arms. The Russia-China military alliance is the single greatest threat we face. Nobody in either political party is talking about it, and I am the only non-neocon on this stage.
He said, I'm the only non-neocon on this stage.
Is to give Russia everything they've got.
Mr. Vice President.
Strictly off what he's saying,
Ukraine will
he
never
might
be
be
in
right.
NATO, and then
But
somehow
Mr. Vice President.
some of
China
his
will
actions
not
may
think
show
about
otherwise.
taking
Some of his
Taiwan.
past.
We
The past ain't
achieve
real.
peace through
You got to forgive people for the
strength.
past.
America needs to stand for freedom.
Okay, here we go.
I think we need to establish some ground rules
When
here,
we
folks.
hear this bell,
Yes.
that means your time's
Answer
done.
the question. Oh.
So, Mr. Vice President, we appreciate your aggressiveness here.
That means
30 seconds is
how
30
much are you
seconds.
bidding?
Mr. Ramaswamy, you were
I'd
mentioned.
like to
You
bid.
get 30 seconds.
So the reality is that today, Ukraine
Wait,
is
why are
not
they
a
mad?
priority for the United States
Why are they mad?
of America. And I think that the same people who
Why were they bailing?
took us into the Iraq War.
It's done.
Freedom.
Okay, here we go.
I think we need to establish some ground rules
When
here,
we
folks.
hear this bell,
Yes.
that means your time's done.
Ask yourself, is
So,
this
Mr. Vice
scripted?
President, we appreciate your aggressiveness
Maybe.
here. 30 seconds is 30 seconds. Mr. Ramaswamy, you were mentioned. You get 30 seconds.
So the reality is that today,
Why are they booing?
Ukraine is not a priority for the United States of America. And I think that the same people who took us into the Iraq War, the same people who took us into the Vietnam War, you cannot end it. You cannot start another no-win war. And I do not want to get to the point where we're
Proxy
sending our
wars.
military resources abroad when we could be better using them here at home
They're
to
just made
protect
to make
our
the
own borders,
military-industrial
protect the
complex more
homeland.
money.
All right, that will
They're
be my
not
top
wars.
priority for
They're
policy.
endless,
Seconds
unwinnable
in
wars
the rebut. So I do want to
that
get
we
to
got
some
no
other people
business
because
being in,
everybody,
but it makes
we
people
respect
rich.
everybody's time here. So, Governor Haley, you did not raise your hand, meaning that you would support more
We don't
funding
give a
for the
hoot
Ukraine
about
war.
Russia and
you
China
have,
getting together.
said of Governor DeSantis that you didn't appreciate it when he initially called it a territorial dispute. Why?
First of all, the American
I don't know.
president
Putin
needs to
sounds
have
pretty
moral
base
clarity.
from what I've
They
read
need to
about
know
it.
the difference between right and wrong. They need to know the difference between good and evil.
Putin be riding
when you
bears.
look at the situation with Russia and Ukraine, here you have a pro-American country that was invaded by a thug. So when you want to talk about what has been given to Ukraine,
Why you gotta be a thug?
less than 3.5% of our defense budget has been given to Ukraine. If you
Russia completes the construction of 3 Christian churches every single day. I think they have the most Christians of any country, or it's definitely the fastest growing. Whereas in America, we're losing Christians. People are we're losing because of immigration, 1, and 2, more people are becoming atheist and trying different other weird religions and making up new stuff, and they're falling away from Christianity. But in Russia, they're gaining numbers of Christians, and they're building 3 Christian churches get finished every single day in Russia. So I don't know. I don't know Putin's heart. He's not my friend. I don't hang out with him, but that seems kind of like a good thing.
You look at the percentages per GDP, 11
I
of the
disagree.
European countries have given
Not
more
sure
than the
what
US.
you're disagreeing-
But
which
what's
part you're
really
disagreeing
important
about.
is go back to when China and Russia held hands, shook hands before the Olympics, and named themselves unlimited partners. A win for Russia is a win for China. We have to know
Yeah.
that. Ukraine
Trying
is
to
the
prevent
first
war, but
line
we're
of
sending them
defense for us.
F-16s,
The
and
problem that
American
Vivek doesn't
soldiers have to
understand
train
is
them on the
he wants to
F-16s.
hand Ukraine to Russia. He wants to
You
let
hear
China
about
eat
that, Lord
Taiwan.
Spike?
He wants to go
We're
and
giving
stop
them
funding
F-16s.
Israel. You don't do that to friends. What you do instead
We
is
already
you
gave
have
them
the backs
tanks,
of your
cluster
friends. Ukraine
bombs.
is the front line of defense.
We're running
Putin
out of
has said,
ammunition.
if Once Russia takes
They're
Ukraine,
running out of
Poland and the
ammunition.
Baltics are next. That's a world war. We're trying to prevent war. Look at what Putin did today. He killed Prigozhin. When I was at the UN, the Russian ambassador suddenly died.
I think
this
it's scripted
guy
and it's just
is
to
a
make us feel like we have
and you
choices.
are choosing a murderer over
Could be.
a pro-American country.
First of all,
Mr. Ramaswamy, you have 30 seconds. Mr. DeSantis,
You know,
Governor
Nikki,
DeSantis,
I wish you
your
well in your future career on the boards of Lockheed and Raytheon.
You know, I'm not on the fact of Lockheed and Raytheon. And you know, you
Raytheon, they making lasers.
You've been pushing this lie all week,
you want
Nikki.
to go and defund Israel? You want to
Okay,
give
let me
Taiwan
address
to
that.
China?
I'm glad you brought that up.
Go and give
I'm going to
Ukraine?
address each of those right now. This is
What is this prattle? What is this woman prattling about?
there you have it.
Your watch,
So
you
the
will make
reality is,
America less safe. You have no foreign policy experience, and it shows.
and you know what? The foreign policy experience that you
Get out of here, fly.
shows in the pointless wars we've gotten into.
Ah.
I have to address that. So our relationship with Israel will never be stronger than by the end of my first term. But it's not a client
Poverty
relationship.
breeds
It
faith.
is a friendship. And you know what friends do?
True.
Friends help each other stand
That's
on their own
deep.
2 feet. So I will lead Abraham Accords 2.0. I will partner with Israel to make sure Iran never is nuclear armed. But you know what I love about Israel? And I've been there probably in the last 10 years more than most people on this stage. You know what I love about them? I love their border policies. I love their tough on crime policies. I love that they have a national identity and an iron dome to protect their homeland.
I mean, he's
And so,
kind of
yes,
right.
I want to learn from the
He's
friends
kinda
that we're
right.
supporting. And what puzzles
you wanna
me
cut the
is,
aid
I want to
off.
learn
And
from
let me
those and
tell
apply
you-
those to protect
Yeah, we
their
do need to
homeland.
cut the aid off, but if we
That is
can't cut the aid off, then they need to reciprocate.
Okay, Governor DeSantis.
We need to be scooping some of that Jew government
territorial
up.
dispute. Not only
No, it's not a
Whether you like the
territorial
Jews or
dispute.
not,
United States,
they got
your
they
first
got it under control
obligation
over there.
is to defend our country and its people. And that means you're sending all this money,
DeSantis
but
is
you're
kinda
not doing what
lackluster
we
tonight.
need to
He's
do
falling
to
off the
secure our
radar.
own border. We have tens of thousands of people
We can
who
do
are
both
being
at the
killed because,
same
well, we're
time.
not handling
And
both.
we can do
And so
both
I am
at
going
the
to
same
declare it a
time.
national emergency. I'm not going to send troops to Ukraine, but I am going to send them to our southern border. When these drug pushers are
That's
bringing
base.
fentanyl across the
That's
border,
base.
that's going to be the last thing they do. We're going to use force, and we're going to leave them stone cold dead.
we're actually
Steve
going
Austin.
to move on to China.
Stone Cold
We're gonna talk
Stunner.
about China.
Okay.
Governor Burgum. China has the biggest navy in the world.
That's the clip of the
biggest
night
army
right
in
there.
the
Which
world.
one?
Now they have warships off the
DeSantis
coast
or
of
Nikki
Alaska.
Haley?
They are
Yelling at
threatening
Vivek.
Taiwan. In
Which
coming
one? Which
years,
one?
China will have 1,500
I should have been
nuclear
writing down
warheads, it's believed.
timestamps, to be
The U.S.
honest.
just arrested 2 sailors accused of spying for China within our military. So the question is, how would you deter China as a president, Burgum?
Well, this is the number one issue we're facing. And of course, we haven't been talking about it. And we act like that letting Russia win in the Ukraine is like a gimme as opposed to a gift to China. Russia has become China's gas station. But how would we do it? The Biden administration is a complete fail. China imports 10 million barrels of oil a day, more than any other country in the world. They do not even have all the food they need to feed everybody in that country. So they don't have energy security or food security. But the Biden administration sends Blinken, Yellen over
Blinken.
there. They're over there talking. They don't even bring up energy because they're too busy trying to kill the U.S. energy here. And what we need to do is not
She's an
meetings,
oppressed
not
woman.
press
She has to
releases,
take her turn.
because
She
something
has
that
to
would send
shatter
a
that
lot
glass
more
ceiling.
than a press
They
release
won't give her a
is
turn
actually
if she
harpoon
doesn't
missiles.
speak up.
We need
Be
anti-ship
strong.
missiles on Taiwan. The way that you have a war never start, which is the goal.
I
the
don't
way
even
you
know who
have
this guy
peace
is.
Through strength is that you actually have strength. You actually have deterrence.
How is this guy
And what
on the
we
stage
have
and Larry
in-
Elder
in
isn't on the
What we've got
stage?
going on in Ukraine is an example of when deterrence fail. What is an example there of Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, the fact that he green-lighted Putin moving into Ukraine, and then now they see weakness, and when they
Get
see
outta
weakness,
here,
they make
fly.
a move. And we have to be strong, and we have to be strong both in Ukraine, and we can solve the southern border. Absolutely, we can do that, because guess what? There's only
Solve the southern
19,855
border.
authorized
It's not a
people for the
Rubik's
Border
Cube.
Patrol, but they're not all
Just
staffed
build a
because
damn wall.
The Biden administration doesn't enforce law enforcement, but Biden administration wanted to put 87,000 people in the IRS as opposed to giving the money in this sport we need to our own Border Patrol.
Okay.
Trump is very intelligent
That same
not to
question.
engage in this debate.
Let's fire the 87,000 IRS agents and hire or double the
Well, he's
number
got to
of
turn
Border
himself
Patrol
in
agents.
dang jail
I just
tomorrow.
left Yuma,
He
Arizona
won't be
about 2 weeks ago.
locked up in
the
a cell
most
at all.
pressing need
He'll
of
be
the
in and
American
out in
people
a
from a
back
national
door.
security standpoint is our southern border. It has
VIP
led to the death
entrance.
of 70,000 Americans because of fentanyl. Plus 6 million illegal crossings since President Biden has taken office, and 200 people on our national security watch list have been caught at our border. How many have not been caught at our southern border? If we just spend $10 billion, we could finish
Scott,
the
what
wall.
about
For $5 billion more,
$80 billion
we could
in
have
military
the military-grade
might to Afghanistan.
technology to
Boo you,
surveil
Rhino.
our southern border
Who is Scott?
to
Tim
stop
Scott?
the
You mean-
flow
oh, yeah,
of
Tim Scott.
fentanyl and save 70,000 Americans a year. That should be the priority of this government. And as the next president of the United States, I will make that border wall complete.
There are many more questions on
the
China.
wall
going up.
I want to say I couldn't agree more. It's not just the
Yeah,
70,000
who's building the wall
We've
up there?
lost 200,000 people to overdoses since Biden took office. That's 300 people a day. We're taking mass casualties, and that's a statistic. But these are sons and daughters, nieces
got
and
Democrat
nephews that we're
cities
losing.
legalizing drugs.
We've got
What do you
North Dakota
expect?
troops down there flying night helicopter missions from San Diego to the Gulf Coast, trying to stop these transnational criminal organizations. They've got better funding on their side than
Transnational?
we've got on our side.
Speaking of which, Governor Hutchinson, speaking
Is
of
that a
which,
new
images from earlier
sexual
this month,
identity?
Governor Hutchinson,
with Mexico,
Vice President Pence,
policy.
images from earlier
He's
this
got
month.
no chance at winning.
Vice President Pence, it really
Yeah,
doesn't help.
I agree.
I'm asking a question. Earlier this
Really, nobody on this stage has any chance at winning.
images showed suspected
This is
cartel
just to
members
see who we're going to
crossing
look
into
at in
Texas with rifles.
2028
Do you
and a
consider
potential BP.
this an invasion?
That's
Would you
all this is
authorize lethal force along that border?
There would be lethal force used by the Border Patrol, law enforcement as needed to protect the border. Absolutely. When you look at the
Shut up,
military,
Asa.
the
God, get
military
this
has
guy
to be
out.
used for intelligence gathering
Get this guy
purposes.
outta
This
here.
is not unusual. Whenever I was in the Bush administration, we went down there and met with President Vicente Fox of Mexico and asked his help in going after the cartels. And he looked at me and said, they're a problem to us as well. And so we joined together and we took down the Ariana Felix brothers leading the Tijuana cartel. And that made a difference. Ramon was shot and killed and Ben Amin was captured. Cooperation makes a difference. We cannot be successful going against the cartel unless we bring in Mexico as a partner. We have to use economic pressure to accomplish that. President Obrador has not been helpful, and we have to use economic pressure that this administration is not using. The rule of law has to
early
matter on
auditions
both
for
sides of
after
it.
Trump
This is
2024?
critical.
Yeah, pretty
I've
much.
done it. We know what needs to be done. The military has to be limited in its use. When after 9/11, we had the global war on terror, and guess what? We protected the border at the same time.
That was a waste of
you
time
can do both.
and a waste of
let's go to Governor
lives,
DeSantis.
American lives, a global war on terror.
As president,
A
would you
war on
support
terror?
sending
That's like saying a
US
war on
Special
fear.
Forces
We have a
over
war
the
on
border
fear. The war
into
on
Mexico
drugs.
to take out
It's a
fentanyl
bunch of-
labs, to take out drug cartel operations. Would you support that kind of American military use?
Yes, and I will do it on day one. Here's the thing. The cartels are killing tens of thousands
Calm
of
down,
our fellow
Ron.
citizens. You want to talk about a country in decline? You have the cartels controlling a lot of part of your southern border. We have to reestablish the rule of law, and we have to defend our people. The President of the United States has got to use all available powers as Commander-in-Chief to protect our country and to protect the people. So when they're coming across, yes, we're going to use lethal force. Yes, we reserve the right to operate. How many more tens of thousands are we going to let to die? I am sick. I've met angel moms throughout this country. I met a lady
I can't believe in the
Texas
beginning of
named
this
Tracy,
debate, I thought
and her son
Chris Christie said something
took
based.
one Percocet that was laced with fentanyl, immediately died. That is happening all across this country because of the poison that they are bringing in. So as president, would I use force? Would I treat them as foreign terrorist
The world
organizations?
governments allow
You're
the
darn
cartels
right
to
I
launder our
would.
tax dollars.
You know, Vice President Pence.
Yeah.
Vice President Pence, Why would you be better at this issue than Governor DeSantis? Governor DeSantis on the campaign trail refers to your administration as not finishing the wall.
Right. Look, we secured the southern border of the United States of America and reduced illegal immigration and asylum abuse by 90%. When Joe Biden took over, he threw open the southern border of the United States. The wave of humanity, the wave of fentanyl that's been eloquently described here is a wave of human tragedy across this country. But
I don't like how in this
thing
they're almost using Pence as a proxy for Trump. They're attacking Trump's campaign.
And I have to tell you, with all humility, I was there when we negotiated through the government shutdown and got the funding available to build
Pence questions
the wall.
Like, under your
I was negotiating on Capitol Hill around the clock. I negotiated the Remain in Mexico policy
can't answer
on
for
behalf
Trump
of the
to this
President of the United
question.
States. And AC, you're so
Trump
right.
would say, "Oh, the wall was going up.
Pressure
the wall was going
Mexicans
up
to the table, and they allowed us to have people wait in Mexico while they applied for asylum. It ended asylum abuse overnight. We got the Mexicans to deploy their National Guard to their southern border and to our southern border as never before. And I want to promise you, as President of the United States of America, I will engage Mexico the exact same way, and we will partner with the Mexican military, and we will hunt down and destroy the cartels that are claiming lives in the United States of America.
Okay, thank you. Another issue
How much
that is
that
related
stuff?
to this
is there like a
is
$5
that almost
tube of it?
7 million migrants have crossed this border, our southern border, during the Biden administration. So, Governor Christie, what would you do about the 7 million who are here? How would you handle them? What would you do?
Lasers.
Martha, the first thing we need to do is
kidding.
to stop any more from coming.
Deport them.
That's the first thing we need to do. Then the next thing we need to do with the folks that are
can
here
have a path
is
to,
again, as we've talked about all night tonight,
a path to citizenship.
We have to have law and order in this country. We have to enforce the law. And what that means is to make sure that people who come here illegally are not rewarded for being here illegally. We have so many wonderful people from around the world who are waiting in line, following the law to try to come here and pursue the American dream.
But like anchor babies and stuff, we can have a path to citizenship.
And waiting because we haven't dealt with the problem of the folks who are
here.
We have to have them detained.
We can't.
We have to make sure that they are not
because we would
rewarded
lose Nick
for having broken the law. And one last thing on this fentanyl issue. With China, we can't take our eye off of that ball.
Finally,
yes,
somebody mentioned China
to secure the border. Very important, as I just said.
Like, Mexicans
but
ain't
China
smart enough to
is
make
sending these chemicals to these drug cartels for them to create the fentanyl that is killing hundreds of thousands of our citizens. The Chinese are engaging in an act of war against us, killing our citizens.
With all the children that they're taking
in our conversations with China and to try to straighten that relationship out. Because if we don't, we're going to lose more and more of our citizens.
Illegals they're sneaking across.
Would you send those people
guns and other drugs that they're moving around?
You'd have to.
We have a lot of issues that Americans care about. Next up, we're going to talk about the crisis in education as millions of American children are not
Steel Stick. I was like, that's deodorant. Steel Stick works good, and it's really strong for about $6.50 a tube. Sounds good. Sounds like what I need.
Do you trust our government and where the economy is heading? Does the thought of losing your hard-earned retirement savings to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you?
No, I've never
Rumble has to be a place that welcomes everybody, where you feel free to be who you are, where you respect another person's freedom in exchange for your own freedom for being respected. I believe that ultimately and fundamentally, we can do this together without top-down authority, that we can regulate democratically our own community. You can be you, I can be me, without judgment. Beyond acceptance, love and enthusiasm for the billions of ways that it's possible to be a human being.
Together. Together. In it. Together in it. What is this big old plane? Is that a laser plane? Did you see that laser plane? Oh, this is a Black Rifle Coffee. Nope. We don't support you. We don't support you. Unless you pay me. Curses in an hour. Cures in an hour. Cures in an hour. Shout outs, Dashy. Get a pot, these bottles of water in it. Is it over? No, it's 30 minutes left. Russell Brand, a toaster. Russell Brand, a tosser. What is that? Like a salad tosser?
Does the thought of losing your hard-earned retirement savings to DC's reckless spending scare the heck out of you?
Light?
Smart Americans are taking
Not
action
me, I
by texting the word
Oh,
now
the guy
to
in the,
989898 for a free info kit on gold from Birch Gold Group. For 20 years, Birch Gold has helped concerned Americans protect their future by moving part of an existing IRA or 401k into a physical gold IRA. Text now to 989898 now
held
for a
up
free
in
info kit.
litigation. Never forget it. Yeah. It's not going to be any different. He's going to have to spend 4 years doing the same thing he did with his first 4 years, fixing Obama's mess. He's going to have to do the same thing with Biden's mess. And they're going to be, I guarantee you, he gets back in, they're trying to impeach him every month. Every month, there's going to be another.
The nation's report card was the weakest ever for
We have a
American
report
school
card?
children, exposing chronic absenteeism, deep declines for
down
reading
of
and math for 15-year-olds and 13-year-olds. Governor
That's 'cause
DeSantis, you would eliminate, you said, the Department
The
of
education that we value
but
in
as
America
president,
is
would you
garbage
still have a
education.
responsibility
Liberal
to
arts and
fix
crap like
this
that.
crisis as we see
We
it?
don't put value
Absolutely.
on
The
real
decline in
education.
education is one of the major reasons why our country is in decline. We need education in this country, not indoctrination in this country. And in Florida, we stood up for what was right. First, we had schools open during COVID, and a lot of the problems that we've seen are because these lockdown states lock their kids out of school for a year, year and a half. That was wrong. We stood up. I took a lot of fire for that.
I bet you if they shut down all
pilloried
the
by the media,
schools
but I stood for
permanently
our
and
kids.
people had
And as
to
president, I'll stand for
homeschool,
you and your kids as well.
I bet you
But we have to make sure
we would be back
that
on
what
track
our
with the
schools
Flynn
are
effect.
doing is
IQ would
focusing
start
on
going back
solid
up.
academics. In Florida, we eliminated critical race theory from our K through 12
IQs
schools.
are going down because school
We
is garbage.
eliminated gender ideology from our K through 12 schools. And we have elevated the importance of American civics and teaching our kids about the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. As president, I'm going to lead an effort to increase civic understanding and knowledge of our Constitution. We cannot be graduating students that don't have any foundation in what it means to be an American.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
No.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
That would be way lower.
Mr. Ramaswamy, hold on,
I know.
Senator Scott.
You're supposed to throw
You
out
said
the
that
outliers.
The Department of
So
Education,
hopefully
the
they
FBI,
threw out
the
LeBron's
ATF, the
school when
Nuclear
they were
Regulatory
figuring out the
Commission, the
national
IRS,
average.
the
Because if
Department
they
of
included
Commerce,
his school,
many of these should not exist.
our average is
That's
a
correct.
mess.
So, to the education question, how would you
But they're
deal with the
supposed to
crisis?
throw out the farthest
So look,
outliers.
we have a crisis of achievement. Let's shut down the head of the
When
snake, the
doing
Department of
averages.
Education. Take that $80 billion, put it in the hands of parents across this country. This is the civil rights issue of our time. Allow any parent to choose where they send their kids to school. End the teachers' unions at the local
choice.
level to allow
We're still
public
talking
schools
about school
to
choice.
compete. And then revive our national identity where every high school
feel like
senior
school-
should have to pass the same civics test that, frankly, every immigrant, including my mother, had to pass in order to become a
heard him
citizen
say this
of this
before.
country. And the fact of the matter is, look, there's a part of education policy that also rests
I don't
with
know
the
if you
family.
need to pass a civics
I didn't
class
grow
to
up
be
in
able to
money.
graduate, but you
But
need
you know
to
the
be
word
able. You
privilege
need to
gets
pass
used
a
a lot.
civics class to be
Well,
able
you know
to
what? I
vote.
did have the ultimate privilege.
And that's
of
just
two
one
parents
of
in
the
the house
stipulations.
with a focus on educational achievement.
Extra
And I want every
stipulations
kid
that
to
we should
enjoy
have.
that. So part of the problem is we also have a federal government that pays single women
needs
more
to stay in
not to have
Florida,
a man
and
in the
then after
house
Trump step
than
up
to
to
have
the
a
White
man in the
House. Maybe
house,
that would work.
contributing
That's
to
what
an
I've been saying
epidemic
from
of
the beginning.
fatherlessness.
I
And
was
I think
I
that
was
goes
very
hand in
pro
glove with the
DeSantis.
education
I like
crisis as well,
DeSantis
because we have to remember
until he decided to
education
run
starts
against
with
Trump
the family,
because
and the nuclear family
it's like
is the
you're
greatest form of
dividing the
governance
party,
known to mankind.
and now these gays for groomers or whatever that he's bringing in, and all the
Governor
all the DeSantis shills on the internet are all like weird groups and neocon groups, and they attack
You said
Trump
that even though you
supporters,
signed
and
a
they're driving a
ban
wedge
on
in the
this
party.
in North Dakota, that there hadn't
could've
been
just
one
been patient,
instance
waited
where
his
it was
turn.
actually needed.
He should have had
Are
Trump's
you saying
back.
that you think that too much is
He
made
could
of
have
this
been
issue?
VP. He could have had Trump's back.
No, I'm saying in North Dakota we made a priority of protecting
become
women's
VP,
sports, and we've done
then
that
become
in our state.
president.
But I would absolutely do that. But I do think when we start talking
may
about
still get the
education
VP
and we
spot.
think that we're going to have a federal government one size fits all, we're just completely losing track of the fact that education.
It's not uncommon for the two candidates who seem like the biggest rivals to actually end up being president and VP. Remember, Kamala during the primaries was talking trash about Biden, and I can't remember what exactly was said, but they, it's not uncommon for the president to pick a VP who actually seemed like their enemy during the primaries. So DeSantis could still get that VP slot, but I don't like the people he's recruiting to do his campaign work to attack Trump. Also, the first AI election meddling that we saw, and we were talking about this before for the past 2 years. I've been talking about it. I've been saying the crazier AI gets, the more messed up the elections are going to get. If you thought 2020 was a mess, you thought the Democrats thought 2016 was a mess, 2024 is going to be worse. By 2028, with the AI and the social media and the short form content, the shortened attention span, the lower IQs, by 2028, the elections are going to be totally fraudulent. It's going to be totally fake. And all the marketing and all the advertisement is going to be done through AI. Well, I was talking about this way before DeSantis or anybody said who was going to be the primary candidates. And what was the first example we saw of AI used to put out false information to affect an election? It was DeSantis attacking Trump. I don't know if you guys saw it. I don't think I ever showed it on any of the streams, but he put out a campaign ad that had 6 pictures, and they were all Trump in not so good looking situations. Now, 3 of them were real, and they were kind of mild. It was like, it'd be like Trump standing by Fauci, but then there'd be another picture of Trump hugging Fauci. That was AI. One of the pictures was real, then the other one was fake. And then there'd be like, just Trump doing like shaking hands with, or I don't know. I have to find them actually right now while we're watching this. But DeSantis used AI.
Some school districts are doing a fantastic job, some less so. But the idea that every school district, state, and every teacher is somehow indoctrinating people is just false. When I was building a company from scratch, with small town kids, and we went, grew up in a town of 300, we built a global company in 132 countries with over 100,000 customers. We listened to those customers. We spent time with them. We talked to them. We did that. And as governor, well, education is one of the biggest part of a state budget. So as a governor, I shadow a student. The night before I find out the student finds out, I'm going to go to every class with them. I don't sit and lecture school districts how to do it. I go and see the experience. And there's a lot of things that have to change. But what needs to change in education is it's innovation. We're doing it the same way we did it 50 years ago with innovation, not regulation.
Hey, bud, that's what conservatism is. We're conserving Christian traditional American values. Innovation in the education system is not what we need. We need to actually revert and go back to the schoolhouses with, the mom who's got B-Wise stubborn one can build a schoolhouse in the backyard, and B-Wise can teach all the neighborhood kids because she's got experience with it, because she got like 28 kids running around that she homeschooled. Build you a little schoolhouse and then get all the neighborhood kids while we fix the system, because for the time being, the women have to be on the workforce because cost of living requires 2 incomes because of the way our system is set up. But, the moms get together and take care of the children. One of the moms, the smartest mom, highest IQ mom, gets to be the teacher of all the neighborhood kids. And they can do it in her living room. Let's revert. Let's not make progress and innovation in the education system. Let's demolish the education system with the lasers, not the kids, just the school buildings. And then let's revert back to like back in the old days. And let's stop teaching things that we don't know to be true unless we're going to teach all the possible options. So instead of just teaching evolution, you teach creation and evolution. That's fine. There, we can be a compromise there. You could teach, hey, this is what, scientists who don't believe in God think. And then this is what people who believe in God think. And then you can compare them and weigh them. And you can say, oh, well, scientists say Big Bang, God, Big Bang. God kind of is the Big Bang. And then you can make it make sense for the kids. And then they don't have to juxtapose science and God. And then they'll start to see that God made science and that God is science. Knowledge, knowing. That's what science means. It comes from the Latin to know or knowing. And you do that with God. Science is cool in God's eyes, but not this fake pseudoscience and this stuff that they have no way of knowing. Evolution, Big Bang, you can't observe it, you can't test it, you can't experiment with it, you can't predict it. Anyway, that's what Stubborn One and I have been saying. Based. See, they know what's good. Let's play this and look at these pictures of that DeSantis put out. These AI.
I would get
Don't tell me what to do, Freddie.
I would give block grants to schools.
I'm gonna pause it just because Freddie said, play the debate, bro. Bro, play the debate. I do what I want. No one ever saw the movie Noah with Russell Crowe. Did Russell Crowe play Noah in that movie? If so, then I saw it. If so, facto, I saw it.
But I'd give them on merit based on who's doing the most innovative. I just got done holding the 7th annual Governor's Conference on Innovation Education. You should see what the people are doing when you cut loose the red tape, get the burden off their back. They care. Teachers in this country, the vast majority of them care about those kids. They're working in low-paying jobs, and they're fighting for those kids and their families.
This is the real picture?
You said that this is the women's issue of our time.
First, I'll tell you, as a parent, the one thing you want is for your child to have a better life than you did. And we can talk about all of these things, and there's a lot of crazy woke things happening in schools, but we've got to get these kids reading. If a child can't read by 3rd grade, they're 4 times less likely to graduate high school. So we need to make sure we bring in reading remediation all over this country. We need transparency in the classroom because parents should never have to wonder what's being said or taught to their children in the classroom. Parents need to be deciding which schools their kids go to because they know best. And let's put vocational classes back into the high schools. Let's teach our kids to build things again. When we do that and we allow that innovation,
but you can do that at home.
Legos
and Lincoln Logs
and I will always say I'm going to fight for girls all day long because strong girls become strong women become strong leaders, and biological boys don't belong in the locker rooms of any of our girls.
Another point on education.
We're going to start the lightning round, and the first question is going to go to you, Vice President. So this is a lightning round of questions, 30-second answers, please. President Biden will be 82 years old on Inauguration Day. Nearly 70% of Americans say that he is too old to serve. Should presidents have to pass a mental and physical test in order to serve, Vice President Pence?
Well, it might be a good idea to have everybody in Washington, D.C. pass a mental and... But 30 seconds, no. The American people can make those judgments. But let me say, I'm running for president of the United States because we don't need a president who's too old. And we don't need a president who's too young. We need a president who's been there. We need a president who knows how Congress works, how the White House works, how states worked. And on this education issue, Martha,
did he look at Vivek when he said not
against
too
No
young?
Child Left Behind when Republicans were doubling the Department of Education. I'll also shut down the Federal Department of Education. And when I was governor, we doubled the size of the largest school choice program in America, and we'll give school choice to every family in America.
So
Nikki Haley won the gold medal and broke the world record in decathlon in the 1976 Montreal Olympic Games.
And you just said you want a civics test or public service for those under 25 to be
Freddie
able to
fed
vote.
up with this discussion.
So the question is, do you want a mental acuity test for presidents over 75?
I believe in the people of this country to tell the difference between somebody who's an automaton and somebody who's actually a thinking agent in the White House, which we don't have in there today.
This image is real. This image is real.
I think we do need somebody of a different generation to lead this nation forward.
And this one.
Look at the way I've run this campaign.
You can't see what I'm clicking on.
Going to the south side of Chicago, to Kensington, in the middle of Philadelphia, where traditional Republican candidates don't go. We have an opportunity to build a multi-ethnic, working-class majority to deliver a landslide. And I think I'm the only candidate in this race, young or old, black or white, to bring all of those voters along to deliver a Reagan 1980 revolution. We're going to do it in 2024.
Same question to you,
never voted in a presidential election until 2020.
I will answer that. I will answer that.
Bottom left corner is real. Top middle is real.
Listen,
top
getting
right
control of the
is
debate.
real.
This is a lightning round, not rolling thunder.
Top left.
Governor Hutchinson.
Bottom
30
middle.
seconds on the same question.
On education,
And,
first of all, look at Arkansas.
right,
we
where
have
they're
to compete
hugging
with
are all
China.
AI.
I built
They're all
computer
fake.
science education. We led the nation
DeSantis
in
put
computer
this out
science
as a
education,
Trump
going from 1,100
attack.
students to 23,000 students taking it. This is how you compete with China. As President of the United States, I will make sure we go from 51% of our schools offering computer science to every school in rural areas and urban areas offering computer science for the benefit of our kids, and we can compete with China in terms of technology.
Thank you, sir. This is going to go to this is coming to you. We're trying to do a quick round of different topics here. So, Senator Scott, faith is on decline in this country. You talked about it a little bit before tonight.
Faith is on decline.
So, is there a role for a president of the United States in changing that? What would you do?
Not
to
in
change
Russia, though.
Well, our nation was founded upon the Judeo-Christian values that has made this the greatest nation on God's green earth. I'm a big believer in Ephesians 3:20 that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or imagine. Our responsibility should be to model the behavior we want others to follow. On education, the only way we change education in this nation is to break the backs of the teachers' unions. They are standing in the doorhouse of our kids, locking them into failing schools and locking them out of the greatest future they could have.
As President, Governor DeSantis, would you support some mandatory military service?
That's Nikki Haley?
I think it should be voluntary. I'm somebody that volunteered to serve, inspired by September 11th, and I deployed to Iraq alongside U.S.
Nikki
Navy
Haley.
SEALs in places like Fallujah, Ramadi. And it's something that I think has taught me, you know, when you go in that type of environment, anything you have, your personal agenda, you check it at the door. You go there, and it's about focusing on the mission above all else. And guys come together, and they get it done. And that's how I would view being the President of the United States. It's not about me. It's not about all these other side issues. My sole
none of these people
focus
could beat him.
will be on your future and reversing this country's decline.
Okay.
See, Daddy Jub is in Florida,
so
out
of this world,
he likes
and this is for
DeSantis.
you,
I like DeSantis,
Governor
too.
Christie. Do you believe that the recent spike
I just
in
don't
UFO
like some of the
encounters
things he's been doing lately.
I get the UFO question?
Yeah, you do.
Come on,
there
man.
You go.
The UFO question, the fake aliens are coming.
We've been hearing a lot of testimony in Congress, and people are taking this a lot more seriously. And we're hearing that, you know, there are things going on that people aren't aware of. So,
nobody cares about the fake aliens.
Governor Christie, would you level with the American people
He's in
about what the
Chicago,
government knows
Chi-town.
about these possible encounters?
Martha, and especially coming from a woman from New Jersey, I think it's
He hasn't
horrible
aged
that
well.
just because I'm from New Jersey, you asked me about unidentified flying objects and Martians. We're different, but we're not that different. Look.
Is Trump doing his
of
Tucker
course,
thing right
the
now?
job of the
It's
President
not
of the United
live.
States
It's pre-recorded.
is
It's
to
already
level
up.
with the
The whole
American people
video
about everything.
is already uploaded.
The job of the President of the
gonna
United
watch it
States
after
is
this
to
is over.
stand for truth. The
So
job of the
in
President of the United
5
States
minutes.
is to be a role model for our children and our grandchildren. And so whether it was UFOs or this problem of education, and Tim's right, by the way, and I started this in 2010 by going right after the teachers' unions in New Jersey and drove them down to an all-time low popularity rating because they were putting themselves before our kids. That is the biggest threat to our country, not UFOs.
Okay.
Well,
Coming up,
because
we've
without
got
it,
closing
it
arguments
wouldn't look like
plus
America
right
is
after the
pissing
debate.
on Cuba.
Hannity is live from the spin room right here in the Fiserv forum with reaction from all the candidates as soon as they step off the stage. We'll be back after this.
Reaction from all the candidates as soon as they step off the stage.
Do you trust our government?
Joe Biden claims that the border is under control. About how many migrants have crossed the border illegally during his term? Didn't they just say that in the thing? I thought they said 6. Definitely 200,000. I mean, technically, if you answer B, you get it right, even if the answer is C or D. So I'm going to say B, although it could be 7. I thought they said 6 million. I thought they said 6 million. So I want to say D, but I'm going to say B just because even if C or D are correct, then B is still correct. If D is correct, then C is correct and B is correct. A is definitely wrong. See, these are tricks. These are how you...
Rumble has to be a place that welcomes everybody.
D. We got the
feel
D.
Free
Pause.
to be.
We got the D. Pause. It was D, but also C and B were also correct with the way that question was worded. It said how many illegal immigrants have crossed the border? B, 200,000. C, 1 million. D, 7 million. The answer is D, but then C and B are also correct. See? See?
Who you are, where you respect another person's freedom in
by moving part of an existing
percent. In his pitch to get to the Oval Office, President Reagan called America the shining city on a hill, a beacon of hope and optimism.
So in your closing statement tonight, please tell
Closing
American
statement.
voters why you are the person who can inspire this nation to a better day.
Only
These
Trump.
Are 45
Shout out
seconds,
Allison
and
Brown.
We begin with Governor
Knows what's
Burgum.
good. We got it on the flag.
I understand why America's hurting.
Rump
Biden's
is my
inflation
president.
choking us.
No, there's a T
I grew
in
up
there.
in a small town. My dad died when I was a freshman in high school. My mom, widow of 3, went back to work.
Trump, Jesus
Every
is
job
my
I had
savior.
growing up
Trump is my president.
was one where I took a shower at the end of the day, not at the beginning of
We
the day.
don't want to hear about your showers, bro.
Our cities are less safe because of the fentanyl pouring into this country. Our economy is being crushed
That's not
by
the only
Biden's
reason
energy
our cities are
policies,
less
which
safe.
are raising the cost
What about all
of
the
every
crime?
product you buy,
They didn't
not
say
just
anything
the
about
gasoline
crime
at the
rate.
pump. One thing that I'll do as president, I'll secure the
touched on
border.
it a little
I'll
bit.
get this economy sprinting, not crawling like it is right now.
Just the king of swimming
and I would
bodies
say
of
that
water.
other
He
thing
should
is for
swim.
sure, when I'm on a horseback in the Badlands of North
Trying to get
Dakota,
munched by a shark.
it looks like the horizon is just limitless. And when you
Yeah, Daddy Jub knows. We used to go, was that Anna Maria? We used to go to Anna Maria Island, and there's this big old bay, and it goes, and it's like, and you can see the other land. And so me and my friend Chris swam across this channel with all these boats and jet skis going by, and it was like a half-mile swim there, and then we had to swim back, and it was like a half-mile back. And like after going like all the way to the other side and half the way back, so we've gone like swam like 3/4 of a mile. We were both getting tired, and so just checking it out, we put our feet down. Come to find out, there's like a sandbar in the majority of the middle, and you could just stand up and walk across this thing. But we swam. I was like, well, that's not fair. We got to swim it. And so we stood up for a second, and then we went back down and kept swimming. But yeah, we should not have been swimming across that. We almost got hit by multiple boats and jet skis. I was more worried about a motorboater than a shark. You got to watch out for them motorboaters.
You can almost see beyond that horizon. You can see that this great country, our future is unlimited. But
I've
we've
been
got to
known to
focus on
motorboat
innovation, not
myself.
regulation. We've got to cut the
Not
red tape. We got to drive
motorboat
ourselves forward. The way
myself,
we win the
but
Cold War with China
never mind.
is by growing our economy and through innovation. And as president, I will bring out the best of America. I will improve every American.
As president, you ain't going to do a damn thing because you're not going to be president.
American life.
Well, we hope you're back on your horse soon, Governor.
She likes him. She has a crush on that
Governor
guy.
Hutchinson?
Our nation is in trouble, and it's in trouble
Oh,
because
God,
of failed
guy.
leadership.
This
And
guy.
the solution is not 4 more years of Joseph Biden. The solution
No,
is
duh.
not 4 more years of Donald Trump.
Shut up.
The solution is new leadership that can bring bold ideas to America and to bring out the best of America. A president's #1 responsibility is to bring out the best of our people. That's what Ronald Reagan did.
Get this guy
And
out
he
of
did it
the
with
air.
optimism and hope for our country, with a consistent conservatism. That's exactly what I bring. As president, I'll bring out the best of America in terms of individual responsibility, building our economy, in terms of securing our border, enforcing
What's
the
your
rule
record?
of law.
What have you done?
I'll bring out the best of America in terms of our national character, our faith, and our hope for the future. Join in this fight. ASA2024.com.
Thank you. Senator Scott.
It's funny, when I type A in my Google search bar, the first thing that pops up is
I was a
Agartha.
disillusioned young man growing up in a single-parent household, mired in poverty.
Of all the A
I wondered
words,
if the American
that's
dream
my
was
top
real
searched
for a
A
kid
word.
like me. I can stand before you today and say the dream is alive, it is well, and it is healthy. I have the good fortune of a mom who works 16-hour days, making sure we have food on our tables. She taught me that if you're able-bodied in America, you work. If you take out a loan, you pay it back. If you commit a violent crime, you go to jail. And if God made you a man, you play sports against men.
If God made you a man, you play sports.
I'm Tim Scott. I'm asking you for your vote, and if you're in Iowa, I'm asking you to caucus
I don't
for me.
think that's
you can
like
go to
the most
votetimscott.com
important.
for more information.
They're
or
using
to
the
make a
old
contribution.
transgender sports thing
Governor
to
Christie.
rile up the conservative base, but it's
Thank you,
really
Brett.
not
Thank you, Martha. Look, everybody
even
on this
on
stage
the
wants
top
to be the
10
next president
most
of the United
important
States.
policy things that we
And
need
the
to
only
be
way
worrying
that's going to
about right
happen
now.
is if we beat Joe Biden.
I know it's annoying.
I'm
it's
the
gross,
only one on this stage
weird,
who's ever
but,
beaten the Democratic incumbent in an
you
election.
know, there's a lot of
I did it
things
in a
that are
deep
much
blue
more
state,
important than
being
trans
outspent
stuff.
3-1. Beating a Democratic incumbent is not easy.
It
The
might
last
even be a little bit
Democratic incumbent
entertaining
president
if we had
who
like
was
a trans
defeated was
league
Jimmy
or
Carter. And he was
it might be
defeated
exciting.
by a conservative governor from a blue state.
I mean, look at Bruce.
Who knew how to get results, who stood for the truth, who cared about accountability,
What?
and
Solution
stood
is your
strong and
mama.
hard against waste.
Like
Those
that
are the
black
very things
dudes-
that I did in my 8 years as
I
governor
like
of New
that black
Jersey.
dude's
And it's
answer
exactly
can't
what
lie.
I'll do as president of the United States. Believe
Oh, you
me,
like his answer,
the
can't lie.
Democrats want some other
Chris is a
nominee who's
rhino.
never beaten
I know,
the
get this
Democratic
guy out of
incumbent.
here, too. These
I'm
are
the
the
one
worst.
who can win this
Asa and-
race, and if you give me the chance, I will restore our country by winning it.
Asa, Chris, and Mike are the worst. Get them out of here.
Several weeks ago,
The
I dropped
Doug
my
is
husband,
forgettable.
Michael, a combat
Nikki's
veteran from
forgettable.
Afghanistan, off at 4
Tim
a.m.
is
for another year-long deployment.
He's all right.
I watched him and 230
Really, it's just
soldiers
Vivek and
pick up their
DeSantis.
2 duffel bags of belongings to go to a country they had never been.
And none of them are
all
even close
in
to
the name
Trump.
of protecting America. If they are willing to protect us from there, we should be willing to fight for America here. I will beat Joe Biden, and he knows that. I will strengthen our economy, and we'll bring this inflation down. We will put transparency in the classroom. We will secure our borders. We will have the backs of our law enforcement, and we will make sure we have a strong national security. And once again, we will make sure we have an America that is strong and proud. We have a country to save.
Jeez,
Join
this guy's
us. Go
older
to
than mud.
NikkiHaley.com, and let's get it done.
Does Vivek rule? I'm down with Brown. Vivek says everything we want to hear. But we don't know if we can trust him yet. But he says everything we want to hear.
It's an honor to be here.
And he'll say the things we want to hear
Joe
that
Biden
none of the
has,
other
weakened
politicians
America
up there have the
home and
balls to
abroad.
say. But is it on
Disastrous
op?
withdrawal
Is
from
it on act?
Afghanistan. The
I don't
war
know
on
yet.
energy. Runaway spending that launched the worst inflation in 40
War.
years.
We
a
got the
crisis at our
warmonger
southern
here. The
border,
war
an assault
eagle.
on our values and liberties.
We got Mike the
And the
warmonger.
American people have had enough.
Shut
But I
up,
know we
Mike.
can bring it back. But different times call for different leadership. The Republican Party owes the American people a choice. Proven leadership at the national level that knows how to
Didn't
move a
prove
conservative
nothing.
agenda forward. We proved in the Trump-Pence years you can turn this country around faster than you can imagine.
Trump did
And
that.
I have
And
faith
you,
we
and
will
you
again.
turn your back on
Because
him.
I have faith in the American people.
Don't be riding off Trump's
Good,
coattails
decent,
now. You wouldn't
hard-working,
stand by him.
faith-filled, idealistic
Get out of here
people
with
this
that
country,
crap,
and I
Mike.
have faith that God is not done with America yet. And if we will renew our faith in one another and renew our faith in Him who has ever guided this nation since we arrived on these wilderness shores, I know the best days for the
Wilderness
greatest
shores?
nation on earth are yet
Boo,
to come.
Pence. I concur. Why are all these losers fighting over who gets to be passed over for Trump?
Generation where we were taught
Yeah.
to celebrate our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways we are really just the same as Americans, bound by a common set of ideals that set this nation into motion in 1776. And this is our moment to revive those common ideals. God is real. There are two genders. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border. Parents determine the education of their children. The nuclear family is the greatest form of governance known to man. Capitalism lifts us up from poverty. There are three branches of government, not four. And the U.S. Constitution, it is the strongest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what will win us the revolution of 2024. Thanks for letting me introduce
team up with the Brown.
Thank you.
That's actually quite a likely possibility. Here comes DeSantis.
Governor?
This is our time for choosing. We will send Joe Biden back to his basement, and we will reverse the decline of this country. I'm a blue-collar kid. I work minimum wage jobs to be able to make ends meet. I understand the importance of the American dream, and I know how that's slipped away from so many millions of Americans. We'll restore it. I'm a veteran who served in Iraq. I know what it means to put service above self. I'm also a dad and a husband, 6'5" and 3-year-old. I understand the importance of protecting parents' rights and the well-being of our children. In Florida,
by his side.
We showed it could be
I'm worried
done.
he's going to go
I
with
made
Nikki
promises,
Haley
and
to
I
have a woman
delivered
by
on
his
all
side.
of those
He's
promises.
more of a
2024 is make or break. We're not getting a mulligan. No excuses.
Minority
I will
panderer.
get the job done, and as your president, I will not let you down. God bless you all.
No, Vivek is conservative chat GPT.
Thank you. Thank you to
And
all
Chris
the
Christie
candidates
called
on
in
the
that,
stage
which was
tonight.
pretty
And
funny,
thank you to
I will
Milwaukee.
admit.
Thank you, everybody. We will see you on the campaign trail from debates to primaries to the general election and the conventions before that.
Vivek or DeSantis would make great VPs for Trump. Yeah, both would be good.
Take it away, Sean.
Take it away,
I hope he's not leaning towards Nikki Haley.
Well, thank you both, by the way. Great job, Martha and...
Not Nikki. Not Nikki. Good babes too. He did say, they asked him who was he considering for VP after the Blaze Summit, and the only name he dropped, he said, there's a lot of good looking candidates out there. I see a lot of energy, a lot of not so good looking candidates. Not so sure about some of them. Sorry to say it, but they're not doing too well. But I see a lot of talent, especially Vivek. Vivek's doing a lot of good things. I see Vivek. The only name he dropped was Vivek. So, if that's any indicator of anything. All right, let's watch this. Let's move on to the star of the show.
And, you know, some of them are at 1 and 0. And
it's debate night, but we're not in Milwaukee.
But we're not in Milwaukee.
Mr. President, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Why are you at the Fox News debate tonight?
This is what we're really here for.
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you shouldn't do them, but you see the polls have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points.
Kind of killing
And, you know, some of them are at 1 and 0 and 2, and I'm saying, do I sit there for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president? Should I be doing that? And a network that isn't particularly friendly to me, frankly. You know,
I'm not in the Discord.
They were backing Ron DeSanctimonious like crazy, and now they've given up on him. I mean, it's a lost cause. It reminded me very much of 2016. You know, in 2016, I went through the same stuff and had to fight them all the way, and then they became very friendly after I won, or just about when I was winning. But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it.
I can't.
If you're leading by 50, 60, I have one problem leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it?
Just talk over Trump.
And I'm going to have 8 people, 10 people, whoever made the debate. I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass, as you probably noticed.
Well, I did. I'm grateful that you did. It's interesting, though, because you spent a lot of your career in television.
Yeah.
You had a top show in television on NBC. But you don't feel the need now running for president to do television.
This is
obviously.
great.
Do you think television
This is great. This is Tucker giving a big FU to Fox and Trump giving a big FU to the establishment political system, which I was not on board with it at first, but when I saw this power move that he released this 5 minutes before the debate began, this is currently sitting at 83.3 million views. Actually, let me refresh because that might be 83.3 million views in the past 2 hours. Oh, when I refreshed it.
Mr. President, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Be doing that, and a network that isn't particularly friendly to me, frankly. You know, they were backing Ron DeSanctimonious like crazy, and now they've given up on him. I mean, it's a lost cause. It reminded me very much of 2016. You know, in 2016, I went through the same stuff.
He's not whining about anything.
And had to fight them all the way, and then they became very friendly after I won, or just about when I was winning. But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it. If you're leading by 50, 60, I have one problem leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it? And I'm going to have 8 people, 10 people, whoever made the debate, I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass, as you probably noticed.
I did. I'm grateful that you did. It's interesting, though, because you spent a lot of your career in television.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him body all those people on the debate stage, in the arena.
You don't feel the need now running for president.
But the incumbent doesn't debate.
Do you think television
And he might as well be the incumbent.
Well, according to a poll that I guess we just saw, it just came out where it's down like 30, 35%, but I think they were referring to cable. I think cable's down because it's lost credibility. MSNBC, or as they say, MSDNC, is so bad. It's so wrong what they write and what they do and what they say. It's, you know, it's fake news, as I said. I think I came up with that term. I hope I did, because it's a good one. It's not tough enough anymore. It's corrupt news. You know, really what you do is call it corrupt news, but somehow that doesn't play as nicely. But it is corrupt news. So you have MSNBC and you have CNN, who's absolutely doing no ratings at all. I mean, they're dead. But they're doing none because they don't have credibility. They really don't have credibility. Fox is way down, as you know. And the good old days
number one guy because he was
long
too influential.
I will
and they
say
didn't want
this,
him up there
it
during
could
the
come
election
back,
cycle.
but they just
Before
don't
his
have a lot of
contract was
credibility.
over, they
Tucker,
fired
you know
Tucker.
that perhaps better than anybody. I think it was a terrible move getting rid of you. You were number one on television, and all of a sudden we're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate or competition.
Oh, definitely.
When you say there are people on stage who shouldn't be running for president, who do you mean?
The debate
I don't
probably
want to
hasn't even hit a
really use
million
names, but it wouldn't matter too much. A guy like, I call him Ada Hutchinson.
Ada?
It's Asa, but I call him Ada.
Ada.
Why do you call him Ada?
You know, I could tell you, but I don't want to get myself in a little trouble.
Because he
But
ate
he's
an
weak and
asshole one
pathetic,
time.
And he was, I never understood the guy, never knew him. He was the governor of Arkansas. Not a very popular guy.
Because one time I
don't
caught
know
him.
how at that state is such a
he
great
had just
state.
ate
The
an
people are so
asshole.
incredible in that state, and they love me and I love them. How does
He
this
just
guy
tossed
get
a
elected
salad.
governor of Arkansas? But he's nasty always and has been. A guy like Chris Christie, the guy left with a 8%, think of it, 8% approval rating in New Jersey. Now he's running for president. And he runs solely on the basis, let's get Trump. He's like a savage
Is that Chris Christie
maniac.
he's talking
He's
about?
like a lunatic.
Or
And that's all
Ada.
he talks about. His poll numbers are very, very low. He's about 2%.
Doo-doo breath
like?
Ada.
You know him well.
No, I've been friendly with him over the years, but I couldn't give him
be
a
honest,
job because I just never trusted him very
One time
much.
he ate an asshole.
I was just never one of his people that really trusted him. I never gave him the job, and that's one of the reasons he feels so hurt and so betrayed. And I understand that. I really do. I understand it, but I never gave him. You know, he wanted to be different things. He was looking at different elements of the administration, and we decided. I decided I didn't want to do it.
The zingers,
And now
the
I'm glad I
content,
did, because you see, but you know,
just
we had
destroying everybody on
some
the
great
debate
people. I had
stage.
great people. We'll have
I
even
love it.
better people if we do this, because now I know Washington. Before I didn't know Washington, but guys like Bill Barr were terrible. I mean, they were, I would say, Bushies. I say that with respect
Live
to the
debate
Bush
versus
family,
video,
but they
do
were
the math
Bushies.
rates. You don't have any idea what you're talking
It doesn't work out for us.
It was clear. This is kind of far afield, but it was just interesting. I read Barr's account of his time. He wrote a book about it.
Right.
His autobiography. And in it, he lies about Jeffrey Epstein's death. Clearly lies. Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely?
I don't know. I will say that, he was a fixture in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I don't know what Barr said about it either. I have no idea what he said. What did he say? He killed himself, probably?
He said he killed himself and that they were going to do this investigation. They never did the investigation. It's never been public.
Well,
and they hid it. And why are they doing that? And clearly Barr knew. But why would Bill Barr be covering up the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either, okay? He said he did, and he pretended he did, but he didn't. McSwain, the U.S. attorney in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, said Barr just wouldn't let him do it. It was crazy. Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. They were going to impeach him. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
It's not a big moment in history.
Oh, it does right there.
But they said, we're going to impeach. They play a much rougher game, the left, the lunatics. And they were going to impeach Bill Barr, and he was petrified. Now, how do you not get impeached? Don't do any of this stuff. But he didn't do the job there. I don't know what he did with Epstein.
I want to watch Trump
possibly.
or
do you think
some
it's
other
possible
guys.
that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean, I don't really believe. I think he probably committed suicide. He had a
Freddie's
life
just a
with,
contrarian. Freddie loves
homes
Trump,
and
but
beautiful
he can't
everything, and he
would lose his character.
Incarcerated and not doing very well. I would say
his character
that
would be destroyed. There would be no more Freddie.
There are those people. There are many.
Would be
people.
no more
I think you're one of
Frederica.
them, right? But a lot of people think that he was killed.
But deep down,
he's
going to vote for
He
Trump.
was killed.
You think so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all. I believe everything I hear. But yeah, the closer you look into it, I mean,
you can't really be a vet.
Your attorney general
Trump.
clearly
Military
lied
loves
about
Trump.
the Epstein death.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Why?
He was certainly. It wasn't well done. They had no cameras. They had no anything. Everybody was sleeping, and a case could be made. Look, I'm not going to get involved in it, but I can tell you a case could be made either way. But it certainly wasn't the most well-run place.
So the reason I'm asking you is I'm looking at the trajectory since 2015 when you got into politics, for real, and then won. It started with protests against you, massive protests, organized protests by the left, and then it moved to impeachment twice,
right?
And now indictment. I mean, the next stage is violence. Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you? Honestly.
That's what I said. That's what a lot of people say.
Savage animals.
Savage animals. That's kind of redundant.
Sick, really sick. You have great people in the Democrat Party. You have great people that are Democrats. Most of the people in our country
savage,
are
vicious,
fantastic,
ferocious
representing
animals.
Everybody. I'm not just Republicans or conservatives. I represent everybody. I'm the president of everybody. But I've seen what they do. I've seen the lengths that they go to when they make up the Russia. When that's exposed, they go down. And Barr should have gone after them, and other people should have gone after. And they did very late, because the Durham report came out. It was fairly good.
Yeah,
it could have been a lot tougher, I guess, but it was.
He donated his salary to veterans many times. His presidential salary.
I'll tell you who did a great job was the Inspector General Horowitz. He did a phenomenal report. You didn't have to go to Durham. He did it on Comey and on, I guess, McCabe and some others, and it was a vicious, it was basically a true report, how bad they are. But these people are sick people. These are people that...
Yeah, when you say something dumb, if you're a member,
they hate our country.
Whenever somebody says something dumb in chat, you can drop these.
When you see open borders, when you see these policies that they have, and so many other things, it's so sad to see.
And then you can drop these
a country
and say,
that's
you're
very
fired.
fragile right now. I've never
Biden,
seen... I will say,
you're
look,
fired.
I ran in 16, which was 15, but I ran in 16, election in 16, and there was tremendous spirit. In 20, there was even more spirit. We got millions and millions more votes. It wasn't even a contest. People said, well, what do you think of 20? I said, we did much better. We did. You got to base it on the number of votes. We got many more votes in 20 than we did in 16. But the election was rigged. It was a rigged election. And with COVID, they used COVID to cheat.
You're allowed to say that on
different
YouTube
things,
now.
and we
Trump
have
is
so
back
much
on
it.
YouTube,
It's
baby.
So easy. But we
How
had
long
judges
before
that
we're
didn't
going to be
wanna
allowed
look. We
to
had
say
people didn't
other
want to get involved.
things?
They called you. He's a
2 more years.
conspiracy theorist if you
We'll
say
be allowed
anything
to
about
talk
the
about
election.
some of the conspiracy
But
theories.
I have never seen spirit like there is
Joe,
right
gotta
now.
go. You're
Even
fired.
coming down here, just the people
fired, Joe.
on the road that are just absolutely going crazy. And the reason is Yeah, I think they like me, and I know they love my policies. I hope they like me too. You know, a lot of people say they don't like me, but they like my policies. I think they like me. But I have never seen spirit like
I like
it is
Trump
right now. And the reason
just
is
as a character, as a
because
guy,
Crooked Joe
more
Biden
than I
is
like
so
a lot
bad.
of his
He's
policies.
the worst president in the history of our country. I don't think he's going to make it to the gate, but you know, you never know. But he's a corrupt person, so corrupt that I took the name off Hillary. You know, I don't do two people at one time. I took the crooked Hillary and I retired the name. That was a good day for her. I bet she was very happy.
Not polygamist.
And I used it for Joe because it's Crooked Joe. But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 24?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or...
Yo, I think the Utah assassin thing that I talked about was op to make people think that the Trump supporters are, because you know, whenever there's like a school shooting or something, if it's not a black person and they don't hide it completely when there's a mass shooting, they're always going to blame white supremacy, and they're always going to blame the evil MAGA Republicans. The right-wing terrorists is the number 1 issue in this country today. Biden has said that, and I think the Utah assassin guy, I think that was like a op to push that message into people's minds. Like, look, they're coming after Biden. Look, these crazy MAGA Republican terrorists are gonna assassinate Biden. When in reality, the true person who's in all the scopes right now is this guy right here. This guy. It's this guy right here. He's the one that is in the scopes constantly.
Any kind of an athlete, you look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter. He walks, he can't lift his feet out of the grass. You know, it's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on
the Easter Bunny to tell him where to go.
So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. You know, those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces. You lift them up. He can't lift the chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. You know, this beach is seeming to play a big role, but
you can't
they
even
love
pick up a
pictures of
beach
him on the
chair.
beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach. He looks terrible on the beach.
Skinny legs.
Well, he can't walk through the sand. You know, sand is not that easy to walk through, but when he walks through it, he can't walk through the sand. And there's somebody in there that thinks he looks fabulous at the beach. I think he looks horrible at the beach.
It up.
Plus, the beach doesn't represent what a president's supposed to be doing. He's supposed to be working. He's supposed to be getting us out of that horrible, horrible war that we're very much involved in with Russia and Ukraine. You could do that. You could do that very easily. I believe you could do that very. I don't believe he could do it because he's just incompetent. But that's a war that should end immediately, not because of one side or the other, because hundreds of thousands of people are being killed. Can you imagine you're in an apartment house and rockets are going into that building and blowing it up and knocking it down? And who can, why should anybody, human beings, these are human, whether they're Russian or Ukrainian or whatever they are, it's got to be stopped. And it can be stopped very easily. It would have never started. If I were president, it would have never started.
So back to Biden, I'm interested. So you think he's failing? He obviously is failing. I think it's
I need a
clear
Trump
to everybody.
2024 flag.
But that would make Kamala Harris the candidate?
Well, not really. I mean, I guess they'd have maybe a free-for-all. A lot of people say she has to remain for certain reasons the candidate. She has to. I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think that other people would stand for it. She has some bad moments. Her moments are almost as bad as his. I think his are worse, actually.
Yeah.
But
she seems pretty senile, too.
She speaks in rhyme. You know, it's weird. It's weird. But she has bad moments. And
in rhyme? What do you...
Well, the way she talks, the bus will go here and then the bus will go there because that's what buses do. And it's weird. The whole thing is weird. This is not a president of the United States future. And I think they probably have some kind of a primary and other people will get involved.
Newsom, right? I
mean, could be. I mean, you know, I always got along well with him, believe it or not. But could be him. Could be somebody else. You gotta watch out for
Big Mike.
He's got a big load on his shoulders because you look at California, what's happening. But I don't know if the American
Newsom
people
got a big old load on his
shoulder. I don't even know if they care. You know, you look at so many of the things that are going on, and people don't seem to be. In the old days, if you had a bad record, it meant a lot. Today, if you have a bad record, it doesn't really mean anything. You know, he looks good. He's a nice-looking guy, speaks well. But Biden, every time you watch him talking, it's like He's walking on eggs. You're waiting for him to collapse. And he almost always does.
He's never met a set of stairs.
And I got to
that he
know
got
the
along
leaders
with.
of all of the countries, essentially, but the big ones. And the bigger, the tougher the leader. You know, it's like sort of, I guess maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. But I got to know President Xi of China and Putin and Kim Jong-un, North Korea. Did a great job with North Korea, kept us out of a nuclear war. We would have 40,000 dead soldiers right now. They'd drop a nuke right on top of the military base. But we have 40,000 soldiers over there. And I did great. I got along with him great. So good. That's a positive. You know, the press. He said nice things about Kim Jong-un.
Newsom and Trudeau about to get married.
Horrible enough that he wanted to talk. And we talked, and we met in Singapore. We met actually twice. And we had unbelievable meetings. I know him very well. We were in great shape with him.
They look related.
What do you think
Newsom
he
and Trudeau?
Xi and Putin think of Biden?
I think they can't believe it. I think they probably say this is some kind of a system. You know, they had great respect for our country. They respected me. They had great respect for our country when I was there. Every one of them. Look, if you go to North Korea, you take a look at what happened. You know, the Olympics was dead. South Korea spent billions on the Olympics. Nobody was going to go. They didn't want to get blown up. They called me and they said, we are going to let the Olympics proceed. This is North Korea. I said, you should go into the Olympics. Put your athletes in. It wasn't like, you know, they were big on athletes because, you know.
Famine.
But they went in and they actually participated. And within about 2 days, the entire thing was sold out. And if it wasn't me, that would have never happened. But I got along very well with him, and that's a positive thing. He does have massive nuclear power, by the way. And if Hillary would have gotten in, or if the Obama thought process continued, it would have been a nuclear war, absolutely.
More
with
than
North
one,
Korea.
I'm sure.
He was expecting to go into a war, and it would have been a nuclear war.
So do you think the rest of the world looks on at Biden and thinks someone else has got to be running the government?
Well, somebody else has to be. I don't think he's capable of doing anything. Look, when I debated him, I said, how come, and this was in front of, probably not a friend of yours, Chris Wallace. He was the moderator.
Not a friend.
I said, why is it? He wants to be Mike, but he doesn't have the talent.
Biggie,
one of those
bitchy little man.
He wanted to be his father, but he didn't have the talent of his father. Was great. His father,
little fussy man.
His father interviewed me in 60 Minutes. It was actually a 10. Can you believe it?
No, I totally. His father had talent, at least.
I may have been the only guy that he gave a good 60 Minutes to. He was rough.
Really?
His father was tough. He was great, though. He was great at what he did. But Chris Wallace was so upset. He was guarding this guy who wouldn't do a show, by the way. You know, he wouldn't do. I figured. I didn't mind Chris Wallace because Biden wouldn't do a show. And it was very obvious. You know, he kept asking him and asking, but he wouldn't do the show. So I figured he's got to like me. But he came from a different planet. But remember when I asked the question, why is it that the mayor of Moscow's wife is allowed to give you $3.5 million? Don't forget, that was brought up. Now it's brought up all the time. But that was brought up by me long before anyone ever heard of it. I said, the mayor of Moscow's wife giving you $3.5 million. What did you do to deserve $3.5 million? To Biden. And Chris Wallace said, this has nothing to do with the debate. I mean, he
got in the way of the question.
No, it was crazy. And I said, well, wait a minute. He got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife. Now, people forget that, but if you go back and take a look, you will see. And Chris Wallace didn't want me to ask that question. I said, I think it's a very appropriate question. It turned out to be much more appropriate than people thought.
Amazing.
Amazing.
So do you have a preference in, assuming you're the Republican nominee and all goes as you plan it to go, do you have a preference in who you run against?
In many ways, I'd love to run against him because his record's so bad. You know, it's still horrible when you look at inflation.
Yeah, we need a
rematch.
We need a rematch.
Others also have very bad records. I mean, California's a bad record, so, you know, should
we need
it
a
be
rematch.
Gavin or
We
should
need
it be
Biden
somebody
versus
else?
Trump too.
When I look at San Francisco, what's happened to
second bout.
Incredible city. That was one of the greatest cities in the world just a short while ago, and now it's very sad when you look at it. Los Angeles, every city practically, all the Democrat-run cities. You know, Republican-run cities are doing very nicely because they arrest people when you have crimes, and they don't go after political candidates because they think it's good. You know, I mean, it's like been amazing. My poll numbers are the highest I've ever had. But because people understand it.
Can I just ask you, that gets back to my original question. So if
They always
the protest
cry about
didn't work. You got elected
denial
anyway.
and
Impeachment didn't
election
work
meddling, but
twice,
they're doing it.
obviously. Indictment is not working. Your poll numbers go up. When they raided Mar-a-Lago in August of last year, your numbers went up. They can indict you 20 times, and you're not gonna lose the Republican primary because of that.
Well,
So,
it makes it look even more ridiculous. I mean, the 4 indictments, and maybe there'll be more. I don't know. These people are crazy.
But they're counterproductive. So if you chart it out, it's an escalation. Is what I'm saying. Yeah. So what's next after try to put you in prison for the rest of your life? That's not working. So don't they have to kill you now?
His whole back is painted.
I think the people of our country don't get enough credit for how smart they are. And I'm not sure I would have said this 10 years ago, but they get it. They really get it. When somebody gets indicted, your poll numbers go down. When somebody gets indicted, you announce, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be leaving to spend time with my family and to fight for the rest of my life on this stuff. But you're out of politics. I got indicted 4 times. All trivia, nonsense, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's horrible when you look and you look at what they're doing. The boxes hoax, I'm covered by the Presidential Records Act. I'm allowed to do exactly that. He's not covered, and he's got 25 times the number of boxes, and he's got them stored in Chinatown. He's got them stored in a flimsy garage underneath his Corvette at Penn. And by the way, at Penn, he gets millions of dollars. China pays this guy millions of dollars. See, I think he's the most corrupt president we've ever had.
Why does Tucker
and he also
keep
has the
mentioning
distinction of being the most
killing him?
incompetent. And I believe both. I mean, he's both incompetent and corrupt.
So
and
who
I
is running the
actually
government?
believe he's compromised.
Maybe to make it
Because China knows so much about him. They know where the money comes from. They know where it is, who paid it.
maybe to
and
discourage
they
them from
probably
trying
paid
it. If they put it
well,
out
they
there
do pay
like,
Penn.
look, we know
And he
y'all
gets
want to kill this man.
$1 million. I think it takes $999,000
about it, it won't
because
happen.
it
I
keeps
don't
it a
know.
little bit under $1 million, like by $1. But
Trying to scare him.
he,
That
in
doesn't
many
even
ways,
make
is a
sense,
Manchurian candidate.
Why would
we have a
Tucker wanna scare
Manchurian
Trump?
candidate?
You can't scare Trump.
And he's
That's
afraid to
dumb.
tell Russia to get out of Cuba. He's afraid to tell China to get out of Cuba. He's afraid. China now is building, think of this, China is building military installations in Cuba.
Ain't nobody
The
scared.
Cuban population of Miami is not too
about.
happy because they're never going to be able to go back. And you don't even hear about it. And the worst culprit is the press, the media, because normally, when I first heard that China's building
100.
installations in Cuba, and installations means military installations, okay, they said just some communication. They did that on the islands with Japan. They took the island, they started this massive construction, and they told everybody, including the Japanese have to be very careful. They told everybody that this is a housing development. They're going to build a housing development. And I said, how come the runway is 20,000 feet long? Private jets need 4,000 feet. They don't need 20,000 feet. The big ones need 20,000 feet. They don't even need 20. And I looked at the runway. I said, that's the largest runway ever built, both in width and length, for housing development. There's nobody that has a plane that big that you would have a runway that's
Why
that's
is
for
China
testing.
allowed to conduct imperialism in our hemisphere?
Well, yeah, and it's far beyond Cuba. It's all over South America.
Yeah, in the Caribbean.
So we built a thing called the Panama Canal. We lost 35,000 people to the mosquito, malaria.
Yeah.
We lost 35,000 people building. We
Mosquito.
lost 35,000 people because of the mosquito. Vicious. They had to build
so we
under
can
nets.
help
It was
out Central America.
One of the true great
no
wonders
credit.
of the world, as he said, one of the 9 wonders of the world. No, it was
We've
one
run
of the
the
7.
trade routes to
happened
supply
a
the
while
GDP
ago.
to all these South
9
American
wonders of the world. You
countries
could
and
make
Central
9
American
wonders.
countries.
You would have been better
No
off if we
thanks
stuck with the
for it.
9 and just said, yeah, I think
They
it's
hate
nice.
us.
But this is one of the true 7 wonders of the world. And you take a look at the Panama Canal. It was such an incredible engineering marvel.
Remember when that boat got
We
stuck
sold
in
it under Jimmy Carter. We sold it to Panama.
Wasn't that
for
like
$1.
Hillary's company?
The following day, they quadrupled the amount of money that ships had to pay to get across. They didn't lose one ship. And now they've made it
the
much
whole
bigger,
world's
and now they've
commerce.
widened it. They've doubled it, right? They've more than doubled it. And it's one
still
of the
gonna
most
talk
profitable
trash.
things. Any time it's just incredible, right? We gave it away for $1. China now controls it. They actually control the Panama Canal. They run it, they control it. And we shouldn't let that happen. And we can't let China be in Cuba. And they'll get out. If I'm president, they'll get out. Because I had a very good relationship with President Xi, but he respected this country. He respected me. And he'll get out. And we can't let them run the Panama Canal. We built the Panama Canal. Should have never been given to Panama. We should have had it. But we gave it for $1. Think of it. They quadrupled. In one day, they lifted the fees, which are, you know, pretty big for these massive.
I just wanted to fact check that because I know that like liberals will fact check everything he says. And I didn't know about China controlling the Panama Canal. Fact check says China does not operate the canal. It only manages the 2 ports on either end, meaning it does not interact or influence all goods transit. No, it just controls the 2 ports on the 2 ends, but it doesn't operate the canal. Wow. So fact check, true, but they're going to fact check it as false, and then you're going to have to read 12 pages of information before you find out in the last paragraph that it's actually pretty much true.
Massive ships to go through, right? Rather than going around the Cape and all the tremendous storms,
the Evergreen?
such beauty, such, you know, when you, it's beautiful stuff.
Wasn't there
you
something
didn't want
with,
to get caught in those storms. Those were storms that wiped out the biggest ships. And we
there was something with Hillary and her stocks, and
we
I
gave it
can't
away
remember.
for $1. Think of
but
that.
there
How
was a
stupid are
conspiracy
we?
involving
We have done the
Hillary
stupidest
with
things in
that.
this country.
China is
And
asshole.
now we have a president.
Don't
that
trust
can't
China.
put two
China is
sentences
asshole.
together, can't speak, can't walk, can't talk.
A canal is only good for its 2 ends.
But these people do miracles. I mean, he ran out of his basement, and you got away with that one because of COVID, so he sort of got away with it. They cheated on the election. But you have people that are very smart, but they're fascists and they're radical left lunatics, and they're destroying our country with the all-electric cars and the windmills all over the place, which, by the way, don't work, and they're all, most of them made in China. For the most part, they're made in China. Germany a little bit, but China.
Blades.
But you look at what's happening to our country, even no voter ID. I mean, why don't they want voter ID? There's only one reason they don't want voter ID, because they want to cheat. I mean, who doesn't want, you know, the Democrat convention, the last one, they had voter ID that was this big. It looked like a prison card, this big on their chest. You walked in, they had your picture, your this, your fingerprint. They had everything. The most incredible voter ID I've ever seen. That was to get into the Democrat National Convention. But to get in to vote, if you buy groceries, if you buy practically anything now, you have ID on a card, credit cards or otherwise.
But don't you think it's racist to have to show your ID?
Well, they probably say that. They use anything not to show ID because voter ID is pretty simple. And we could go back, and we should go back to all paper ballots, voter ID, same-day voting.
Hillary's code name is the First Lady was Evergreen.
Mail-in
Some were
ballots,
saying
and
there were children in the containers on
Anytime you have mail-in ballots, you're going to have massive cheating on your elections. Anytime, but not just the presidential election. Anytime you have.
Isn't that the whole point of them?
Yeah.
So you can cheat?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's their whole point. That's their whole point. They want to cheat. Yeah. They have to cheat because their policies are so bad that if they didn't cheat, they couldn't get elected. Who wants open borders? Who wants high taxes? Who wants high interest rates? Who wants to not be able to use a gas stove?
Yeah, but then they also promise stuff
or
that people
have
do
to drive
want,
an
like
electric car, which, you know, you have a 4-hour drive,
free
but the car only goes an hour
free
and a half.
medical,
You have
free
to charge it.
college.
The happiest moment for somebody in an electric car is the first 10 minutes.
And so when they
In other
promise
words, you get
free
it charged,
stuff,
and now for 10 minutes.
it's
The
just another
unhappiest
form of
part
cheating.
is the next hour,
Misleading.
because you're petrified that you're not going to be fined to another charger. People, I'm saying, if people, I'm not knocking electric cars, they're fine. They're fine. But if people want to
if you
buy
want one,
a
get one.
gasoline car or a hybrid, hybrids are pretty good, actually. But they should be allowed to buy. They don't want to do any of this. So right now, California's in a big brownout
California is going to ban
because their grid is a disaster.
California is banning all diesel trucks by 2028 or 2036 or 20. I can't remember the exact date, but there's an end date, and this is already a thing. By this date, they don't want to have any diesel trucks, any diesel vehicles on the road, which means semis. So then they got to have electric semis, which take even bigger battery banks, which need even more rare earth that we have to ship from China. They have to mine it in China. They have to ship it across the seas on giant tankers that put so much carbon emissions into the air. They don't care about that, but they care about their electric car to save the environment. And then you got to charge your car with an electrical outlet that goes to a coal plant nearby. It's so stupid. People have no, they don't follow logic trails. You see this and it says, oh, Electric cars will save the environment. We'll follow the logic trail. How does the battery work? How long does the battery last? How do you dispose of the battery? Where does the battery come from? How much energy does it take to produce that battery and get that battery over to us in relation to how much the battery is going to benefit us and how long it's going to last before you got to get a different electric car? And they want to get rid of all the semis. Do you know what that's going to do to the trucking industry to have all electric semis for California? For truckers to not, what are they not going to let them pass into the state lines? Do you know what that's going to do to the supply chain that we've already seen huge problems with under Biden? The inflation rate, the cost of food will go up even higher. Like, your gas price will go down because you'll be in a 15-minute city, gulag, and you could just walk to your neighbor's house, but nobody's going to have any food. Nobody's going to be able to afford it, especially with the cost of housing already in California. Everybody's going to be homeless, and then they're going to light it up with a damn laser and an earthquake machine. It's crazy.
The grid all over the country is sort of a disaster, but the grid in California. And yet, they want to have in a very short period of time millions and millions of cars going off that grid, essentially.
I'm on CPT. Lady
doesn't
Season's
work.
on color people
car
time.
into a grid that's failing.
You should be able to buy an electric
Maybe
car.
not have
You know,
to mine
electric
in
cars could be
China.
fine if you drive short distances and you want.
Maybe not have to mine in China. I think we're sitting on some lithium in the U.S. Do the electric cars use lithium batteries? What's the rare earth? They say you need the rare earth for the batteries, but you're probably right that we have it here, but they don't want to dig it for it here because they want to get the benefits of doing this business deal with China, and these people are getting kickbacks for doing this. It's just like the pipeline. It's like the pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline. As soon as they shut that down, gas prices skyrocketed. They said, but we can't blame Biden for the gas price increasing. Yes, we can. He shut down all of our own oil. We are energy independent under Trump because we were drilling for our own oil. We were fracking. And then the environmentalists want to say, don't frack. You can't frack. You're hurting the water. Don't shut down all the pipelines because the Native Americans want to get drunk and we can't be digging through their fields. And like, let's give them a casino though. And then our gas prices go up. People say, hey, but Biden. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Don't be stupid.
Want to have, whatever, and you have plug-ins everywhere you go. They could be fine.
The maze is a brilliant idea.
Cars, you got to have everything. Let people
Hopefully
buy
San
everything.
Andreas Fault comes in clutch.
Now there's the new thing is your heating systems in the house. They don't want you to have
or
a
your
modern
stove
day heating system. They want you to use a heating system that will cost you at least $10,000 to buy and won't work very well.
Right.
None of
planned
this stuff
obsolescence,
works as well.
like what Nick was talking about. I've talked about it before too. Planned obsolescence. Everything is made crappier now. Me and my boss were talking about this today because we were getting light bulbs for the apartments, and he was like, these LED lights, they like go dead so much quicker and blah blah. And I was like, yeah, the show I watched, he was talking about a light bulb from like 1901 that's been burning continuously for more than 100 years and hasn't gone out. And they had that back then, but yet they give us these products that are meant to break and meant to go through quick. And he told me, he said, my mom has a washer and dryer from like the 1800s, and it still works great to this day. Now, I wonder if he was talking about like I was like, oh, she got a washboard and a clothesline? I got a washer and dryer that's worked forever too. It's called my hands and a sink and a thing of water, a bucket of water, my hands, some soap, and a clothesline. Yeah, but no, he's talking about an actual washer and dryer that is older than all get out, and it still runs just fine. Yet these new whirlpools that are expensive than a mug are broken in like a year. All the freaking all the public common area dryers in this complex are crap, and they're fairly new compared to like, some of these old ad things at your grandma's house that she been had forever, and it still works fine. Old Sears, old Maytag, them old Maytags. They don't make them like they used to. Nothing. They don't make nothing like they used to. And they design it so you can't work on it yourself because they know you got YouTube. You got YouTube. You can figure out how to fix this on your own. You don't have to go to a mechanic or a specialist. So what they do is they design it so you need special tools, because they don't want people to just be able to take a little screwdriver and open up their cell phone and change out their hard drive or upgrade it or do modifications on. You can do all this stuff, but you need special tools, and you need you got to be like a dang have micro telescope vision to see all these little things you got to get in there to do, because they're doing it with machines. And your car, you got to take it to your Tesla, you got to take it to the Tesla dealership, or you got to be a rocket scientist like Elon to figure out how to fix a Tesla. It's a mess. Fix it, Trump. Get in there.
One of the things I did with EPA is you have states, many states, most of the states have so much water. It comes out of heaven, right? The water pours down and you have it. It's there. It's got to go wherever it goes, into the oceans, whatever.
Josh sitting like a dang engine.
Now in some states they have a problem. You have some desert areas.
And Chola people
that it's okay. But they
rare
have
earth minerals,
sinks
cobalt.
Where
but the bulb isn't efficient as an actual source of light. It's as dim as a lighter.
No water comes out of the shower.
My Kenmore washer and dryer
is allowed to go into the
from
washing
the
machine
80s,
for your
maybe
dishes
older.
or for your clothing. Or
our new washer is acting up right now. It's only a year old. Yep.
Wait, they have sinks where no water comes out?
Sure, you have
my Magic Chef oven is from the 60s.
You want to wash your hands, right?
Yeah.
And you
my water
you
here that
you
just
turn
went
on
out
the
is from
sink and it's
1980
very little. Or you want to wash your beautiful hair, right? And
you want to wash
you stand
your
under
hair.
the shower. Then the suds never go. If the water comes out very slowly. I'm sure you've seen this. It usually takes place in new hotels and new homes.
Yeah, you take a drill and take the
They have
limiter out.
well, you can, but now they make it so you can't do that so easily. They have a restrictor. It's called a restrictor, and it restricts the water from coming out. So I ended all of that, and you have to see these. They let the water.
It's
come
water.
out. You know what people do? They wash their hands like 5 times longer, or in the washing machine.
Water's going to disappear. We're going to run out of water.
Dishwasher.
You know how much water
They'll
there
press
is on
it.
Earth?
Then they'll press it about 7 or 8
It's
times.
everywhere.
Yeah. They'll end up using more water, and it still won't be very good. I met with the head of Whirlpool. They were practically going out of business during my administration, and they said to me, from Ohio, incredible, great state, I love Ohio, and they were really doing badly because people were dumping washing machines all over, mostly from South Korea, but also from China. And he was explaining it's just a terrible situation. I said, let me ask you, how's the quality? He says, we're better, but they are good enough quality. But, of course he's going to say that. But, they are better. He said, but they don't allow us. They're dumping these machines.
We were just talking about this morning, me and my boss.
They're killing us. And
at Home Depot.
On top of it, the government won't let us use water in our machines. I mean, he shows me like a quarter of a bottle of water. That's supposed to be washing clothing. And I freed it all up, and I put tariffs on these countries that were selling and the machines coming into the country. And that company went from all the washing machine companies, they make washing machines, they make dryers, they make all of the different machines that do this kind of work, including dishwashers. And they went from a disaster area to being just thriving.
But can I ask,
they love me in that part of Ohio.
Well, I bet they do, but why should EPA, no one at EPA was elected by anybody, why do they have the power to decide how much water your washing machine uses? Shouldn't Congress in a democracy get to vote on that?
Yeah, you could say that. They do things that are not very...
So how do you, that's my question, how do you, if you get elected again, go back to Washington, how do you keep the agencies under control? How do you keep FBI and CIA specifically under control?
The way you do it, like I fired Comey, that was a big deal. A lot of people said, and I fired him very early. Somebody said, oh, I wish you would have fired him. There was a real question about firing him. Anyway, you understand, because, when they have a 10-year term, there is a question.
You're fired.
I fired Comey. That was a great thing. If I didn't fire Comey, maybe I wouldn't be talking to you, or I'd be talking to you about real estate or something else other than politics, right? That was a coup, in my opinion. That was a very sick deal. That was the insurance policy. You remember the insurance policy? Oh, she's going to win, darling. She's going to win. But just in case she doesn't, we have an insurance policy. An insurance policy was what they were doing. And we caught them with that. That was a very important tweet or whatever it was, text. It was a big deal. That was a big deal. The insurance policy. She's going to win 100 million to 1. Now, that's not good odds. At least they gave me 1, right? 100 million to 1. But just in case she doesn't win, we have an insurance policy. And everybody said, that's strange. That's strange. But we caught all that because I fired Comey. Because when I fired Comey, it was like throwing a rock into a hornet's nest, into a nest of bees, and the place went crazy.
So when you were president, are you confident that you knew everything, say, CIA was doing around the world?
No, I'm not. I'm not. It's a very interesting group of people. I had very good relationships, I thought, but I was a little surprised
whatever this is you just
when
sent
I
me,
got
Freddie,
out
is garbage.
that, things go on. Look, it's...
What were you surprised by?
I was surprised. I think at some of the people. I was surprised that there was...
That's degenerate.
I had a group of people. Look, we killed many using the CIA. I have to say this.
I mean, it's unanimal.
Very bad actors. We were very good at it. You look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, bigger than Osama bin Laden. I mean, Osama bin Laden, but al-Baghdadi
weather alert for
did
Utah.
ISIS, and he was rebuilding ISIS very strongly.
And that was the CIA that did that.
That was really us that did that.
Yeah. Flood advisory.
That was really us that did that. And Soleimani was us that did that, not so much CIA. But we did some very good work with the CIA. When I started, when I looked at the 51 intelligence agents saying that was the laptop from hell was Russia disinformation, when I took a look at that, I said, that's a horrible thing. They knew it wasn't. They knew it was not. And by the way, you're talking about cheating on the election. McLaughlin and Fabrizio, great pollsters, they said a thing like that plus other things meant anywhere from 10 to 17% of the vote would change.
Whatever happened to Mike Pence? You've always been nice to Pence. I've never heard you criticize Pence. You've defended him in public many, many times. He's out there attacking you. What is that?
So Mike wants to run for president. You got to understand, in my opinion, Mike Pence had the absolute right to send the votes back to the legislatures. The Democrats and everybody said, you don't have the right. In other words, what I said, is he a human conveyor belt? You mean if he finds fraud in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in any of these states, Arizona, he has to send them to Mitch McConnell, right? That's right, sir. Well, if he finds fraud, he has to? Yes, sir. I said, so he's a conveyor belt. Boom, put him in. I said, I don't agree with that. And we had some lawyers, not all, we had some lawyers that said, no, you do have the right to send them back to the legislatures to be rechecked. Because if you looked at what went on in Wisconsin, who, by the way, now agree with me, Wisconsin has been virtually, other than the fact they're not allowed to do anything statutorily, but Wisconsin has been, I mean, what they found is incredible. I mean, we won Wisconsin. But Mike Pence had the right, in my opinion, to send him back.
Do you ever talk to him now?
No, I haven't spoken to him in a long time. I was very disappointed in him. I didn't want to do what Thomas Jefferson did. Thomas Jefferson, it was Georgia, and it was hear ye, hear ye, the great state of Georgia is not capable or allowed to tabulate their votes. And Thomas Jefferson, who was the vice president, said, is Georgia sure that they cannot tabulate their votes? Georgia is sure. He didn't send them back and have them redo it. He said, we will keep the votes of the great state of Georgia for Thomas Jefferson and his president. I didn't ask him for that. Could have done that too, but I didn't. I thought that would be turmoil. I asked him to send him back to his legislature, to the legislatures, in Wisconsin, let's say.
But why didn't he? I mean, you'd worked together for 4 years. You're the president. He's VP. You say you're aligned on everything.
I think he got very bad advice. I really do. Now, let me tell you what happened. I sat there with a few people. I think his lawyer was in the room too. His lawyer was very much against it. There were other lawyers that felt you could do it. It was one of those things. I think you could have done it. I think you can always do something if you see fraud or if you see problems. But it's very interesting. So after the election was over, the rhinos got together with the Democrats, and they redid the election, so you couldn't do it anymore. So then I called the people. I said, so in other words, you're saying I was right. You could do it. Yes, you could do it. In other words, they took the Voting Act and they redid it so the vice president no longer has the power to do what I said he could do. So when that happened, I said, wow. And you'd look some of these Democrats in the eye and they'd say, he has absolutely no right to do it. And immediately after the election, they met rhinos, could name them all, and Democrats, and they approved legislation that takes away the right of the vice president to do it. So I said, so you're saying I was right. The vice president did have the right to do it, and they said, yes, he did.
So if you're saying they stole it from you last time, why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they'll try. They're going to be trying, yeah. And not only me.
Please provide an image of the damaged cards or package. There is no...
DeSantis is out. I think he's gone. So he was at a level. People have figured him out. He's gone. But if somebody else got in, other than me, they'll go at him just as viciously as they did me. These people are sick. They will go after them. And a lot of people say they won't be able to hold up. I do get credit for holding up quite well, I must tell you. I think it's...
How do you do that? How do you get indicted, every week and stay cheerful?
It's, I think it's a lot easier because I'm so high in the polls, because it means the people get it. The people see it's a fraud. The people see it, like this horrible district attorney from just a little while ago, from essentially Atlanta, that's Fulton County. She said, basically, I don't have any right to challenge an election. Well, what about Stacey Abrams? What about Hillary Clinton? What about all of these Democrats that are still challenging my election? The same people that are saying, he's challenging an election, challenged my election. And they did it with slates. They did it with all sorts of things. They were very bad about it. But basically, they're suing me, and they're saying, you don't have any right to challenge it. If you challenge an election, we're going to indict you and put you in jail. So what they're doing is they've weaponized, and don't kid yourself, the DOJ and Biden and the whole group, they're watching all of this stuff. They love the local stuff. The DA in Manhattan. Not only that, they put one of the DOJ top people into the Manhattan DA's office to run things. They don't even have a case against me. It's not even a case. Everyone says, even the Democrats say, you can't bring these cases. You have no case. The Attorney General or the District Attorney, Fannie Willis, in Atlanta, she's getting killed. Basically, she's saying Trump doesn't have the right to criticize an election. But you've been around long enough now. You've seen many elections criticized. I mean, Hillary Clinton goes crazy. Every time she talks, she says, he's not the president. Jimmy Carter said, he's not the president. Well, I am the president. Hillary Clinton called me, by the way, at 3:02 in the morning to congratulate me the night of the election.
Did her voice crack?
Well, her voice was, it's very different, I will say. I won't get into that. But
what do you mean?
Her voice was very different. Don't forget, they were all celebrating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I came home and I said, I think we won. I felt we won because the rallies are so big. We'd go to Wisconsin and we'd go to Georgia. We'd go to different states. In Michigan, we'd have rallies in Pennsylvania.
Come on, X. There's only 6 minutes left. It's buffering, though. Oh, I'm buffering, too. Everything's buffering. The heck? Are we streaming still? What just happened? Are we still streaming? Check. YouTube and Twitter just froze.
You had 58,000 people in Butler. And I said, how are we losing this? How do you...
The heck? It's doing it again. Loud. We're still streaming? It's doing it again. YouTube overlords at it again. Are you buffering? Because it's good on my
end. A rally where you have from 50 to 100,000 people. Many.
Why does it keep doing this? What the heck? What the heck? 111. You see the little thing spinning on the video? I see that in my YouTube.
Of them, I did 7. Which is a day for a couple of days. That's a lot. That's a lot. These are big rallies too, and I didn't hold back. I didn't say let's make them little.
No buff. Every time.
Do abbreviations, right? But they challenged this stuff. Yeah. Hillary called me up and conceded.
You see the
now
Twitter
the word is that Obama said you have to do that.
in this window
But
on
she
this
called
other
up
screen.
and totally conceded. But now,
YouTube
every
is
time you
doing
see her
that
on
too,
television, she's saying like,
which is weird.
Well, she's challenging the election.
Do you think
so? That would mean
Hillary
that she
Clinton
should
is
be
into the
indicted.
chat.
But that would mean also that
The eye of
Stacey
Sauron
Abrams
is on
in
us.
Georgia should be indicted because she still thinks she won the election for governor. She still thinks that. She's never recanted. And
do you think Stacey Abrams will be indicted for that?
I need to pay my power
Of course
bill.
not. She won't be. The Democrats don't get indicted
If they
for
cut the
things
power,
like that.
you'll
They don't get
know.
impeached. No, it's a different thing. With that being said,
yes,
I had great support when they did
Trump
impeachment
keeps
hoax
freezing,
number
but
one
Josh
and
is good to
impeachment hoax
go.
number two. Jim
Right.
Jordan, the House,
But it's not.
was
two
fantastic,
different
and actually the
windows,
Senate
and
was
YouTube
very
is-
good for me. Other
on
than
my-
Mitch
on my
McConnell, I think if he had,
YouTube thing,
it's too
it's
bad I
freezing,
endorsed
too.
him. He was begging, he was going to lose that race, and I endorsed
see
him,
what you
and he
see,
ended up
JS?
winning the race
Yeah, but
because
you
of my
can't
endorsement. He was
see-
down. He was going to lose to Amy McGrath, who had $90 million in cash, all set to go. She was leading by 3. He was going down. I did him a favor, and then 3-4 months later, he really
can't
wanted
see
to
this
impeach
screen.
me. He's a bad guy. But
keeps
if you look
freezing
at
also.
what's going on politically, so interesting.
This
The
is
level
OBS,
of
but
loyalty
this
is
is
different
YouTube.
in politics than it is in normal
YouTube keeps freezing. See?
life, I will say. With that being said, I've had great loyalty also. But the House was fantastic. The Senate was very good. They overrode Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, in my opinion, was trying to get senators to impeach me, especially for the second one. And on the first one, he acted very, very slow. He should have gone much faster.
Weird.
But Mitch McConnell wanted to.
Hillary's
and the senators
watching
went
us.
up to
The
guys
ops
that are
are out.
subservient to him because he gives money. He gives them money. He gives them a lot of money. He raises some money and he
Gives a
gives
lot
it
of
to
money. Come on, Twitter. Dang, the internet is going down tonight. The whole world, the whole internet, they're just shutting it down. They're like, Trump just took over the internet. We got 100 million views in 2 hours. What's up? I'm Craven PDA. What's up, chat? Well, I think Trump and Tucker are breaking the internet right now.
Therefore, they do what he said. That's the only form of leadership he's got.
So last question, if you're elected president again,
91 million
what's
views
your
in
top,
2
your
hours?
number one priority? When you ran last time, you said, I will build a wall. This time, your bottom line top promise to the
So
country.
you can do numerous things.
To put that into perspective, when Trump went on the Nelk Boys podcast and it got removed the next day, I believe they got 24 million views in 24 hours. And this was like unheard of. This was like record breaking. The only thing that got more views is like the World Championship soccer game or something on YouTube. That's the record for most people ever watching a stream and most views on a stream or a video is like the World Championship of soccer or something like that, like the World Cup. I don't even know I don't know anything about soccer. But anyway, I guess a lot of people in the world like to watch soccer on YouTube. But anyway, closely behind that, the Nelk Boys interviewed Trump, and the next morning they totally wiped the video from the internet. And it was Nelk's best podcast they had ever done. Had like 24 million views overnight. It's not like they released it on a Friday morning or a Saturday morning. No. Overnight, it got 24 million views, and they took it off the internet. This is now at 91 million views in 2 hours. Just to put that in perspective for you. They're breaking the internet right now. Look at this. After the first 10 minutes, the interview amassed 20 million impressions, 100,000 likes, and 35,000 reposts. In 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes. Currently, we're at 91,410,000 likes, 37,000 comments, 128,000 reposts. That's insane. So where were we at?
Prisons. They're emptying out their prisons all over South America.
We're at 40 minutes. So hold on, we got to go back a little bit. He needs to just make Trump internet. Nice. He'll be indicted for breaking the internet now. Yep. Trump broke the internet. Come on, Twitter, X, get on the job, Elon.
The level of loyalty is different in politics than it is in normal life, I will say. With that being said, I've had great loyalty also. But the House was fantastic. The Senate was very good. They overrode Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, in my opinion, was trying to get senators to impeach me, especially for the second one. And on the first one, he acted very, very slow. He should have gone much faster. But Mitch McConnell wanted to, and the senators went up to him. Guys that are subservient to him because he gives money. He gives them money. He gives them a lot of money. He raises some money and he gives it to them, and therefore they do what he said. That's the only form of leadership he's got.
So last question. If
it's like 89
you're
years
elected
old.
president again, what's your number one priority? When you ran last time, you said, I will build a wall.
Ukraine.
This time, your
Day one.
bottom line top promise to the
So
country.
you can do numerous things at the same time.
Of course.
But let's say number
Based
one
answer?
is a border.
Border, okay.
And taking hundreds of thousands of criminals that have been allowed into our country and getting them out and bringing them back to their country, Guatemala. By the way, not only the
Guatemala.
4 countries that we think of as neighbors, all over the world. Last month, we had 149 countries represented. Think of it.
So he
We had
just froze?
149 countries represented, Tucker.
He had a squirter.
From places that many people never
And then he
even
just
heard
kinda-
of, coming into our country. And they're coming in from mental institutions, and they're coming in from prisons. They're emptying out their prisons all over South America. They're emptying out their mental institutions. Terrorists are pouring into our country. We have no idea. I had the strongest border in the history of our country, and I built almost 500 miles of wall. They like to say, oh, was it less? No. I built 500 miles. In fact, if you check with the authorities on the border, we built almost 500 miles of wall. And I had another 200 that I was going to build. It's like water, it seeks. And we're going to build another 200. We built it. It was all set to go. All they had to do was install it. It would have taken 3 weeks. And that's when I found out. I said, I think these people actually want open borders. The first thing I would do would be I would seal up the border good and tight, except for people that want to come in legally.
Do you think we're moving?
Super Bowl gets 113 million viewers. And that's one of the biggest televised events. Now, yeah. But I mean, you're comparing an old medium TV that people have had for decades and decades and decades and decades and decades compared to a fairly newer in comparison form of media, which is podcasting and YouTube and interviews on YouTube and long form interviews. Like, that's the Super Bowl compared to an interview with a president, which also, how long is the Super Bowl? Like 4 hours? So if this has 91 million in 2 hours, the Super Bowl gets 113 million in 4 hours. Super Bowl is one of the biggest televised events in America. An interview with a politician in 4 hours, in 2 more hours time at this pace. This interview with a politician is going to have double the views that the Super Bowl gets on TV. And this is an interview on X that's only 45 minutes long. So thank you for putting that recommendation in chat and helping me prove my point. Thank you, Freddie. I really
towards civil war.
That. There's tremendous passion and there's tremendous
YouTube,
love.
Genius. This is X.
January 6th was a very interesting day because they don't report it properly.
Right. He doesn't know what he's talking about, Mr. Matt. You're making my point. You're strengthening my point, Freddie. Plus the Super Bowl. This is a very polarizing interview. This is a guy that a lot of people hate. A lot of people are not going to watch this because they hate Trump, whereas a lot of people are going to watch it because they love Trump. But the Super Bowl is just kind of unanimous. Every house in America is, until they started doing a bunch of woke, weird stuff, every house in America had the Super Bowl on the TV. Also, they're probably not even really watching it. This isn't, the Super Bowl is something that People are watching it for the app. Some people are watching it for the advertisements. Some people are watching it for the halftime show. You'll have one of the biggest entertainers in the world doing a halftime concert. Some people are watching for the sporting event. Some people are watching it because they're having a party. Super Bowls make parties. People get together and they watch the Super Bowl. And then a lot of people just have it on as background noise because maybe they grew up watching the Super Bowl every year. So they just turn it on. They're not really focused on it. This is like highbrow political content. And the fact that it's going to crap on Super Bowl ratings, thank you for proving my point, Freddie. Thank you.
I believe it was the largest crowd I've ever spoken before. And you know some of the crowds I've spoken before. And like July 4th on the mall, I think they had 1 million people there. But I think that the biggest crowd I've ever spoken before
that
was
too,
on
Stubborn One.
6th.
Another great
that
point.
Were in that crowd,
so Freddie is really
very, very small
proving our point.
Group
Thank
of
you,
people.
Freddie.
And we said patriotically and peacefully and patriotically, right? Nobody ever says that. Go
that backfired on you, huh,
patriotically. But people that were in that crowd that day, very small group of people.
You told me to compare them. You said Google,
a lot of scenarios,
large televised event.
About. But
and I said, how many viewers?
Said it was the most
and it said, does the Super Bowl
experienced.
get? Was the first response.
There was love.
And
in
I
that
said,
crowd. There
check
was
it out.
Love and unity. I have never seen such spirit and such passion and such love. And I've also never seen simultaneously and from the same people such hatred of what they've done to our country.
So do you think it's possible that there's open conflict? We seem to be moving towards something.
I don't know because I don't know what it, you know, I can say this. There's a level of passion that I've never seen. There's a level of hatred that I've never seen, and that's probably a bad combination.
Donald Trump, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you.
It's over.
That is a bad combination, by the way.
Bad combination. Thank you.
Nice. Epic. Good interview, you know. I like the, I wrote down the roasting of Biden moment at about 12 minutes. We'll have to clip that. That was great. Just a nice little 2-minute, nice little 1-minute clip of just insulting Biden. Epic. The Epstein comments, we'll have to make a clip of that. In the debate, the part where Charlie Chris called Vivek ChatGPT, that was pretty funny. Might have to clip that. And then also at an hour 36, I don't remember what was going on then, but I wrote it down. I forget what they were talking about, but it was pretty good. Trump for the win. Anybody remember the fake numbers the Biden White House YouTube channel got exposed for putting up? That was too funny. And remember, you realize the whole reason that YouTube stopped showing the dislikes is because of Biden. Is because of how bad it was Biden and Trump, basically the ratios. Trump would get, you know, if a Trump put out a video, it'd get 10 million views, and it'd get 1 million likes, and it'd get like 10,000 dislikes. Biden put out a video, it'd get like 100,000 views with 1,000 likes and 99,000 dislikes. And so they're like, we can't keep showing the dislikes because then people are going to wonder what's up when we steal the election. If people can look at the statistics on the content that these guys are putting out, nobody's going to believe it when we steal the election. So we got to hide that. That was too funny. Trump for the win. Pepperidge Farms remembers, and so do I. A true criminal wouldn't turn themselves in. Good point. And good thing that Trump is not a true criminal. That's why he's turning himself in, because he's an innocent man. Excellent point, Freddie. Man, Freddie's killing it tonight. Freddie is making some great points. Trump's Tucker ratings are astronomically higher than anything we've ever seen in the history of the world. Freddie proved that point. I'm glad he told me to Google television ratings of our biggest sports events, and they don't rival the Trump and Tucker interview. So thank Freddie for that. And then Freddie wanted to point out that Trump is not a criminal. Excellent point, Freddie. Oh, that's Mr. Mad said that. Mr. Mad said that. I'm sorry. Mr. Mad made a great point. A true criminal wouldn't turn. Dang, I thought it was Freddie that said that. I thought he was being great. I thought Freddie thought he was being clever, but never mind. I read that the names got blurred together. Well, beta criminal. Everything on the internet is curated content these days. Not a true criminal, but a smooth criminal. Ow! Such a coming to the bedroom, but I'm bamboo, whatever boom. Chicken butter got the bathroom, chicken run there, it was just doom. Chicken. Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Turn off top chat. Why? What are we looking at? What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Pepperidge Farm. Supposed to be a men. Supposed to be a men. That doesn't make any sense. And you supporting a criminal who's turning himself in this week. And then Mr. Mad said a true criminal wouldn't turn themselves in. Yeah, no duh, Freddy. No duh, Supposed to be a men. I'm not a plurality. I'm one person. I'm not. What are you even talking about, bruh? The real criminals in politics are the ones who you like, are the ones who the Democrats support and the establishment. Those are the real criminals. And they don't get held accountable. Hee hee. Chicken eared. Chimo. Donald Trump will always be the people's president. Did you watch Trump and Tucker Carlson instead of the DOP debate? Well, no, I didn't have to. You can watch both. You can do both, Matt Wallace. Take turns trashing Chris Wallace. Is Matt Wallace related to Chris Wallace? It was just Annie, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Oh, did they already take it down? No. It's right here. Episode 19, Debate Night with Donald Trump. Okay, we all watched that already. Debate Night in Bedminster. Oh, that's just a clip. We're currently at 94 million. 94 million. Robert F. Kennedy, as president, I will end the forever wars, clean up government, restore middle class, and tell Americans the truth. Candace Owens, Kevin McCarthy. I don't want to follow any of those people. I don't really do Twitter like that. Oh, look at Martha's trending. What's Martha? Somebody told me they were voting for Martha. Martha is trending right now. Who is Martha and why is she trending? Fox News and Martha McCallum caught presenting Koch brothers activists as fake GOP voter in Wisconsin to support Ron DeSantis. What? Busted. Fox News and Martha McCallum caught presenting Koch brothers activist as a fake GOP voter in Wisconsin to support Ron DeSantis. By now, in schemes and plots, corporate media is a participating in political illusion and choice of game. However, for Rupert Murdoch, Fox News debate moderator Martha McCallum, this cat shreds the remaining little credibility they carried. Is Martha the lady from the debate? Was that the debate moderator?
me about, who else you're primarily looking at? Do you have anybody up there that you're thinking that you're leaning toward at this point?
Yeah, so I'm going with Ron DeSantis. And
so this guy is not actually a voter. He's a Koch brothers activist posing as a Ron DeSantis concerned voter. And I'm not surprised.
He has the record, the proven track record, and he's the one guy who can hire the right people and also execute on legislation. He understands policy. He understands government is boring. And to get things from point A to Z, he's shown how to do that in Florida. And that's what differentiates him between Donald Trump, who doesn't take much interest in policy, but he's very good on policy. They agree on 90 to 95% of the things, but you have to hire the right people, and you have to execute on these things, which means you got to read and you got to put the right people in place. And Ron DeSantis, of everyone on that stage, has proved that more than that, just about everybody on that stage, and that's why I'm going with him.
So,
you're slow, Freddie.
And that's why you think he has better quality?
You're
That's why you would choose him over the former president?
At the end of the day, in order to achieve a conservative agenda, you need someone who understands those things, who's going to put the right.
So this guy is a Koch brothers advocate, a Koch brothers, Chris Lawrence. Hi, I looked into Wisconsin voter Christopher Lawrence. Why don't you tell people he's a paid activist belonging to the Open Borders Network that recently pledged $70 million to stop Trump? Wow, interesting. All right, Martha. We see you, Martha. Guess I'm about to lose a follower. That sound like Radio Raheem, editor-in-chief of the National Post. All right. Time is it? It's 10:30. Yeah. I think I'm gonna hit it, guys. Plans for the week. I need to edit a bunch of stuff. I gotta edit some Zelda videos from the Fire Temple and the Lightning Temple, so we can put Zelda to bed. I got them saved, and I need to get some space cleared out on my memory card. So I need to edit up these long videos, which don't take a whole lot of editing, but I do kind of need to listen to make sure there's nothing crazy in there so I can keep them monetized. So I probably won't be streaming Thursday or Friday. I'm just going to focus on, and I got a lot of work to do for the next week or so. So I worked today on that apartment that I showed you guys in that one stream. And then also there's another apartment that we have to do a turnover on, but it's nowhere near as bad, so it's not a full renovation. I just got to patch up some, nail holes, touch up paint, little touch up caulking, and then clean it. So I got that to do, and then I got that full renovation to do. I got a lot of editing to do, so I'm going to focus on that. I need to get on my shorts game. I don't think I've done a shorts for 2 days. I need to be doing at least one short, preferably 2 shorts every day. At least one short every day. So I got editing stuff to do. So I won't be streaming Thursday. Won't be streaming Friday. Saturday, the UFC fights are in freaking Australia or something. And the fights start at 6 a.m. my time. It's not a pay-per-view. But Daddy Jub messaged me. He's like, you going to watch the fights this Saturday? Are you going to stream during the fights this Saturday? He said, you should just do an all-night stream. You should just start at 10 o'clock at night and stream all night till 6 in the morning when the fights start, and then another 4 hours while the fights are going. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. No. And I'm not going to set my alarm on Saturday to freaking wake up at 5:30 a.m. to stream, and it's not even a pay-per-view. So Saturday, I will probably stream, and we'll do Discord. Everybody can jump in the Discord who wants to. We could just hang out. Maybe I'll play some Mario, play some videos, jump in the Discord, and just talk to everybody on Saturday. But there won't be any fights. I'm going to miss the fights because I'm not waking up early to watch no dang 5:30 a.m. fights. Nope. 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 But yeah. Got to work on the camping video. Got to work on some gaming videos. Got to work on some getting out some more of the old clip videos. So I'll be working on all that stuff while I'm doing my regular job. Saturday, we'll have a little hangout stream, Discord, and all that cool stuff. And then Monday, Dreaded Conservative show. So that's the plan. That's the plan for the upcoming week. Let's say 5 o'clock Saturday, my time. So 4 o'clock Pacific, 6, 7 o'clock Eastern, somewhere around there. Let's aim for that on Saturday stream. Otherwise, just watch for any videos that I post, shorts, all the good stuff. But thanks for hanging out, guys. Mr. Mad, Freddy, Stubborn One, Be Wise. Take care of that baby. Craven PA, all the new people that stopped by for the debate. I think we had one troll earlier, Orange Man Hater. Shout out to the Orange Man haters. I hope they subscribed and they show up on Monday night to see what we really about around here. We see what you are, JS. What am I? Oh, we see what you see. That's an old. Okay, never mind. Lady Seaside, Daddy Jub. Everybody. Lore Spike Protein. Bibby never made it here. He said earlier today he was going to come to the stream for the debate. He probably fell asleep. That man's sleeping. He's sleeping through a Tucker and Trump interview. What the? But, peace, great show, Hake. I'm not Hake. This is not Hake. You're in the wrong place. You doing the Tube of Terror? Oh, God, why did you remind me of that? Yeah. Oh, my God, we got to do the Tube of Terror on Saturday. Oh, my God, we got to do the Tube of Terror on Saturday also. I forgot about that. Yes, Saturday. Discord. Maybe some Mario. Attempting. Keyword attempting. Do or do not. There is no try. I'm probably going to do not. Probably not going to eat this whole tube of peanuts on Saturday. Mr. Mad reminded me. Yes, I will do this Saturday. Oh, God. It's going to be horrible. But that's the plan. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Hit the like button on your way out. I'll talk to you later. I'm out. Peace.